CES. Like I've seen absolute. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've seen a few 3D printing things, but
we'll figure it out as we go. That's what we do on
yeah.
Tech Talk.
We never talk about our topics, anyways.
No, you're not supposed to. The topics are just to lure people in here.
You guys might get to the topics later after I've gone. But
oh, damn it! The preview is choppy too. Okay, I need to figure out what's
You're
causing
choppy.
Let me minimize OBS and see if that like smooths things out.
That Apple thing was also something that I'm kind of fascinated by because there's no news about it in any of the regular news, and yet like Security Now and stuff, like the big security cyber channels are like going like, guys, like we've had 5 editions of iPhones that have had updated backdoors in them. Like, what the fuck?
This is
like it's pretty wild. Oh, did I just swear in the first 2 minutes? Damn it!
No, you knocked yourself
Here
out,
I
bro.
am ruining the algorithm.
Can we get this? Actually, I found out last year. I went back and looked at our demonetization, and surprisingly, only 2 Tech Talks out of the whole like. I would say the whole year. I think it was 6 months.
Was I in both of them?
Was
not?
One of them. You were.
Damn it.
Hey, can guys? Oh, somebody's.
You're messed up.
Messed up. Okay, hold on here. You're messed up. Okay, so
you
guys say something.
Something, and this is something, and that this is the kind of
you
test.
should just keep talking. Videos also lagging hard. That's on you, bro. Get good.
No, there is something.
Oh
going
no,
on.
yeah,
I
that's
figure out what it is in OBS. It's like chopping like crazy, and I don't know why.
You look good on Video Ninja, my friend, but that doesn't really help you much.
It's something between video and then OBS.
I'm gonna go check
let me see if I can figure this out.
Oh, look what pops up first for me, you guys. Here you go. Oh yeah, you guys are really choppy, and so am I. Damn it.
Something's screwed up here. Let me see. Okay, so
just Jerry's audio. Get good yourself. I hear him fine. So
yeah, me too.
Who's the problem denominator here?
Well, like what's wrong with my audio? Is it blown out or?
I don't know. You sound fine to me.
Oh, hold on.
Check. It's probably the whole thing is check. The whole thing is choppy. Like
test. Yeah, why is it doing this now?
Welcome to our Max Headroom stream.
Yeah, it's totally.
Can you guys hear me?
That show. That was like one of my favorite shows.
What is going on with my computer right now?
I remember watching a movie, I think, at one point.
Was it a movie as well?
Maybe it was like a mini series.
Oh yeah, there was a movie that started. It was like a TV movie that then turned into a series.
Okay, because
I think that's what they used to do.
Bits and pieces. I just remember, and this is going to be probably some spoilers or something, but I remember like the final
30 years ago, but yeah,
at least, right? Yeah. The final scene, they're like slowly pulling back out of a parking garage, and up at the top it says Max Headroom 14 feet. Or
that was the that's like, where he got his name.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Then I don't know why that scene just stuck in my head. I don't know.
No, I remember that. I'm pretty sure what they used to do, because they did it with Battlestar Galactica as well. They had like that 2-hour premiere, like it was like a 2-part or like one long, and that's how they would drag you into a show, and then you'd go from there. And Max Headroom, I was so disappointed. So I wasn't allowed to watch television as a kid. I was allowed to watch on Sunday nights, and I was allowed half an hour of television a week.
Dang.
Oh, geez,
thanks, Dad. So what do? Out of desperation, I would drag old TVs out of the garbage and then bring them into my room, try to fix them up, and then splice to the cable that came into the house just above me.
That's so cool.
So I would do and one of the main reasons for doing that was Max Headroom. Because I was dying to see. So I watched Max Headroom on a black and white TV with a crystal earpiece in my ear.
That's ridiculous.
And whenever my parents came in, I'd throw a blanket over the TV. Like they wouldn't hear it. Like they wouldn't hear it, or
that looks better.
No, but here's the weird thing. I go into settings, and when I exit settings, it smooths out, and then it just gets choppy again after 30 seconds. Then I go into settings. Like if I just click settings in OBS.
Oh, so
weird. I just click settings, and then I just click OK. And then it'll like smooth out again.
Weird.
Oh no, now it's not doing it. Something's causing this to just bug out. I don't know what it is. So but it just smooth. Like if I go into settings and just like change encoder preset to like lower P2 and then hit apply and then hit OK and it restarts the encoder, then it looks like it smooths out like for a little while and then it just goes choppy again.
But it's going out. What about is your outbound internet working fine? I mean,
no, internet's fine. Like I've got just speed test, I have full bandwidth, I have full ping. It's actually doing this in the preview in OBS.
Oh, weird.
Like so like my video in OBS is like this. Like it's like super duper choppy, and I don't know
You got something running, a little spyware running or something.
Let me see. Do I have that little animation here? Let me see if I can find
Bitcoining at the same time.
Let's see. Is it logo?
You got to stop mining Ethereum or whatever the hell it's called now.
Oh, so okay. I just started the little plasma storm at the top of the screen and it's smooth. So this is VDO. I narrowed it down to VDO. So this is a Video Ninja problem.
Damn you, VDO.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
This is I just narrowed it down. So let me go check video settings and see if maybe
that's why I'm here.
Bandwidth issues.
That's why I like to hang out with people who are much smarter than I am. They figure these things out, you know.
Right? Hey man, that's pretty smart. Fixing up TVs as a kid, like that's pretty cool.
I think I broke more than I broke. Dude, I almost got. Oh my god, I did. TV. Oh my god, I did. I discharged a capacitor once by accident, and holy crap! Wow. Yeah, just and burnt a hole in the screwdriver, everything.
Yeah,
I mean, wow,
super scary. Yeah,
I sure learned what they did though pretty quick.
Oof.
No, I had two really scary incidents when I was a child. The first one was I put the cable, like I cut through the power cable on the TV in the living room. I didn't mean to. I ran over it with something in it, like cut the cable, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, oh my god, I better patch this up so my parents don't find out. And so I didn't really know that much about electricity. I was a young kid. So I went and got scissors and I started cutting through the cable to strip back the insulation off the wire. And this is an old TV, like one of those really old cables. And I start stripping off the insulation, and the two wires come together, and they dead short. And when they dead short, the whole cable just starts bubbling, because we didn't have breakers in the house. Like modern, we didn't have fuses, and it just kept going. I mean, it took that fuse probably 20 seconds to blow, and the whole 20 seconds, just smoke is just railing out of this cable, and it's like bubbling, like on the carpet and up the wall. So I was like, oh dude, I'm in so much trouble. So my mom comes home, the whole house smells like just
that burning plastic. And
and it almost caught fire. Like it was literally like the smoke that was coming off of it. Just imagine like if you laid a wire on the ground and put like 1,000 amps through it, like that smoke that would just billow off as it's vaporizing the plastic. That's literally what it was doing for like 20 seconds before it finally popped the fuse.
The scent of cancer.
Yeah, exactly. And then when my parents got home, the fuse that I blew, we didn't have a spare, because of course we never had spare or anything.
Oh, they were the screw-in ones, the old screw-in ones.
It basically looked exactly like a light bulb.
Yeah,
it had I swear
it is. It's basically a light bulb.
Is it really
what it is?
I was like, that's what it looks like. It just looks like a light bulb minus the bulb. Like you could screw a light bulb in there and use it.
Instead of glowing hot, it just breaks the filament. That's what it did. There was a little filament in there that would just go.
Yeah, I never tried it, but I bet you could probably just screw in like a 120 watt incandescent bulb, and as long as you didn't exceed 120 watts, it'd probably just light the bulb up.
Right? That's interesting. Yeah, maybe
I should have tried that. That would have been cool.
Well, people used to just shove pieces of metal in it, right? Like just go, crap, and then just to bypass the. And when I say people, I mean people I knew.
No. Oh, yeah. What's funny is you mentioned that, because that's exactly what my dad did to fix it. He literally grabbed pennies. He grabbed a little stack of pennies and just jammed them in the hole, and that was our fuse for the next like 10 years.
It's like an electrician meme that goes around, and it shows like different like household items. There's like a 9-cent penny or a 9-cent nail, or like tin foil, and it'll say like 2 amps, 5 amps, and then it's like a 22 long rifle bullet, and it'll say like 15 amps with noise for, or like with audio alert, like if it breaks or something.
If it breaks, it's gonna go off like a gunshot.
Yeah. Check this out. I actually used the 22 long rifle shell as a fuse in my car.
Yeah, I don't buy it. You know, why not?
Yeah, no,
the cop or the brass at least. Yeah,
no, with the bullet. Oh
man,
I was that stupid, and it never went off. It never went off. So I guess it wasn't enough.
Didn't
to
get hot enough. Yeah.
But no, it was my Ford Courier that I had. It took the old style fuses where they were like little long. You remember the fuses from like the 70s, the little tubular ones.
Oh yeah.
So the little ones, like the
little metal caps on the end.
Yeah. So you could just grab one off the floor and just shove it in there.
Yeah.
The other thing there was another thing I used that worked too, because I was one of those people where it's like I never went and bought fuses at the auto store because I was always broke. So like anytime I blew a fuse, which was like twice a week in that freaking vehicle, I would just jam stuff in there to make it work. So I had like half of my fuse box was just aluminum foil that I had like rolled up and jammed in the little slot. And the funny thing is, like, nothing blew up on it. Like you'd think, because it's blowing fuses, there's obviously a short circuit somewhere. Like I know that now in hindsight. Back then I wasn't that bright. So I was like, oh, it works.
God,
so
this thing goes through fuses like water.
Yeah, it breaks a fuse. I used to be that guy that like even when I did have fuses, I'd stick like a 30 amp fuse and like a 15 amp breaker and be like, it'll never blow again. You know, it's like there's a reason
I didn't know you had to change oil.
Fuse.
I had no idea. I thought the car arrived with oil. I figured that was it. I drove it until it grenaded on the way to work one day.
Yikes.
Oh, dude, I got a great automotive story for you guys. If you are so inclined to listen,
please.
So
that's what I'm here for. Your tales of electricity.
So I had a friend growing up. His name was Jake Fisher. Great dude. And funny, it's like fast forward today. Now he's like a pilot and he flies for like I think it's like Alaska Airlines or something like that. He's like an airline pilot. And but when we were kids, we were dumb as rocks, right? So his parents bought him a car for when he was 16 when he got his driver's license. They got him a Toyota Tercel. And
I love the Tercel. That was my first car,
dude.
Well, the Mini was my first car, but that
we called it the Gutless Wonder because with like 2 adults in it, it wouldn't accelerate up a hill.
No, it's
like
nothing. Yeah,
downshift, peg it off the rev limiter. That thing would not go up by 1 mile an hour going up a hill.
Yeah, it's like a golf cart with a moonlight with a moon.
It was. And I don't remember if it had even like I think it was like a 3-cylinder engine or something. It was so gutless. It was so gutless. So
I loved it though, man. It was bulletproof.
I'm gonna tell everybody on the Tercel right now because this is the best thing ever. This Toyota Tercel went over 120,000 miles without an oil change. And when the motor finally blew, there wasn't a drop of oil in the engine. Yeah, so who knows how long it was running dry, right?
Mine was completely dry. Yeah.
I could not believe it. So my friend, we're driving, literally I was in the car with him. We're driving to go snowboarding and his car just goes kerchunk, boom. And we pull over the side of the road and it won't even turn over. The engine seized. He broke a connecting rod in the engine, like it seized up in the block and like ripped the rod in half.
Yeah, and mine similar thing to mine too.
I had the same thing happen to my Toyota Corolla many years later, but that was because I turbocharged it and put 14 pounds of boost in it and melted the rods. But he was completely stock, an engine that probably makes 70 horsepower possibly. And so he blows the motor and we pull over and we're looking at it and there's no oil on the ground. Usually when you blow a motor, it'll like, throw a hole in the can or something like that and oil be no liquids on the ground. So we're like, okay, well, like, maybe it's an electrical problem. No, tow truck driver comes and the first thing he does is he gets under the bumper and looks up at the engine. There's like a hole in the block. And he's like, yeah, this car isn't going anywhere. He had to actually put it on skids that like pull it up on the truck because the wheels were locked up.
Seized so bad.
We couldn't get it out of gear because I think it blew the transmission up too.
But mine made it to the shop. I drove mine to the shop.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I thought I was on the highway and I thought I'd hit a seagull or something. Like it felt like it was making this noise like, and I thought, oh my God, there's something stuck to the front of my car. So I pull over and look, and there's nothing there. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I take off again. It starts rattling away. But I made it all the way to the gas to the mechanic, and they were like laughing their ass off at me. I was like, oil? No, it had oil when I bought it. Like I was, but the funny thing was they replaced the engine for it was like a couple $100. Like the engines are worth nothing.
Nice.
No, like that's the thing I noticed too, is like the transmissions where all the money is. Yeah, we're lagging again, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, let me try changing the bit rate settings. But this is video. This is 100% videos thing. There is a thing that says restart connection. I don't know if I want to push that button, but
as long as you don't restart the channel, you're okay, right?
I'm gonna push restart connection, see what happens.
Do it, man. Do it.
So I'm doing it.
Aux is eating anyways.
Let's see,
this is a mukbang stream now.
Well, so send keyframes to viewers. What the hell does that do?
So I was wrong, by the way. I looked up my reunion, and it's between $100 and $190.
But still,
go to Lucky Strike in Bellevue.
That place is expensive.
What is Lucky? Oh, is it?
Oh, dude,
it's like a fancy, over the top bowling alley.
So it's $190 for you and as a couple, or just as a person?
See. Get tickets. For a +1, it's an extra $90. Yeah.
Wow.
This is so weird.
I just feel like if I'm not in touch with them now, why would I want to go to a party with them?
There's a few that I would want to surreptitiously look in on, or how well are they doing? But for the most part, man, you don't cross my mind ever. Yeah. And so why am I going to pay money to reminisce about
and there's a few I've tried to look up and not being able to get in touch with, and I figure they're probably not going to go to the reunion if they're not on freaking Facebook. I doubt they're going to be on or whatever. So yeah,
All right, let's see if that smooths things out a little bit. I lowered our bit rate down to 3.
Networking guy says you should close the porn tabs. That's
yeah, no. I always check that first before I start a live stream just to make sure. Yeah, I don't know. This is weird because usually Video Ninja works pretty good.
It's normally perfect.
So that's why I don't understand. And now I'm starting to question it because now I'm inside of Video Ninja and we're all smooth in the Video Ninja preview, but over in OBS now we're all choppy. So I'm not 100% sure this is video now.
Weird.
But I did see video preview chopping. So I'm wondering if this is like some kind of a video thing going on.
Wait a sec, you've got OBS open as well?
Yeah.
Can you try a window in OBS and see how that looks? Like can you try like a camera in OBS and see if that works without the video? Is that
yeah, like do my camera directly in here and see what it looks like? I could actually totally do that. Here, let me go down to let me add a camera. Let's see here. Add.
Well, let's face it, it's just not a tech talk without tech problems.
Exactly.
No, you gotta have tech problems. Seriously, come on.
Maybe you all good? All right.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so I added. Okay, where's my camera? Okay, so I added a camera. So now if I disable mine over here in video, let me turn that off. There we go. Now let me turn it on over here. See what happens. Cam link 4K. Deactivate. Activate.
Discord. They let you stream on both now. You can stream to Twitch and to YouTube at the same time.
That's what I've heard.
I've been doing it. All of my burner learns are that now. Where people will get to watch me sweaty and gross after an exercise. And it works. It works great. The only thing I find difficult is the two chats. So I find myself going back and forth a lot. But
yeah. Okay, so let's see. Okay, now the video capture device isn't even showing up. Let's see. Elgato cam link.
Video is fine. Oh my god, look at that. Video is fine with Jerry's cam off. No, that's
so it's my face that's being the algorithm.
Right?
Actually, wait a second. That is interesting. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh.
It does look okay.
Oh. My face broke the live stream.
That's weird.
I mean, it has a couple of times though, just smoothed out, and then just for like no reason, and then it just starts working again. So
I think networking guy might be right. It might be your camera. It says Jerry's camera is causing it. Although, admittedly, they did spell causing wrong.
All right, so
Caswing is Caswing.
Video broadcast.
I know that everyone is incredibly helpful and stuff, but I have to say, when I find myself in these situations, the last thing I want is advice.
Oh, sure.
Which I know is the first thing I need.
No, it's just hard to focus, right?
Because that was my thing. That's my thing.
What's going on?
That's like an ADD thing.
Shut up, you nerds. Let's figure it out.
The face that launched 1,000 lags.
All right, so now I've got a big broken Nvidia broadcast thing here.
Fine. No, can they still hear us?
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Let me go to camera.
Probably the Jim the Evo says probably the 4090. Send it to me, Jerry. I'll have a look.
No, you wish, brother.
Oh man, this is broke. This is doing the same thing on my machine too, man.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna.
I got to raid Jim the Evo the other day. He was doing a science stream.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, he's like just chopping again, and my face isn't there. See, I told you. Oh
yeah. All right.
So it's just an Nvidia broadcast because that's the only thing I can think of that I've installed lately. Let's do this. Add remove program. I'm gonna live remove a component.
Networking guy. I'm just teasing you. My typing is terrible. I can't spell a freaking thing even if I wanted to.
All right.
I just play smart on TV.
Let's see if I can break the entire stream by uninstalling Nvidia broadcast live while we're streaming. All right, let's see how many things this breaks in the universe.
This could be good.
I mean, I am like super tempting fate.
This is like he's putting the gun shell into the fuse casing right now. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's it. It's ready to go. Ready for the audible cues.
No, it's not a driver for the capture device because I'm using the same driver for the capture device I've always used. So this is the only thing I can think of is that it's
Retrobit says ad blocker sometimes is a problem, but I don't use that.
Hardware acceleration in whatever your browser.
Oh, actually, did I? Let me check hardware acceleration because I don't
either on or off. I know. At least in the past, if you were trying to do a window capture of a Chrome window with Chrome's hardware acceleration on, it would be black.
Yep.
Huh.
Not that's explaining why we're choppy, but because like if that were the same kind of, but I don't know, it might be similar or related.
Just call it a max headroom stream and just go with it. Like,
okay, so to disable hardware acceleration, I have to leave. VDL.
Oh, you'd have to restart it, right?
Yeah, you have to restart the browser.
But that's fine, isn't it? Because that doesn't kill the channel.
Yeah. You guys, as long as you guys are in, the channel stays live, right?
So I think so. Back.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
We'll keep it alive for you, Jerry.
We'll try.
We're gonna try it. I'm gonna disable hardware acceleration in the browser and see if this maybe fixes
freaking
it.
cold.
This is really weird.
You
Or I wonder if I
cold?
can. Here, let me just try a refresh first. Let's try to do the basic thing first instead of like the nuclear option.
All right.
Here, let me just refresh the browser here. Okay, refreshing.
Awesome.
There's a bug currently in Nvidia drivers where the GPU is maxed out under 3D. Other programs do not.
All
get
right, here we go. Let's see if that smooths anything out. I just refreshed the browser. That's all I did. I'm hoping that like creates another connection.
Let's see.
The only other thing that I could think of.
No, I think it's. Well, I can't tell now.
The only other thing I can really think of is that there's a bandwidth issue between my VPN and between Video Ninja.
Could be
like that could definitely be it, is because it does say we're only using 2.8 megabit up in the corner of the screen, which is like way less than it should be showing. So something's definitely off there. Okay, let me try switching my VPN. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It should just reconnect, right? Like I think it does. Well, we'll find out. If it doesn't, just try to rejoin on me, and we'll eventually get it going again. All right, what is going on here? Okay.
It must be dropping a lot of frames because I just tried waving, and it hasn't shown up.
Like right now, glass smooth and the preview and everything, and like right now, it's absolutely like liquid smooth. Everything's great, and then all of a sudden, it's like. But I know it's the problems with VDO though in some way, because I did the little plasma animation at the top of the screen, and the plasma animation stays nice and smooth even when we're chopping.
Yeah,
so that tells me that OBS is compositing the video and everything just fine. It's just our video that's slowing down.
Got a 10-second lag between the wave and seeing it.
Yeah, 10 seconds is pretty common lag on YouTube. YouTube
right.
has terrible lag. Yeah. What is it? Okay, somebody said there's a bug with GPU maxed out. I don't think I'm hitting that. Let me check my GPU though and just see if I am maxing.
How do normal people stream? Like how do freaking
right
who
aren't uber nerds stream? I guess they
don't have a lot of
set it up and they don't mess with it. I mean, something maybe
don't have weird guests. I mean, a big part of it is not messing with it, but
yeah, GPU is not even breaking a sweat right now. So you know what I can do though is I'm going to go to Microsoft Edge and I'm going to increase its resources. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to give it more power.
I'm going to do it.
It's no good, Captain. Let's push the edge as far as we can.
Here, go to details. God, this is one thing I hate is how web browsers now open like 90,000 processes. It's so annoying. Like seriously, I probably have 30 Microsoft Edge or MS Edge EXEs open at the same time right now. Like
really?
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, one for each tab.
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't there something? Doesn't it stay open even when you close it so that it opens faster? There's like it's like a process that's always running or something.
Yeah. No, they do in the background unless you disable it.
Yeah. Even if you turn it off, even if you close out Edge, it still sits on your desktop basically, whatever the term would be.
Did I just find a Windows bug? I think I did. No, so I'm inside of details view in Task Manager and nothing is showing any CPU usage. Everything is 0. I've never seen that before. Like everything, even if I sort by the CPU column, everything's moving like there should be a value there. Like they're changing their order, but everything's 0 across the board.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a reboot.
I already rebooted before the stream though. All right, so I just set the priority for everything to high, which is normally not what you want to do, but and then OBS, I'll do the same thing for OBS just so it has a fighting chance here. Here, change that priority to high. All right, is anything looking better since I've been farting around with this, guys? Or are we still chopping? No, I'm still seeing some chopping in there. But yeah, it's definitely VDO. I mean, let's see what happens if I just chunk the bitrate down to like nothing in VDO and see what happens. Video. Okay, so wait, right now room video quality sets at 500 kilobits per second. That's not right. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, this is weird.
It looks like a South Park character.
Yeah, video's doing some weird stuff right now. Like the bit rate went back down to 500 when I refreshed the browser, but I didn't see any change in the video quality on the stream. So I don't know what's up with that. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me just come back. Let me kill Edge and come back in Chrome. Let me try that. Here, okay, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Belt on his computer
right?
to stop him from fucking it.
The stream machine needs to be a Mac so that it doesn't fuck with it.
That's it. Well,
It's
you know what's
like-
funny? The Mac is a pain in the ass too, though. Although I think I figured it out now. Like I'm using a laptop too, which is the worst because you pick it up and go somewhere else, and then you fucked everything up. So
Can you guys hear me? Oh, whoa!
Oh, yeah.
My audio is like blown way the hell out. Hold on here. Check.
This video peer to peer, so then not much can go wrong. If it's not, then they're possibly overloaded. That's a good question.
After this, I'm cutting video out. This will be our last stream doing video. I'm gonna find a better alternative because this is.
But wasn't this the one that we found was the best?
Yeah, it was for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think they're probably just
Discord
under
or
resourced right now. Because right now I'm looking at the bit rate and they're only giving us 6.8 megabits per second, like for the full bandwidth when I look at the top, and that's definitely not how much we're all sending. We're sending way more than that. So it isn't achieving the bandwidth it's supposed to be.
Have you guys
it should be
tried
at 10 megabit.
Is it StreamYard or Riverside or what?
StreamYard's pretty cool.
That
There's
watermarks.
Watermarks unless you pay.
Right.
And it's
then
not like we're trying to do multi streams, so that could work.
So right now I'm inside of Chrome, so we'll see. But I can still see like some choppiness here and there inside of video, like when I'm looking at video. So, and I mean, being a completely different browser, right? Let's see, it uses way less CPU, surprisingly. Like you'd think because Edge uses Chrome, like you'd think Edge would use the same CPU. No, Edge was using like 33% of the CPU. Chrome is only using 17% right now, compositing. Let me see if it's using more of the GPU too. Here, let me go see GPU. Yeah. Surprisingly, it was only using 28% of the GPU. Now it's using 46% of the GPU in Chrome. So, and way more video encoder. Like when you look at video encode and decode, it's using a lot higher percentage. So I wonder, that's weird because they both use Chromium. Why would there be a difference?
Yeah, it's still doing the job.
Yeah, that sucks. God, I hate it when stuff like this derails like a fun stream. Is the audio good though, guys? As long as the audio is good, I'm not going to worry too much about it. But if the audio is like absolute crap and is skipping and popping and stuff, then that.
No, I haven't tried that. Let me listen. I'll echo for a second here.
Because I can hear you guys fine, so I think that means that everybody else would be able to hear us fine too.
Yeah. Audio sounds okay to me.
All right, good.
Solid audio. Solid, man. We just got to put on our radio voices now. Okay, everybody.
You're a solid. I know. Should I just get rid of all of our video feeds and just put a solid?
We'll just like screenshot us.
Yeah, as if do the talking.
Yeah, I'll just stay real still and talk like this. Then it looks like everything's fine.
Damn it, this sucks. I'm sorry, guys. It's just this is something you can't really foresee though. Like this is
but it just happens. And it kicks you in the balls over and over. Like there's nothing worse because you're like, I'm just trying to do it. How could it be this difficult? Yeah,
networking guys said just go to Discord. Yeah, well, I mean, we could. I mean, might as well.
Discord's a freaking weirdo. Disco is weird. Discord is weird too. I mean, I gotta say,
and plus to switch it over, I would have to basically remove all the scenes, add all the new scenes, and do it. I don't want to do that live on a Tech Talk. So maybe, but and I don't want to rely on Discord either because I don't particularly like Discord that much for video stuff. No, there's a million solutions out there that we can use that are better than this. But this Video Ninja has been pretty good over the life.
Well, remember when we first found it, we were like, oh, it was like the most beautiful thing we'd ever seen.
So, watermelon. Sorry, I got that stuck in my head. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Watermelon. Yeah, my kid runs around the house saying that all the time. I've got the bit rate. So if I go into settings on here, bit rate's 4,000 here. I'm just gonna crank it up to like 10,000. Let's see if it'll give it to me. Change room quality to 10,000 kilobits. It feels
like consistent though in its lagginess. If that makes
it's weird, it lags and then it smooths, and then it lags and then it smooths, and it's like it seems just completely random. I don't know why. So here, let me apply here faster. Okay, so I've got the fastest encoder settings, hardware and video, NVNC. Let's see. Yeah, it's still just but I can tell that from the preview, if you look at the plasma under Tech Talk at the top of the screen, that stays smooth while we're chopping. So that tells me right there that it's the capture coming in that's the problem. And so let's see. What if I go under?
It's not the event horizon.
Scary. What if I do use custom frame rate here?
That was a truly scary movie.
Which one was that?
Event Horizon.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It was spooky and super creepy.
Man, when you get sci-fi and horror right, it's the best.
Man.
Just the
best. It had like a touch of Hellraiser in it. It was
I think it was even. I think Hellraiser. I think one of the guys was involved in it. Actually, I think it might have been It may have been the guy who did Hellraiser. But yeah, fantastic stuff. I liked Hellraiser too, for that matter. I'm still on my total horror kick.
Through any of them. Yeah, the whole thing.
They're pretty cheesy, and the 80s are so rapey that it's like it's so hard to watch. But most of the movies are just like what's an excuse to get this woman's top off? Like it's
I noticed that too watching some old movies lately. Bad. I was like, because I always thought that things like got like I thought things got more racy as time went on. It's like now looking back, I think it's the opposite.
It's not, but racy is the wrong word. It's just entirely
just rapey.
It's rapey, right? Like it really is. Like
I get where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, I go back and watch these because especially with the horror stuff that I watch, because it's like that's the only way they're gonna get themselves distributed, right? It's like, look, how many naked women you got in this one? Great, right. that'll sell. Because it was the only way that people saw that stuff. Unless they're really seeking it out, they're willing to walk into the store and buy that top level magazine or whatever. But the problem is the only stuff you saw as a 14-year-old boy was that stuff, and it's all done by these like just creepy old guys who were responsible for making all these movies. And so they're like, oh, hello, little lady, you want to make it in the film industry? Let's it's the casting couch grab, right? So.
And everybody back then was like super blasted on drugs, I'm sure. Like super blasted.
I wish that was the excuse for some, I'm sure. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was the Coke days. They were the 80s were the Coke 80s into the 90s. That was where like Coke on set was like, yeah, I'll shoot for 20 hours. I got it. Yeah.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Well, I've closed everything I can. I've refreshed everything I can. I think we're just stuck with VDO, sadly, doing this. So this is
for now, it's fine. Why not?
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I usually I'd be able to narrow it down and fix it, but because it's VDO, it's like there's really nothing I can do.
An animated best of CES 2024. Yeah. Evil Dead. Yeah, that was fantastic. Evil Dead. Well, although that was the first one was didn't she get like raped by a plant in the first one? But Evil Dead 2, I loved Evil Dead 2. That was like one of the reasons I was like, I've got to make movies. It was just like, oh man, it's so cool. You ever watch that, Aux? Evil Dead 2?
What?
Evil Dead 2.
I haven't seen Evil Dead 2, but I love Evil Dead.
I think so. Yeah, that's the one where he goes back in time.
No, that was the third one, I think. That was the third one. The second one was the one in the cabin when he cuts his arm off and
I thought that was the first one. Because that leads right into the second one. Oh,
yes. There was kind of a remake. So there was Evil Dead. It was Evil Dead, which was the first like student-like film that he made. It was a real film, but he made it like for nothing. Then they kind of remade it with a bit more money for Evil Dead 2. And then Evil Dead 3 was the one where they went back in time and he had to like, he was like a gladiator and he's taking on gargoyles and crap. Yeah. Yeah.
Then maybe, because I probably have watched 1 and 2 and smushed them together.
Yeah, most like they kind of feel the same because there's so much similarities. But the second one, from a filmmaking standpoint, I just like I was hooked. I was hooked.
Right on. 3 was Army of Darkness. Okay, then yeah. Okay. Then
I saw
got him a little
crazy horror the other day called Jugface.
Jugface?
Oh my god, it's so
weird.
It was really weird, but it was kind of, I don't know, it was like quite well done in a weird way. Like it is.
Is it an old movie?
Well, like probably
2013. It says.
Is it 2013? Weird. Yeah. So within the I was gonna say within the last 10 years or so, it has this weird. So the plot is bizarre. It's like this little part of America in this kind of like, whiskey stills and like real like I don't know what the term would be for it, but like hillbilly, like hillbillies basically in a little community, and they worship this pit. There's like a pit in the middle of the forest, and then every time they, in order to stay fit and healthy, they have to sacrifice someone to this pit every so often. And it's just this crazy story. Like, I don't want to say any more because it goes all over the place, but it was like surprise, like horrible surprise after surprise. It's a pretty twisted movie. And it was really, I thought it was quite well done. So yeah, that's a 2 gory thumbs up from David.
I don't recognize the movie. I'm looking at the box art and it doesn't look like something I've seen before.
It was, I don't know where it came from, but it was just a really, again, this is why I love horror movies, right? Is they try different things. they can do stuff. They don't need movie stars. They don't need, crazy effects or anything. They just, they can just get away with being like creepy and weird. And this one was definitely that. But there's another one. Oh my God. This is an interesting one about, so I started to watch a trailer for this movie called Loop Track. Do not watch the trailer. Like I cannot tell you.
Oh, does it ruin it?
It ruins.
Oh, I hate it when they do that.
So we started to watch the trailer, and then I was like, "This looks good. We'll stop the trailer. We'll watch the movie." So we watched the movie. We're all like, we're shouting at the screen. We're like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?" We're like, it was so tense. It was great story. And then the ending happens, and you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's a horror. You have to have horror stuff in there, whatever." It was a fairly satisfying ending. But then I watched the trailer, and I was like, I would not have enjoyed this movie at all if I'd seen the trailer, because the trailer literally, sure, it shows you all the good parts and everything, but there would have been no suspense in this movie. Because the whole movie, you're like going like, what's going on in this? Yeah. And the trailer just right away says, this is what's happening. And you're like, well, there's 2 hours of movie gone that I don't need to watch anymore.
Ooh.
So I'm trying to remember, there was a movie.
Loop Track. It's really like, without a trailer, Loop Track. It's freaking awesome. Just awesome. And it's Australian too, so it's all got all that Aussie humor and like, hi, how are you? No, not Australia. It's like New Zealand. So it's even better.
Okay,
even
cool.
It's like, hi, how are you, mate? Yeah. Oh,
you're trying to be alone, are you? I'm probably gonna jinx it, but the video's smooth
look okay,
now,
right?
Yeah. So like, I probably just jinxed it by saying that, but yeah, it's been smooth for like a minute or two now.
Hey, there you go.
All I did was I just went into OBS and I just said refresh the browser scenes. Because one thing I noticed, I picked up on a pattern was sometimes it was smooth, like when I was looking at video in the browser, and it was choppy in OBS, and then other times it was choppy in the video window and it was smooth in OBS. And I was like, well, what's the difference, right? They're both pulling from the same spot, but the difference is they're each a different tab, like because each one of the browser instances in OBS is its own tab. And so if video is struggling to send enough bandwidth to maintain a frame rate to a certain browser instance or a certain connection, that would affect one and maybe not another. So I think VDO is just having some problems there, and they probably just resolved it.
I think haven't canceled video yet. Then
no, I guess not. Video's working. So
cool. Okay, so I mean,
as far as
part of the process, we just refresh them.
You just the last thing I want to do is like is watch Barnacules try to figure out a new freaking video software.
It's the worst, man.
All right.
I hate like because all I want to do is like hang out. This is my one time a week to like hang out with my bros and just, I mean, this whole thing is just a bad excuse to like have socialization with my friends. Like that's literally what Tech Talk is. Masquerading as some kind of technology news thing. So when I have to deal with like technical issues and trying to figure it out and stuff, it ruins the whole experience. It's like, man, like I just want to hang out with my bros and and let people be a little voyeur, peeking in between the blinds, being all dirty and watching our lives unfold. That's what I want to do, and try not to get banned.
Just put me off it. I don't like all this peeking behind the blind stuff. What the hell,
dude? I used to have a phobia about that back in the day, where I thought that people were outside of my house, always looking in my blinds when my blinds were closed.
Really?
So I'd open up my blinds just so I could see out the window, so that I knew like who was out there. Because whenever I had them closed, I always felt like eyes were on me. You know that feeling you get when you feel you watch a horror movie or something, suddenly you feel like you're being watched. You've never experienced that? Like
I've had it before, but years. Like I haven't had it for years.
Like as a kid, maybe. Yeah.
Now I'm scared people aren't looking at me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Right? No, I don't have that problem like anymore. But when I was a kid, I had a pretty severe like anxiety about being watched. Like I always felt like people were like, hiding in the woods and watching me, or a big fear that I had. And I think I know where that comes from actually now, because I had a really bad scare when I was a kid where a person pointed a sniper rifle at me with a red dot sight. And I saw the red dot and they were tracking me around with it while I was driving my car down the road. Like I was only 16, just got my license, and I had a red dot on my chest.
That's fucking scary.
And I was like panicking, having a heart attack, and they tracked me for like a good quarter mile. I was driving and they were keeping this red dot on me through my front windshield. And I didn't know what to do because there was no place to turn off. It was like a freeway, but there was no, like, all there was a shoulder and it was all wide open. So I'm like, where could this person be? Like I couldn't see where the light was emitting from. Like but this dot was,
coming
like,
from the
dancing
car
around on my chest.
It's coming from it.
And yeah, it gave me like a bad panic attack, and
Jesus.
I freaked out after that. And that's not the only time that's happened to me though. I've had other
It's
times
probably
where
like a
people
kid
have
with a
pointed
laser pointer just fucking.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
Still,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
I mean,
But the
doesn't
only
help.
reason I don't think it was a laser pointer is because of how steady it was. Because try holding
Sure.
a laser pointer from like 1,000 yards away,
Yeah,
and like
that's
it's all over the place, right? But with
Yeah.
with a scope mounted on a rifle, you can actually keep that pretty tight, even a half a mile away.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I
Yeah.
thought that it was mounted on a gun. And I was like, it's like, what do you do, right? What do you do? I'm just driving along. I'm like, okay, well, if they pull the trigger, I'm dead. Like there's well, unless the window deflects it or something like that.
Right.
I know
There was
that
another
can
movie
happen.
I saw. It was exactly the same. That was the same, except they actually shot someone. But yeah, there was something about a sniper on the side of the road taking out kids as they went by, like teenagers in their car.
Did the light go away once you put gas in the car?
I
I hate you, Jim.
Is that Evo? Is that Jim?
It is.
Oh
it
my
is.
God,
That's the
he's
reason why I
good.
read it. I was like, you
He's
fucking
too
troll.
good. Too good.
Oh my God, dude. So wait, you said there's a movie where like some dude was like,
Yeah, there was.
kids?
It was actually kind of fun where they basically he was like target practice. He'd put like some kind of a tire spikes in the road. They'd drive over it. They'd pull over to change the tire, and then he'd just take them off one at a time. And it was like he was just hunting humans. It was pretty wild.
Whatever happened to the whole concept of hunting humans? That was a big like trope back in the 90s.
A little bit.
There was that. Was it the
There's
most
a
dangerous
million
game?
movies. Where, yeah, like where they
one of
take
my
people out to an
favorite
island and
short
they'd hunt them.
stories, man.
Yeah, most dangerous game.
I didn't realize what I was reading at the time when I read, because it's like it's really short story. It's like 6 paragraphs or something. It's hardly anything. And what a cool story.
Yeah.
Wow. And then they've done a few different remakes. There's one
It's hard to do in the movies. The movies, it gets a bit cheesy, but yeah.
I liked how they did it in recently. They had one of the Hemsworth brothers in it.
Yes, yeah, that was fun.
And that was
fun.
really cool. They did it that goofy. It originally came out on that goofy app that kind of tanked during the pandemic.
No, was it? Was it on the short app thing?
Quibi.
Yeah, Quibi.
Yeah, it came out on Quibi first.
Oh, I never tried that, but I heard about that. Sorry, I didn't know they died.
Man, if it could have been something pretty neat if the timing of it had been better, because it was neat.
Well, and if they didn't try to lock it down and make all their own,
stuff. Yeah,
like let everyone make, like they did it. TikTok, everyone gets to make short films. I mean, whatever.
So check this out. Look at how many movies. So I just asked
That's
AI. I was like, hey, how many? Give me a list of movies that are based on the premise of hunting humans. And so that Most Dangerous Game, number 1. So you nailed that one. God, 1932 that came out?
Yeah, it's a short story. Yeah, it's great.
It's like classic literature. Like you used to read that in
guy washes
school.
up on the island after a shipwreck, and it just turns out it happens to turn out that it's got this eccentric rich guy who he's like, yeah, you can stay, but
doesn't he lure boats? Doesn't he lure boats?
Maybe that was I think maybe that was revealed as part of it, because he somehow the boat crashed on purpose. Yeah.
Wait, and he's like, oh, hey, you can hang out with me and have the guest bedroom, but I get to hunt you from 9 a.m. or 6 a.m. to dusk or whatever.
Well, after like the first, he's like, oh yeah, have dinner with me and stuff, and it's like, tomorrow, starting tomorrow, like we're gonna hunt you down.
Yeah, there's a lot of B movies too with the hunting premise too, because I remember watching Jason Brandt. I love watching his commentaries where he sits down and watches movies and commentates some of these old. His videos he does on Steven Seagal are hilarious. Like he has an entire video series he does where he watches, because Steven Seagal puts out a new movie every 3 days on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah,
and so they're so bad. The movies are so bad now. It's obviously some kind. Bless you. It's obviously some kind of money laundering scheme or something that he's running, because these movies are not good. None of them are good. They're all just garbage that looks like he writes it down on a napkin. They all have the exact same premise. He's super special spec ops sniper. He just comes up with a new name. He walks around. He doesn't even run anymore. He's so out of shape. He just walks around. He holds the guns really weird. This is what I don't understand is in his old movies, he actually looked half proficient, with his martial arts and his gun and everything. I liked his old movies, Under Siege, fantastic. You watch any
that
of
was when I went to the theater for that. I think
I did too.
I actually went.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. I loved his.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was great. But Steven Seagal he has the weirdest run, John. And chat Steven Seagal, they called it the waddle or something. When he runs, he does this weird fluidy back and forth thing when he runs, he's speed walking. It's really, really weird. But all of his movies now, he just sits through the whole movie. He rarely stands. When he holds a gun, he puts the butt of the gun up on his shoulder, not against his shoulder, up on his shoulder like this. When he shoots with the pistols, he just blind fires. He's not even looking where he's shooting, and he's like hitting everybody in the head. And it's just terrible cinematography, terrible lighting. Everything about it looks like it's thrown together on a weekend. And he just keeps.
So they spend all their money on getting him in, and then they just like.
But how much money did you start with to begin with? If you gotta hire Steven Seagal, like. Come on.
Well, I think there's no way he doesn't own the production company. He has to own the production company. There's no way,
man. It's like it's almost like Nicolas Cage. He just doesn't say no. He's like, I'll do whatever movie you pay me for.
Yeah. And he goes through those waves, like where he's in all this shit, and you start going like, I'm never watching another Nick Cage movie. And it's like, what the hell was that? You know,
but some of them turn out pretty decent. Like I had kind of enjoyed Pig. Actually,
oh my god, I loved Pig. I thought Pig was like, I was surprised it wasn't up for like a best film or something because it was like
I still haven't seen it.
Artsy, you
haven't seen that? Oh my god, it's great.
It's cool. I recommend it.
It's a lot. Again, go and watch the trailer. Lots of surprises. So much more fun if you don't know what you're getting into.
I liked the one he doesn't say a word. It's like "Welcome to Wacky Willie's" or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like it's a Five Nights at Freddy's parody kind of a thing.
Yeah,
but not a parody in a comedy way. It's like it's obviously we couldn't get the rights to Five Nights at Freddy's, so we're making this movie. But he doesn't say a word, not a word in that whole movie, and it's great.
Yeah,
I like
he does some really interesting. There's also Color of Space was another one.
Oh, that was a weird one. Yeah,
really odd. He does these. I mean,
it's a Lovecraft story, so like of course it's weird.
Which rarely, I've got to say, rarely works. I tried to watch Suitable Flesh the other day, which is another Lovecraft one. Lovecraft with that beautiful Heather Graham, who is just fabulous, but it is like the worst.
Yeah, man, what happened to Heather Graham?
Yeah,
like after fucking
Boogie Nights or whatever.
No, she was in Austin Powers movie, and then like after that she disappeared.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, she was.
So
she
weird.
did.
It's so bizarre because
I mean, she was
very specific,
sweet and wholesome, and like it was like weird.
This movie is it's one of like, it's unfortunate because I think there's some good ideas in it, but it was so unwatchable that I watched it. That's how unwatchable it was. Yeah, it was bizarre because I really, I love her. I feel like I could watch her in anything, but at the same time, I struggled with this one. I really struggled.
So here I found. Okay, so I got the list of the hunting humans. You want to hear how many?
Oh yeah. What else we got? Okay. What else we got? Yeah.
So check this out. So Most Dangerous Games #1. Okay, now I'm just gonna read them out because there's so many of them. The Running Man.
Oh yeah, of course.
I guess with the counts kind of sure.
Hard Target. So homeless men being hunted for sport by wealthy men in New Orleans. Surviving the Game, 1994. This film features a homeless man who is hired as a guide for a hunting trip in the mountains, unaware that he's the one being hunted. Battle Royale.
Oh, of course, Battle Royale.
Yeah,
Battle Royale.
A group of high school students. Yep, and then the Hunger Games, obviously. I mean that's what they're hunting each other, but it's for the rich people's,
Sure.
The Purge.
Yeah. I could see, Purge being a bit of a hunting movie. Sure.
Yep, The Purge is literally humans hunting humans.
I gotta say, I loved the first Purge. I thought it was great.
What did I do, like 12 or something now? Like
I liked the first Purge because it was more of a home invasion thriller, than like just a murder fest that the rest of them turned into. But because like
some neat ones though, every so often there'd be like a good Purge for some reason. I don't know.
I like when they stick more to the.
I like the
like home invasion style.
I like the concept of the story where it's like one day a year you basically just let everybody just get all their stress out, and then the rest of the year is like smooth sailing. Like, because didn't they say that like because of the Purge it like lowered crime to like almost
that's like the idea, at least. I
mean, not that it would work that way in reality. I'm just saying like the premise in the movie though was like by the reason they created the Purge was because then everybody could get everything out. But yeah, it was. I just thought that was so crazy because it was like even cops weren't off limits, right?
Like
during the Purge, it's like people could literally hunt the cops.
They say that all law is suspended, and it's just kind of interesting that the depiction of it is like, oh, everybody's just going to revert to murder.
Yeah, right away.
Why is that?
I've always wanted to murder someone.
Thing?
Finally,
I think if cops were just disappeared for 24 hours and you can't get in trouble for anything, it'd be more looting. People would be stealing shit more than killing each other. Like I don't know. People aren't.
I also just love the premise of the rich. This whole kind of like, well, I paid a fortune for this security system and like this, that it sort of didn't apply. It was fun for the rich because they didn't have to worry about it until they had to worry about it.
Thank you, Bally Brand. I appreciate the super chat, brother.
What
Yeah, no, I'm sending David up. I'm chasing him around with the camera. It's fun.
I have got to figure out.
Every time he moves, I just rebox them here.
Has any YouTuber done that? Some YouTubers should do like a hunt, like hunting the YouTuber type. Oh, they have. I guess Mr. Beast used to do that kind of stuff, didn't he?
No, who just another YouTuber just did that. I just watched it. Hacksmith.
Oh, did he do a hunt one?
Yeah, he hunted all of his employees.
Oh my god!
He did an episode where it's like last man standing gets like $200 or something like that,
cool.
and they all hid in spots throughout the warehouse complex.
Funny.
And there were some good ones, man. Like where people they hiding spots where he wouldn't have found them if he searched for 100 years.
Right.
It was wild. Like one of the guys literally drywalled himself into the wall. So unless you went around the building and literally unscrewed the drywall and pulled it off, you would have never found him. And he sat in there like that for 2 or 3 hours just to win.
Wow. And did he win?
He did.
Oh, wow.
And it's so funny because he walked by him a million times, but it's you'd never think to look behind the drywall of a wall.
You will now. Now he's just gonna shoot the drywall.
The next video, he just rips it all out.
Yeah, all of it. It costs him a fortune in drywall every time. Yeah. The side did one too. Yeah.
Kevlar condoms in the house.
Yeah, man, you got some crazy flashlight. Some 200,000 lumen flashlight.
Oh my god! I wanted to play. I was looking at them when we went camping this year. We went up to the cottage, and there was a supply store, and I was looking at them. My wife wasn't looking at it.
Okay, so
what? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't understand that sentence. What?
Well, I mean, that doesn't really
you
make
beg
sense.
forgious, not permission. Come on.
That's it. But that was the thing. I just felt like
this box just showed up, babe. Yeah. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Adam,
that's not true. That's true. You're right. It's more about me. I couldn't figure out how to make it sound like I really needed it when we had a bunch of flashlights already. So I can't blame her. No.
I need to light up the whole house from the basement.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they're getting 200,000 lumens out of that, because I have Adam got me the 100,000 lumen version of that, and it can only run I think for 2 minutes before it overheats, and the big thing is just a giant metal heat sink with a fan.
The thing looks like a ghost trap.
With a
beam on the end of it.
Liquid cooled flashlight.
Yeah, right? I'm trying to figure out how the hell they're getting to 200,000 lumens. I mean, there's no way that thing can run for more than a minute.
Science. That's how. That's all you have to say.
Science.
It's science.
Well, put it this way: it's so hot that the LEDs, because LEDs don't really put out all that much heat, but it still puts out enough to set stuff on fire.
Dude, no.
I can
LED lights, the heavy duty ones, like stadium lights and stuff, they get so freaking hot. It's ridiculous.
Radiant heat from the back of it to heat. But I'm talking about the light itself.
Oh, yeah, the burn.
Yeah, this thing, you can put the flashlight pointing at your arm and it'll physically burn you. It feels like you're getting sunburned. I mean, actually, you can't even hold your arm in it. It gets so hot you have to pull it away. And if it's a black piece of paper and you put it on the black piece of paper, the paper actually starts smoldering and catches fire. Whoa. And you're from LED light, that's projected light through a lens. So there's also a lens there. So it's not the radiant heat, it's the actual light. So I'm just, man, that's crazy. So the 200,000 lumen flashlight, that's crazy.
What do they go for?
So they're expensive as hell. I think the original was $800 or something like that.
Let's see, it's a Imalent, IMALENT MS32. I can see the box.
Yep. And they made 2 versions of the first one. They made a wide beam and a narrow beam. I think I have the wide. I'm pretty sure I have the wide beam, if I remember right. Adam would know. Mine's the Imalent, I think MS18.
Look at that.
$700 for the MS18, so that one came down a little bit in price.
200,000 lumen flashlight. Holy crap!
Oh, they also made 120,000 lumen one.
Do you have a brand that you'd recommend? Is there one that they like?
Oh, this Imalent thing is pretty much top of the line. You're not going to find anything more heavy duty than this thing. I mean, it's all metal. There's not a piece of plastic on the thing. The buttons, the body, everything. It just feels like you're holding a solid block of metal. Yeah, I have so I have the 100,000 floodlight. So my light is so bright. If I go outside and it's pitch black, the power goes out, and the street lights are off. And I go out and I just turn on my flashlight and set it down in the yard, just pointing straight up into the sky. All of the clouds illuminate like a light bulb, and you can see all of the houses in the entire neighborhood.
Wow.
So it's so bright that projecting straight up, it lights up the entire neighborhood. One flashlight. How do you spell
Imalent? Imalent. Is that the brand?
IMALENT.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm a lent.
I'm a lent. Yeah,
I don't just lent. I am a lent.
They thought hard about that. Wow. $749? No.
Yeah, that's money.
The sun is 130,000 lumens at the equator.
Okay, you know what I'm doing? I'm creating.
It's more than the sun.
It's a lot.
I'm gonna create an affiliate link.
Yeah,
Do it.
I'm creating an affiliate link, and I'm gonna share it for everybody, just in case someone wants.
Get
If anyone
paid,
wants
man.
themselves, there you go. Anyone
Oh,
wants
man.
themselves one of those fancy flashlights? There you go.
Well, on
that'll
Amazon,
pay-
it's
Pay
here.
for my child's education.
I'm
There
gonna
you
click
go.
your link so it replaces my cookie with your cookie. So next time I buy something from Amazon, you get
Hey.
you get the thing.
Perfect.
Hey, we gotta help David. He's poor now. He's not the rich actor he used to be.
I know there's been no freaking work. What the hell's going on?
AI's replacing you, man.
Well, yeah, that's what you get for
Yeah.
going on strike. Yeah,
I know.
I'm
That's
I'm
what I
bitching.
said. You know what I'm doing on Monday though? I'm going to the University of Toronto, and I'm going to talk to them about my whole escape room learning concept. So I'm actually there's a bunch of students who are going to they're going to do an escape room, and then they're going to try to figure out how they can create their own escape room that teaches kids about biology. So I'm going to talk to them. Talk them through the process and stuff. So yeah, how cool is that? That's my latest Tech Bandits endeavor. Is Monday. I'm going to go do that. But it's so funny. Like I'm going to university finally. I never made it through high school, but I'm finally going to university, and I'm on the other side of the microphone.
Hey, Joe Taji just super chatted $20. Thank you, Joe. It's the biggest tip of the day.
Hey.
We appreciate it. Woo! Oh yeah, here. I fired this up. I use it. Let me move my expensive VR headset though, so it doesn't get blasted by smoke like I almost did last time. All right, here we go. Ready? Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah.
Yeah. Why is this all fogged up?
Woo! Woo! Blinky blinks.
I don't.
It's
the 10-second lag. I forgot the 10-second lag. I'm like, it's not working, dude. Like,
you're like, dude, I don't see no smoke. What the hell are you talking about?
Nothing.
Joe said, did you hear about or see the short film The Disappearance of Willie Bingham? It's about an inmate who is forced to go through multiple dismemberment surgeries. It's on YouTube. Pretty interesting. Definitely a bit freaky.
Some stuff like body horror. Some body horror stuff really weirds me out.
Yeah, no, me too.
It's just it's the torture porn that gets me.
Yeah, like Hostel and stuff.
I didn't like that. Yeah, I don't mind it if it's got like a reason to it, like, you know, but it just feels
that did not.
I don't know.
I don't mind it as long as it's over the top. Like it's got to be like Saw, or Kill Bill, where it's just blood.
But even Saw got too much for me. I was like,
right? Yeah, I don't.
It needs to be theatrical. If it's too sort of,
if they go for realism, it starts creeping me out. Yeah. Like I can't think of a movie like off the top of my head that I watched, but there's been some movies I watched where I was like uncomfortable enough to like turn it off. Like where I was just like, you know what, this is just like it gives you like flashbacks and shit, and you're like, yeah, no, I don't want to.
Well, there was one like Last House on the Left or something. There was one that was just, even at the time when it first came out, they've remade it a couple of times, and the whole premise is just too much. I started, you know what I tried to watch? I started watching The Strangers, which everyone tells me is this great home invasion movie. I started watching and I was like, this is based on a true story. It was just too. I was like, I don't want to watch people die.
Like one of the movies that really creeped me out when I was a kid was People Under the Stairs. Did you ever see that movie?
Huh.
Yes, I tried watching it because of you.
I watched creepy, dude.
No, I watched the whole thing. It was interesting in a really bad way.
It's a different movie. It's one of those movies where it's like the characters in that movie are like the dad. Yeah. Holy shit! Like
they're pretty creepy.
Well, you keep hearing about these stories nowadays about like the families that had like their kids chained up and shit inside of their house and were like torturing them and stuff, but they're like normal when they go outside. Yeah. That was like People Under the Stairs, right? It's like the guy wasn't an extrovert by any means, but like when he talked to law enforcement and everything, he was just like, "Oh, hi, how are you guys doing? I'm just a normal guy." And it's like he go inside the house and grab his chainsaw, put his mask on, and be like, "Get the hell out of my walls," you know.
And there's this whole race thing too, because he's like, they're like slum landlords for this black family, and the kid goes to see if he can score some money off them. And oh man, yeah, no, it was interesting. Like I feel like that would be an interesting film to read. Oh my god, I got a good one for you. Holy crap, I got a good one for you. Man, I gotta find the name of it. Okay, I gotta look it up. It's so good. It's these two kids. I almost turned it off because I was like, I'm not gonna like this. The movie starts with two kids like hogtied and duct tape on their face in the back of a pedophile's car.
Ooh,
and I'm like, I'm out. There's no freaking way I'm watching this. But I watched a little bit longer thinking like, well, maybe it's going to go somewhere different. It did. It was. It was really fun. Like it's this, there's a couple of kids, the performances were amazing. The little guy who sort of is the lead of it, the kid who sort of gets away type thing. and how resourceful he is and stuff. Oh man, I was like, this is freaking great. Like and it was creepy. Man, it had me. Yeah, I was very tense. I got to find out what the name of that movie was now. Damn it.
Just got a message from Adam. He said he's upgrading his internet to 50 megabit.
Whoa, so many bits.
No, this is what's crazy. Megas. Like, what's the fastest internet you can get, David, up where you're at?
I think I've got it.
Is it like gigabit or?
They call it. I think it's basically gigabit. Yeah, I mean, I have to.
Is it cable or fiber?
It's fiber. Yeah.
Oh, it is fiber. Okay, if it's fiber, it's probably gigabit. Yeah. They usually start fiber at about a gigabit. They just announced like a couple of months ago, because my provider now is Ziply. I love Ziply, by the way. I'll promote the shit out of them, even though I get nothing.
Really? Are they good?
Yeah. They're really great. They've been awesome. Their customer service was rocky at first because the install just kept getting delayed and misinformation, and they'd show up. So worst install that you could ever have in your entire life, like where you'd almost write the company completely off. But once it was actually installed and running, it's been the most stable internet I've ever had. I've tested it to see if they're throttling because I wanted to push it to its absolute limit. So I transferred 47 terabytes in 30 days. Wow. So literally hit it as hard as I could, like 24/7.
They didn't throttle it at all.
Nope, not a single dip the whole time.
And I'm doing a speed test while we talk just to get a sense, and it's 745 upload. 745 upload, and I never get confused. I always get confused with this. But capital M, mega, right? So it's got to be megabits per second, or megabytes per second.
No, it's megabit.
Yeah, okay, capital B. Man, right, marketing people don't ever stick to the conventions.
1,000 megabit is 100 megabytes. That's the closest. It's not perfect, but that's how I convert it in my head. Is basically just take and knock a zero off. Yeah. So 1,000 megabits, 100 megabytes a second. 100 megabits is 10 megabytes a second. And that's a rough conversion.
I'm running, my family's all using their stuff at the same time, and my upload speed's 917.
Nice. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Like, so it's pretty freaking great.
Yeah, and here's the thing. My other internet would only give me a gig down, but it only give me 35 megabit up. And of the gig, the most I ever got, because of the constraints on the packets going up, the best I ever got was like 750, 800. Now I'm using Ziply, and I'm downloading at 104 to 110 megabytes per second. So that's over 1,000 megabit.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I noticed that when everything in the house is like doing stuff like uploading, downloading, and everything, I still seem to get my 1,000. So it's almost like.
And yours is fiber as well?
Yeah, it's fiber. Yeah. And the channels are separate too. Like I did a speed test where I was downloading and uploading at the same time, and I was still getting my full gig on the download. So it's not like they're splitting the bandwidth, which they did with my cable modem. Like if you started uploading at 35 megabit, you would see that 35 megabit disappear from your downstream. But like when I run speed test, I can have another computer literally uploading to like OneDrive at like 800 megabit per second or whatever, and I'm still running speed test and getting like 800-900.
Yeah, I was surprised it was as high as it was, given that we're actually doing this at the same time. Because I'm also watching, so I'm doing our stream. I'm also, for some reason, like an idiot, I've got our stream running as well, which I probably shouldn't. So I'm quite surprised it's getting the speeds that it's getting. So it's great. That's just
So Adam said, 1,000 megabits is divided by 8 would be megabytes per second.
Yeah,
right.
So
Okay.
Because it's 8 bits to a byte.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. The old days, the old bits and bytes.
But the drop in the zero is pretty close because like 10. 10 is close enough to 8 for napkin math.
It's for
so
marketing.
For those of us who aren't math geniuses, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah,
and the marketing is so much better if you can just sort of round it up.
Yeah, my brain works good with the whole bit shifting. Just knock a zero off or add a zero. I don't like having to carry anything in real life too.
Yeah.
I don't like to lift things, not even my numbers. No, so yeah, like internet's also really cheap. Like my cable internet was $116 a month for a gig down and 35 megabit up. Through Ziply, I'm paying $58 a month for a gig down and a gig up symmetrical.
You got to get an affiliate link or something.
I don't even know if they do affiliates, but if they do, I should totally get a link because man, I'm like their biggest fan. Like and also through storms where power's been completely out, I've had no disruption to my internet service. So I've only had since it's been installed, I think it's probably been safely now, probably like what 8 or 10 months. God, more than that, probably almost a year. So I've had their internet now for probably, let's say, 8 to 10 months, right?
Mhm.
I've only had one outage the entire time, and it was only for 12 hours, and it was because somebody physically went and cut the lines. Like between me and their service, somebody went out and actually cut the lines.
Was it
between
you with a
3
pair of
poles.
scissors trying to repair
No,
something
no,
you
I
screwed
didn't.
up?
No, hey, I plead the fifth. But no, they apparently somebody thought that it was copper wire. Like they were trying to, like the meth heads do that every once in a while. They go, and so where it came out of the ground and went up to the poles, they basically cut the wire like 3 poles down, like in the middle of the early morning.
I hate people.
Yeah, and so, but the cool thing is, it was the whole service outage was only 12 hours because they had somebody like go out there and restring all 3 poles, shut down the road, got an old crew out there and everything within 12 hours of the outage starting. So 12 from like the moment that they cut the lines, they had it like, and it was a significant fix. They had to literally go up the poles and run a new fiber optic line, like all the way from the ground up the pole and then 3 poles down. And they managed to do that within 12 hours. I was like, God, you can't ask for better service than that. That's like freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is, like, I can upgrade my internet just by calling them. Like they just prorate everything. So let's say I was having like a LAN party and I wanted 10 gig. I can just call them and order the 10 gig, use it for like 2 or 3 days, and they'll just prorate it for that 2 or 3 days and then put me back on my original plan. And I can switch back and forth as many times as I want.
That's pretty cool.
So can you just do that online, or do you have to call them?
No, I can do it online. I can literally text them on Twitter DMs. I can literally Twitter DM them and they'll do it. So
stupid Canada. There's stupid Canadian stuff. We're like Canada, the land of monopoly. You know what I mean? Like it's just like they just have like 2 services. There's basically 2 services here.
Yeah,
Rogers and Bell, and that's it.
Yeah, they work at duopolies, right? So it's like, oh, you either go to Verizon or Xfinity.
Yep.
You know. Oh, okay.
Oh my God! I should find that quote. There's this Carl Sagan quote that I'm obsessed with.
I love Carl Sagan.
Okay, you got to hear this because it's the most terrifying thing you've. Okay, I'm gonna find it. Here we go. You talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna
go find it. So with Ziply, if I like right now, I said I'm paying I think it's like $58 a month or whatever for a gig. I can go up to 10 gig for, I think it's 2.5 gig is $100 a month, $90 or $100 a month. Then for like another $30 or whatever, you can go up to like 10 gig. And then after 10 gig, I have to switch out my little modem thing they gave me. They call it something else. I always forget the name of it, but the fiber gateway or whatever.
Well, come on. Yeah.
Yeah. They said mine only goes up to 10 gigs. So they said after 10 gig, they got to swap it out, but it's free. They give you the hardware for free.
Nice.
And so they'll come out and they basically give you like a rack mount switch thing that can go up to 50. But they said my one fiber line coming into the house can do 50 gigabit. And I'm like, dude, that is nuts. Like I can't even
then bring it 50, go.
Like 50 gigabit. That's what is that? That'd be 5 gigabytes. Well, carry the one or whatever. But over 5 gigabytes transmission a second. Yeah. Like that's like fast as your
have to be
fastest
500.
SSD.
Right? Because like I have 1 gig and
no, that'd be 5 gigabit. Because 1 gigabit can do 100 megabytes per second.
Yeah.
So 5 gigabit
that's right.
500. 50 gigabit would be 5,000.
Right.
That's just running your own cloud platform at that point.
I mean, if 50 gigabit, you could literally load games off of your mounted cloud drive like it was an M2 SSD in your computer.
Oof.
Man,
like
that's my dream. Is I want to do backups to the cloud, all that crap. I just want to I'm sick of this slow speed stuff. I'm like. Well, of course, that's I'm an old guy who started off with the dial-up. So
yeah, and Adam said 50 is only $300 a month through
for a business, for business account.
You gotta get an excuse for that. Then that's like, I don't know why you'd need it, but then you start reselling it or something. So I found the quote. Okay, get this. This is wild. Okay, so this is from 1995. Okay, a book that he wrote called called "The Demon Haunted World: Science as a Candle in the Dark." Okay, and he says, science is more than a body of knowledge. It is a way of thinking. I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the key manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what is true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness.
Yep.
Wow, he nailed it.
Like holy,
like
I get like
nailed it.
shivers.
Yeah,
like I just like I'm like
it's
everybody should
literally
know
what's happening.
this.
Carl
Like-
Sagan was the real Nostradamus.
Like how
big way.
wild is that? I mean, like the clutching, the one that really got me was the clutching the crystals and the horoscopes.
Yeah,
And you know, I just and
yeah,
because
wanting to
I
hear
feel
what
like
you want to hear over the truth, like the
That's it.
feedback, or what do they call it? The echo chamber. The echo chamber is huge on social
Yeah.
media, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, but the algorithm feeds into that.
Mhm.
That's what scares me the most about social media now. Is
Mhm.
social media when it first started, like we're talking like MySpace days.
Mhm.
It's like you picked who you followed, you picked who you wanted to hear from, and who
And
you trust.
it was
You don't get to
learning
do that
from
anymore.
us. And it was learning from us. Like it was going like, oh, what's popular? Oh, I
Yep.
guess people like that. Now we're trying to learn it. We're trying to figure out what its algorithms are. Like I've been listening to a bunch of my what I call business porn podcasts. All my stuff about like, you know, I love it. But there's a whole thing about search engine optimization and all this stuff, and they've got all these tricks for Google and that, and you're bouncing up, and oh my God, there's the great purge when Google changed stuff and all the ranks dropped and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And what they're coming around to now is it's like, just do a good website. Like there's no if you're constantly just trying to buck the trends, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're seeing we were talking about this before, like how YouTubers are quitting right now. I think because I can make the greatest freaking content in the world. No one will watch it. And then I watch, you know, and then I throw something up because I fell down the stairs or something. And it's like, well, everyone wants to, you know what I mean? Like it's fucked. The algorithms are fucked.
Yeah. We've got to a point, I think, now where it's I don't know, people like expect to be like the next big thing instead of just trying to cultivate a community, like an honest to goodness community, a group of people who of at least like-minded, if not, you know, you don't all have to be carbon copies, but like of a heck, even just an interest. Like I really like cozy games. And okay, so you're never going to have 100,000 viewers on Twitch by playing Stardew Valley, but you will have your group of, you know, 15 to 30 like crazy loyal viewers who are always there, and that's enough to build like a success from. Like it doesn't have to be thousands of viewers. I mean, you have to spread out and do other types of content and stuff, like your website or a blog and, you know, whatever. But like you don't have to, I don't know, as other people say this often enough, but it's like we have to change our idea of what success looks like. From like fucking Bentleys and gold chains to like just being happy. Like be happy with what you've got and with what like
100%.
What's wrong with a cottage industry? What's wrong with something that pays your bills and you get to do what you like doing? Like
that's where my own head is at. Like I'm not trying to, I don't want to like get to, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. I feel like it would be way too stressful. The things that I would have to do in order to maintain a humongous sort of like net worth, it is daunting. And
it's the Brewster's Millions effect.
Even just like let's start small. If I could just replace my 9 to 5, I would be ecstatic. Like holy, that is a success. But then like, you know, I'm not trying to be,
but it has to be replaced with something fulfilling. This idea of like a passive income. It's like, I don't want a passive income. I want something that's, I want to do something that makes me feel like I'm doing something that I'm, I mean, for me, it would be like, I love the acting. That's always gonna be around. It's great. That's like, but it's like gravy to me. I like the idea of just being able to know on a regular basis that you're doing something and you're providing and you're making, you know, like
Dave Webster. That's perfect. That's a great example right there. He says, my mate Coffee Blog Kev, he makes most of his money on affiliate links on his blog. YouTube is just a website feeder. Perfect. And I bet that dude lives and breathes coffee, right? That's his fucking jam, right? I bet he could go on and on and on all day, like 2 hours. The guy's going to talk to you about how awesome this coffee is. And like, that's the thing is like, if people could just double down on the things that they are like, that they love to do and can just like geek out over like the most, like how fulfilling and how fun and like, and just do the parts of it that you like to do. Like, I don't like video editing, so I double down on live content because at some point I might be able to hire somebody to edit the stuff. Or not. Who cares? That's
or
just
try
me.
Opus. Have you tried Opus? Opus AI. It's you can throw a video in, and it's remarkably good at pulling out little clips. Like it's pretty great. And it was, I mean, the free version I've tried is all I've done, but I feel like there's going to be tools for this stuff coming up. I think it's called Opus AI. I may have it wrong. But, yeah, I've just been playing with that too, because the same thing. I'm like, I've got these streams, these huge long streams. You know, how else can I get the stuff out there? I don't want to interact so much on social media anymore. It's beginning to, it just gets, it's just me. It gets in my head, and I feel like I'm wasting time. And, you know, for some reason, it doesn't feel like wasting time sitting, you know, talking to a camera and a bunch of people online for some reason. But you know.
No, live streaming is what I'm most comfortable with out of everything.
And that's it.
I feel more connected with my audience. I'm talking to real people. I don't feel like there's an algorithm wedged between us once they get to me.
This is my therapy, totally. Like, this is like, you know, my Burn Alert stuff, same thing. I started it because I just wanted to guilt myself into doing exercise on a regular basis. But now it's kind of become this thing where I look forward to that. I get that little jolt, the little, you know, endorphins going, because after I'm all sweaty and gross, I can hop on and talk about the book I was listening to.
Yep.
Whatever, right. So yeah, yeah, chasing the numbers, I think I just think it's maybe it's for some people, but I
know it's used against it's used against us though. That's the thing. It's not a real metric. It's illusionary now.
It's the same as
nothing.
I mean, it's the same as I don't know.
No, I can prove it. There's YouTube channels that get 100 million views a month with under 100,000 subscribers. And there are channels that have millions of subscribers that don't even get more than a couple 10,000 views a month. And so the concept of a subscriber used to mean something. Like when you subscribe to somebody, that means every time they make a video, send me a notification, get my attention because I like what they make. I want to follow them. I want to see what they're doing. That doesn't exist anymore. All the algorithms have moved away from that. And now
unless you're posting every day and or whatever.
And even if you do, you still like I've caught YouTube. Now it doesn't happen to everybody. I'm still trying to figure out what causes this. But I've caught YouTube red-handed about a zillion times, unsubscribing me from popular channels that I watch on a regular basis. I've also found YouTube, like going through and monitoring my feed, going through my suggested feed, where they just take a creator that I've watched every video that they make, and they just completely disappear them from the suggested videos box. Like completely. They'll never show up there. Even if I go watch their videos, they have a new video out and I go watch it and I go back to the suggested box, it's still not there and their next video won't show up. And it's like somehow they get on a blacklist because of the content that they're creating just doesn't jive with what YouTube is trying to push, or it isn't advertiser enough friendly. So they just slowly work them out of the picture. And then what'll happen is I'll see suggestions for videos that are similar content to the person that I want to watch, but they're different people. And that's really creepy because it's like, wait a second, I don't follow this guy, but he's doing the same weird niche thing that the other guy I watch does. So the algorithm's looking at me. So the algorithm's looking at it and go, wait a second, this guy over here is more advertiser friendly. This guy over here, we can make more money if more people watch his videos. So we're going to pull this guy's audience away and without them knowing it and slowly transition them subliminally over to this other person.
Well, because it
makes us more money.
Well, and also you're not, all of your eggs aren't in one basket. Like they don't give a fuck if Linux or whatever his name is goes off the air, because to take his place, they've got like 500 other people clamoring to get that position. And they, in a way, you almost don't want to get these people who are going to force them into things that they might not want or be more demanding and stuff. The thing that's going to be really interesting, this is something I was talking about in Email Boss from Awesomeness last week, was these AI influencers, right? Like why deal with people when you can write crazy great characters and stories and things for people to interact with? I mean, I was joking around because the one that they were using was like she's a fitness influencer, but they don't make any they definitely talk about how, you know, she's AI and stuff. So I went and created a raccoon influencer. That was
nice.
Yes. That's our logo for the Tech Bandit stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, at first I did it as like a silly joke just to make fun of it. And then I started going like, it's actually not a bad idea if you think about it, right? I mean, like, you know, influencers are difficult. They're hard to get. They're expensive. They're needy. They're demanding. They're fickle. You know, 1 minute they're pitching your brand. The next they're like telling you to forget it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we all need AI ones. That's all.
Well, no, that's why like the amount of money that companies are willing to pay for, like they call it micro or what it was, micro influencers or whatever, where they basically had a bunch of influencers
that was the big thing
advertise.
For a while, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it still is, but they just lowered the prices, and the prices have plummeted since AI came out because they're starting to realize that, listen, I can pay a guy $1,000 to make a video and do a 30-second ad spot for me, right? Or I can use that same money and create 30,000 channels and publish one video to 30,000 channels completely automatically using a service online for the same $1,000. And now all those thousands of videos or whatever have a higher likelihood of coming up in search when people search for it, because the algorithm will figure out how to make each video slightly different in the text so that they're all linked together but can all be found with every possible permutation of phrasing
with the best
stuff.
Titles and the best. I mean,
exactly.
The AI titles are already driving me crazy.
Like, and you can't compete with that. You really can't compete with that because the algorithm.
No, you start using it.
Yeah, the only thing the algorithm cares about is we want a video that we can put an ad on because YouTube wants to make their cut, right? They don't give a shit if you make your money from your micro influencer deal or whatever. They want their money. So they're going to pick whatever content makes them the money. So if you can use AI to create content that is advertiser friendly, you can push it across a broad spectrum of every viral hashtag combination, keywords, blah, blah, blah. And you can have it generate thumbnails that are really eye-catching. And YouTube doesn't like YouTube used to enforce a thing where it's like if you had things in the thumbnail that were blatantly wrong, they would smack you for it. No, now you can just create a thumbnail and put like a half-naked woman in it, even though there's not even a single woman in the entire video, and they will not act on the report.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you're seeing a huge resurgence now of AI just putting like, a random woman, just an AI generated woman wearing like a bikini or whatever. And it's like, oh, tech news today, blah, blah, blah. And people still click on it. It's got 13 million views. And you're like, holy shit. So
I think we're going to go to paid content. I think we're going to get to a point now. Same thing with journalism. I mean, journalism is dead, basically. I mean, it's all about headlines and regurgitating whatever else is out there. I think eventually we're going to have to just start subscribing to news, and we're going to subscribe. Our entertainment is going to go back to subscribing to, I mean, hopefully to individuals, but that becomes overwhelming because how do you do that?
How do you I've tried to figure this out in my head and I cannot figure it out for the life of me. How can you have a capitalist system, right? And don't get me wrong, I think capitalism, there's a lot of great aspects to it too. It really drives innovation. There's great things about it. But the thing I cannot understand is how can you guarantee, well, not even guarantee, how can you get to a system where the people who are most ethically bound in how they do something get rewarded the most? Because you don't in capitalism. Capitalism rewards the person who can get the most resources for the least amount.
Right.
Like the most
pure
efficient
capitalism. Yeah.
And the scary thing about that is when you look at it, it's like, okay, let's say you want journalism. This is a great example. Why aren't there any honest journalists anymore? Well, there's a lot of honest journalists. You just can't find their shit. And the reason you're not going to find their shit is because everybody else makes more money by being dishonest, and they spend more time to advertise themselves and get them in front of people.
They spend money writing instead of trying to do search engine optimization.
Exactly. It's like a great example is Elon Musk. It's like, how many people do you know that can buy the entire media and black out the media for a week when he does something bad or he gets caught doing something bad?
Yeah.
Hardly anybody ever knows about it. Like when you go back and ask, like, hey, did you hear that, Elon, knocked up his own subordinate that was on his payroll and stuck 2 babies in her and then hid her away for 2 years from Neuralink? People are like, no, what? No, that's got to be some fabricated story. No, it's all public record. You just can't find it because every time media goes to report on
Twitter,
he does a blackout. He pays all the media companies to run different stories, different advertisement for Tesla. He claims some new release or they're building a thing. He'll just make up shit just to take over the news cycle so that everybody else is blacked out.
People are lazy. All they do is I was always amazed about this with films where, you'd see these press releases and I'd be like, wow, how do they get such good press coverage? I'm like, well, because they pay for it. They pay for it. And people just regurgitate what's written in the press release. I mean, it's kind of, I'm kind of fascinated. I feel like it's all doom and gloom and all that stuff, but I also feel like there's opportunities there as well. Like, I feel like there's stuff that can be done. I mean, we were talking about this Apple thing. I'm amazed. I'm on all my tech porn podcasts and cybersecurity stuff. They're all hammering on about the fact that there's like hardware backdoors in the last 5 generations of Apple iPhones. Jeez. And it's nowhere in the news. And my guess is you got to be really sure what you're doing before you take on Apple.
If you say anything bad,
you get no iPhone reviews. You get no, they will. I can only assume that's the case. Anyways,
Apple's one of the few companies that doesn't even send out like review products very much. Like the only people that get review products are the people that have like 50 million, subscribers or whatever. They do not send out stuff for review. And it's because they know people will go stand in line and buy it just to review it because that's how much, attention the review will get on day one.
It gets traffic. There you go.
So it's like one of the few companies that you'll like see tech influencers, like big tech influencers with 1 million+ followers, like standing in line to buy an iPhone instead of waiting for a review unit like most companies will send. And so Apple has established themselves as a company where it's like their shit will sell no matter what. Like even their AR headset that's about to drop, right? Through $3,500 is the cost of entry for VR. It's like I can't even think of a single VR headset outside of maybe like Vario's top of the line, like business focused headset, right? That would cost that amount of money. Like it's just it's an ungodly amount of money.
You know, the $2,000 cell phones used to be made of gold. You know what I mean? Like, and now they're that just standard iPhone. I mean, like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's insane because when you also look at the how much the cost of technology has come down, and you still have a $2,000 cell phone. So like a cell phone that if it existed in the 80s would have easily been $10,000 or $15,000 if something equivalent existed back then. Now it's like, oh, it's $2,000. The prices come way down. But when you compare it to the average cost of a cell phone in the late 90s or whatever, when stuff was starting to come down because you had flip phones and Nokia brick and shit like that, things got
anything
really
to differentiate yourself from the other.
Yeah, like hell, even the first Motorola cell phone that came out was still under like $1,000. It was like $900 some dollars for the Motorola brick that everybody knows. And you know that you had to be within like I think it was like 5 miles of like the few cellular antennas that were around the world. So you had to literally be in a city because there was no rural signal at all. And I remember a buddy of mine.
People used to put fake ones. People used to put fake ones in their car to look like they were like cool.
Totally. Totally. And the thing was in like really expensive cars like Bentleys and stuff would have built-in phones. Like they would actually build the phone into the car.
Hello.
And because it was a huge status symbol because it was like, dude, it was like $1 a minute or something back then to talk on a cell phone. There was no
boss of mine has a early 80s Mercedes, I think, that has a cell phone.
That has the oh man, that's
cool. Yeah, it's freaking
that is cool.
Not only that, it's got a cord. Like you actually unplug it from the console. It's got a cord going to the console
into the car.
When that car dies, you've got to like just cut off the front and like put it in like a cafe or something. That's like,
oh man,
I bet you know what, that would actually be kind of a cool project is find a car collector like like Jay Leno or something and be like, hey dude, you got one of those old like Rolls Royces or Bentleys that have the built-in phone? Let's take an Arduino and build a bridge to take that old analog signal and convert it over to like a current network. And then you can actually use your phone again. Just have it instead of dialing in phone numbers, have them be like macros where 1 calls your wife, 2 calls your friend, and then you pick it up and it'd be cool because
voice over IP on my 1960s 70s Bentley.
Exactly. How cool would that be?
It would
right?
be 70s, it would be 80s, I guess.
Yeah,
80s, right?
Late 80s would have been when Motorola like blew the hell up. I want to say like, isn't Motorola like one of the stocks that you would have made the most money on? There's one stock that everybody talks about, a telecommunications stock. I think it is Motorola, where they said if you bought like $100 worth of it back in the day, you'd be a multi-millionaire.
Apple. Today. There's also Apple. When remember it was going to die, it was like, who buys a Mac anymore? It's got like 0.001% of the, and look at that comeback story.
Yeah, because apparently there was like, I read a story where, and I'm pretty sure it was Motorola, where a kid's grandma like gifted him, because I guess back then it was like, rich people would gift stock to their kids. And so like this grandma like gifted like, I think it was $100 of Motorola stock or whatever. And the kid was like, what the fuck stock? And just like stuck it in a drawer.
Yeah.
Because it's like
they were actually certificates.
It was a physical certificate that allocated you the stock that was like, you turn it into the company or whatever. And then they give you the stock for it. And apparently he found it like in a drawer, like 25, 30 years later or whatever. He pulls it out of the drawer and he's like, 100 shares, goes and looks it up. And it was like multi-million-dollars. Jesus. And he wasn't like a super rich dude either. So it was a significant amount of money to him. And it's just, imagine that. And then it makes me remember like Bitcoin. Like I have a hard time with Bitcoin because I had so many opportunities to become a millionaire, but I just pulled the trigger too soon.
I looked into the technology all the time. I was thinking, I loved the whole concept of it, but I never pulled the trigger until all of a sudden it's worth like every idiot out there. I'm like, when it's worth a lot of money, that's when I want to get in.
I was mining crypto. So I got into Bitcoin. The very first Bitcoin that I mined, I remember I was mining a Bitcoin on my own solo mining. I was getting a Bitcoin about every 24 hours. Really? And so, which now the odds of you getting a solo mining coin, I mean, everybody pool mines because the odds of you getting a coin are nearly nothing. Like you better chance of winning the lottery. But this is back when they had the USB ASICs and those were all the rage, right?
Oh yeah.
So I remember I had a little USB ASIC and that thing would get me like a Bitcoin every like 24 or 48 hours. And I had 40 Bitcoin. I had 40 Bitcoin that died with a hard drive. Like the hard drive died. But at the time, that was only worth those 40 Bitcoin were only worth like I think like $50 or something, 40 or 50
Did you
bucks.
hear the stats on that though? Like the number of Bitcoins out there versus the number of Bitcoins that will never be used because
Yeah, so much is
they're
abandoned.
Exactly in that situation.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because
abandoned or
so many
forgotten
spinning
wallet.
disks. Well, because back then everybody used cold storage. Like everybody would store their wallet on their PC. It was a spinning disk, which the average spinning disk is going to get bad sectors or start dying within 3 to 5 years. So people would just store their wallets on their hard drive and then fast forward like 5 years and they'd lose it and they wouldn't back it up. Or another thing that people would do is they'd keep their wallet and then they'd go and have their key somewhere. Like they'd put their decryption key or their wallet private key. They put it on a USB thumb drive or something. They get lost or stolen or broken. And so they literally have the wallet on their computer, but they have no way of ever accessing it again. So those coins are just lost to time.
So you just start like buying or collecting old hard drives from around the era, and then doing an undelete, an unformat on all of them to see if we can find any abandoned wallets or anything.
Yeah, because if you could find the key, because most people probably just stored their key in the same folder.
Well, and you can crack them now. So, can't some of them be cracked anyways?
No.
I mean, no,
that key, the sun will explode before you crack that without a quantum.
Oh,
computer.
really? Okay. So, there was a company that managed to crack one of the USB secure drives that I'd heard about.
I wonder if that was a flaw though. Like if they found a flaw in the technology.
It was like a glitch.
Yeah,
it was a glitch that allowed them to. It has 10 tries before it deletes everything, and they found a glitch. They managed to glitch it so that it wouldn't register that there was a new attempt. So they will now be able to break it because they could just keep running it. It's just not.
Got it. Adam said, I think World War III is already here. I'm heavily in defense stocks. I mean, you can't go wrong in defense stocks with the state of the world right now. Like, honestly, that's
so sad.
It's sad, but it's true. It's like, you're not going to lose any company that's working in the defense sector that has any kind of contracts with the military are going to be just making bank right now.
So Boeing, their fucking doors blowing off.
Oh my god!
I saw a Reddit post. I saw a Reddit post. I think it was Reddit.
Did you see how calm people were on the airplane? I couldn't believe how calm people were.
That would not have been me.
It was the best. No, they posted. Is it insider trading if I start buying puts on Boeing? Like I'm literally on the plane. I'm on the plane that this door blew out of.
Short the fuck
and
out
like
of them,
everybody else is kind of freaking out a little bit, and I just pulled up Robinhood and I start doing puts on Boeing as we're sitting here on the tarmac.
That's a genius.
And it's like, is that insider trading? And
no, it's not. That's public.
I don't
public
think so.
information.
Yeah, it's right.
Nope.
It's public. Yeah,
100%. You're fine.
I was like, dude,
crap!
that's so
I would
funny.
never have
Why
thought
not?
of that. I'd be
right?
too
Because
busy
it's gonna crash. Like there's gonna be a fat dip, and like of course, like, I thought.
Nope. The only time it's insider trading is if you use knowledge that isn't available to other people in the public.
Yeah. See, and I'm such a loser. I won't take advantage of that. Like I talk to people about stuff all the time and all different things, and you just hear little bits here and there, and you go like, "Oh, that would be." No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
There's all the talk too about like when Boeing got absorbed by whatever it was, Northrop Grumman or whatever, that like the bean counters kind of took over instead of the engineers. Same kind of thing that happened with Intel. Like Intel was on the downward because I think Jobs was the one who said like, when you put your salespeople or like your marketing people in charge of like the whole company, then like your product will eventually go to shit because they're more worried about the money and not the product.
Look at the film industry.
That's a good example too.
A fucking Oscar or whatever this year,
right?
Like, yeah.
I never did anything like when I was at Microsoft and I had all my Microsoft stock. I never did anything with it because I was always afraid that there was going to be an insider trading thing. Because it's hard not to make a decision, like even realizing when you know consciously, because you just know so much shit working there, right? It's like
I knew how when Ryzen was first coming out, and or I was thinking it was like Ryzen 2, because like the first gen Ryzen stuff wasn't that great. When Ryzen 2 was coming out, I was just starting to work for Puget Systems, and like all of the testing and stuff that they were doing internally before the product come out was looking great. Like this is going to be a humongous leap. This is like the best thing AMD's done in a long, long time. And at that point, AMD was like selling at like $5 or something. And it's like around 80 or something now. It's outrageous. And I knew, I was like, oh, this is going to blow up. AMD's had this bad reputation forever. If I could just, if I just had a little bit of more disposable income at the time, I could have probably made it like 5 figures at least.
This is that 1% thing again. This is this 1% thing again. They're the only ones who are making any money on this stuff. We're not. We're the losers who come in later, and they're still making money off of our back and forth. You know what I mean?
There's still a Tech Talk episode up on Jay's 2 Cents channel where we literally joked around looking up stocks. We looked up the AMD stock. This is back when like a bunch of the tech stocks were crashing. And so AMD was way down. It was like crashing to shit. It wasn't that worth that much to begin with back then, but it went way down. And I remember Jay and I were joking back and forth. He's like, dude, we should just buy $100 worth. He's like right on, and it's literally in a Tech Talk episode out there. Where he's like, yeah, dude, we should just buy $100 worth because, like, you know, and we joked about it, but neither of us did it. And we look back on it and we're like, dude, why didn't we do that? I mean, because it went up so damn much. Like I don't think anybody really saw it coming. It was
Nvidia
wild.
was the same for me. It was Nvidia as well, where I was like, you know what? I'm getting like all the kids are talking about the new, like kids talking about GPUs. I just thought that was really, they must be really making a push for it and stuff like that. And then I heard it was involved in AI stuff. So I was like, I'll buy some Nvidia stocks. And sure enough, it does fantastically. But still, like, I feel like we're not really. Also, look, everyone has stories about making money in stocks. I could. You know, my father, I think I told you this before, but my father sat me down when I was first started investing in stocks, which was I was doing a show about the Toronto Stock Exchange, and I was playing a derivatives guy, and I started thinking like, hey, these guys are making millions. Derivatives, how difficult can it be? Anyway, so my dad sits me down, and he opens this book on his, like, you know, on his laptop called Bankrupt. And it's all of the companies that were sure, blue chip, solid stocks, all of which went to nothing. So he literally lost everything on them. And he's like, dude, it's just gambling. Just buy a freaking index and watch it go up.
Dude, that's what my 401k is like. Like half of it is in just like a regular like S&P 500 sort of watcher.
Too.
And then
sometimes I'll do tech ones, or I'll do some tech ones, or some China ones, or India.
Yeah, some emerging market stuff.
I love the idea of India because, like, they're so big on education and they're so smart, and
that's a good one.
I feel like that's a good one.
But you're also, totally right. Like
you're helping.
The last few years, that's been the best performing chunk of my 401k. That and I have a bit of a chunk in one that like focuses on like high dividends. Like big.
By the way, nobody take our. This is not. Do not.
No, none of this is financial information. We are not a lawyer. We're not financial experts.
Rich on television. Yes.
Exactly. Don't risk yourself.
The only one who's a financial expert in here is Kevlar Condom. But
if Kevlar Condom tells you to do something in chat,
we'd all have to get together and like do it together because we're all missing a few zeros.
The most money I've ever made on
an investor is
he does everything. He does everything. He invests in companies. He does stock trading. He does. I mean, literally everything. He's got a hand in it. Dude codes shit, sells things to corporations. Like he does everything.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. He's one of those people where it's like he's just 24/7. His brain's always going.
Is he gonna show up on my business porn? Is he gonna show up on my business porn at some time?
He should. Yeah. No, he's one of those people that kind of tugs on the strings behind the scenes. Like you're touching a lot of stuff that he's had hands on without even realizing it. Like he's one of those dudes. So he's like one of those guys where you sit there watching TV and you're like, oh man, like 3 of his algorithms are involved in this process somehow behind the scenes.
I just got an ad.
You got an ad? What?
Well, because I have the stream going, on the side. And it just an ad just popped up. It's crazy.
Yeah, YouTube has like an ad thing now where they take over. Like they used to just give you a button to push to play an ad, but then it popped up and it's like, oh, if you enable this, more people will be able to see your video and blah blah blah. So I just turned it on.
It makes sense. I mean, you got again
not too much of a hassle.
Another way to make some money, I suppose. But I mean,
I think AI. AI is like the scary thing for stock trading now because there are so many bot networks now.
They're all fighting each other.
Yeah, they're all fighting each other. So it's like now real world information that you would normally use to predict a stock is almost useless. Like unless it's a stock that is so big that like such a huge portion of the world is invested in it that the bots can only push it slightly one way or the other. There's entire companies that are completely destroyed or built on false information. Like nothing the company is doing has much. They get to where they're publicly traded, and then from that point on, it's like literally roulette.
It's called Elon Musk. Like the guy knows what he's about to tweet, and then just buys or sells depending on what he's about to say. I mean,
I still can't believe.
Wrong.
And this is another example. If you have enough money, our government does not have a legal system that can hold people that rich accountable. It's impossible. Yeah, it's just, but you know what? There's like micro versions of it I see around too. It's like on YouTube, right? You have what was the name of the lady that like basically pulled up to that dude's house and was like live streaming it and doxed him, was going to go into his house and like force a confrontation, and YouTube basically like demonetized her for like a day or something like that. And but anybody else they would have banned outright. Like that would have been a full TOS violation. Your channel be deleted. But it was because she was like a top 10 influencer. They couldn't punish her because she makes so much money. And it's so it's like when people get to that size where they can do shit that you can't because they can get away with it and you can't. It's like, how can you compete with that?
Yeah,
right. It's like,
but
it's
that's
like,
the
how
problem
can
is
you compete?
everyone
You
wants
can't.
to be that. Like no one wants laws about this because they all think they're going to become that at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
Sniper
say
Wolf. That's right.
You know, it's like America is full of people of temporarily disadvantaged millionaires or billionaires.
Right.
I mean,
or like Twitch, right?
Yep.
Twitch has these body painters, K Pike Fashion. She does like these awesome body painting streams, and Twitch like even carved out like a special TOS that said, oh, it's body painting's okay as long as you do this and this, based on what Kay was doing because she was so good at it. But anybody else comes into that space and starts a new stream that does body painting,
gone.
even if they're more conservative than her,
risk.
they're gone instantly. They're deleted, banned for life, no appeal, no turnover. So it's like
part of it too. I think is the young women thing. Like it throws off the balance of this stuff, anyways. Where it's like where you've got these streams happening where it's just a bunch of creepy guys watching people talking about whatever. You know what I mean? Because there's a a visual side to it as well, so to speak. I mean, I feel like the algorithm doesn't. I mean, what is the algorithm looking at? Is it going like it's going like, oh, this is really good content, or just a lot of people are watching this because she's half naked while she's.
That's all it cares. It doesn't even care what the person is doing. It just cares why are so many people watching this.
Yep.
Yeah. Like as long as there's a lot of people, it doesn't care if it's like some fat dude scratching his ass or some lady body painting. If there's a ton of people coming in and engaging and they're getting the impressions, they're selling.
They
the ads,
will make it happen.
Algorithms like that sells. I'm gonna find more of that and sell more of that. And the problem is that gives an impression to other people, and this is where it becomes kind of dangerous because you're like, okay, let's say you see Kay Pike and she's doing a body painting stream. I'm not picking on Kay. I like Kay. She's a cool person. But let's say you want to get into that. You see her doing it. You see her having success, and it doesn't really matter. Sure, there's going to be people in chat that like the art, and there's going to be people in chat, sitting there with their pants down, right? I mean, this is the world we live in. Yeah. But she knows that. She's cognizant of that. She knows what's going on. She knows the deal. But the thing is, if somebody else sees that, they're like, okay, I want to do that too because I see somebody being successful at it, and then they do it, and then they get banned for life, and then they can't do it. And they're like, how the hell can anybody compete? And now Kay has basically a monopoly because she's like grandfathered into a system that nobody else can do. Yeah. Like another great example of this is like guns, right? Like back in 1980s, people don't realize this, but you could own machine guns in the 80s. Like you could literally just go to the gun store here in the United States and buy like a 800 round per minute freaking MP5 or whatever the equivalent was back then. Wow. That was perfectly legal here until they passed the assault weapons ban thing or whatever that basically said no machine guns past this point can be you can have them unless you have a special license and endorsement and you pay a tax stamp. So now to have a machine gun, you have to file the paperwork to get a special license. You have to pay a certain amount of money, and it makes them like unrealistically expensive. Like to buy a really shitty, cheap, garbage, like make it in your garage style machine gun, you're talking $10,000-$15,000. Like for where the semi-automatic version that literally just has one piece of metal that's shaped differently, one tiny little piece of metal shaped differently, the difference is like $10,000. Just for that one tiny little change. And so, but what happened is when they did that, these guys back then had this thing called a lightning link. And it's basically this little drop-in piece of metal that you can drop into an AR-15 that makes it fully automatic. Right. Anybody can create them. They're apparently like it's just a piece of metal that you shape a certain way, you bend it, you drop it in there. You can also make them out of coat hangers and shit. Like this has been known forever. This is public knowledge. And so what happened is when they passed this law that said you can't own machine guns anymore, all of those lightning links that were created and registered before that point were still legal. And people could still sell them. You had to sell it to somebody who had the license, but you could sell this little piece of metal. So that little piece of metal today is worth $10,000. So if you were somebody back in the 80s that bought or registered, because you just registered them, it didn't cost you any money. You just had to register it just like a firearm, right? So if you were one of those people that made like 100 of those in your garage back in the 80s just because you were a gun collector or whatever and you registered them, you can legally sell those and transfer them to FFL owners for like 10 grand each for what is basically like a piece of metal carved out of a pop can for 10 grand.
Of course, you could do that with some Pokemon cards as well. They don't.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But it's like, but it's like because they passed that law, now all those things that you had before that were basically worthless. You were just registering them just to be in alignment and grace with the law. Now today they're completely illegal. As a matter of fact, a guy just went to jail for I think 4 years because he sold a business card on his YouTube channel that had a picture of a lightning link that you could literally, cut out with like tin snips or whatever, and it would technically work if you spent a bunch of time fixing it up. He just put the picture on there. It wasn't even like engraved. It was literally just like dye sublimation on a business card, a picture of this lightning link. And they made an example of him, sent him to jail for like 3 or 4 years and his accomplice for selling these things. Because in a YouTube video, he said something along the lines, and this is what doomed him. Like, I think if he had said it was just artwork or it was just a business card, he would have got away with it. But he literally says in the video or whatever, hey, you can buy one of these and scratch your full auto itch or whatever, and then throw it in the garbage and never look at it again. And him saying that in the video is what ultimately doomed him. And so
I guess he wasn't not a big enough YouTuber to.
Yep, but he sold thousands of them. No, Adam, this is a different one. You're thinking of a different one, Adam. There was a guy who did laser cut one. There's a guy who just did image drawn on the card. There was no pre-carving. And he was the one that got like the book absolutely thrown at him, because there was another guy who was cheeky and he cut it out so it just had tabs, so you could basically just bend it out with your fingers. And that guy got in trouble too. But this guy literally just drew it on a card and got in trouble for it. And so, and a lot of people were kind of up in arms about that, because they're like, yeah, even though he said in the video, like, oh yeah, scratch your fully auto itch or whatever, it's still, he was selling just a picture. Right. Like you could download that picture from the internet. That's where he got it. What you do with it is not my problem. Exactly. It's like, how is that any different than you just like printing out a picture on a piece of paper and taping it to a card and then carving it out with a Dremel? Yeah. And then the worst part about it was the FBI spent 45 minutes with their gun tech with a Dremel trying to cut this thing out without cheating and make it work, and they couldn't get it working because it was the wrong dimensions. Like the actual printout was the wrong dimensions. So they had to spend extra time basically drawing outside of the lines, knowing how the gun operated to get the thing to work in the first place. And as a matter of fact, a bunch of the cards were actually, people were leaving bad reviews on the site saying it didn't work. And so, but it's still, they still absolutely threw the book.
I took this to school and I couldn't get anybody.
Yeah. Oh God. Jesus. Yeah. No. But
I just watched the South Park on that, which was brilliant, by the way.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I love how South Park.
Oh my God. South Park commentary on the school shooting thing is one of the most funny and disturbing episodes I have ever seen. We were literally watching it this morning. That's why I thought of it.
Yeah, but isn't that crazy? Like a little piece of metal is a machine gun. Like in the United States, that lightning link alone, not in a gun, just a piece of metal, that is a registered machine gun in the eyes of the law. I just thought, when I saw that, I was like, that's crazy. That is so freaking crazy. And so there was another incident that was kind of scary, where a dude was at a range and he was shooting a gun, and a piece of metal fragmented off of the bullet casing, like a piece of the brass sheared off when it was ejecting a shell. That little piece of brass fell down in the gun, jammed in the sear, the thing that's supposed to catch the trigger when it comes back, and made the gun fully automatic for a second, and the gun discharged the rest of the magazine of ammunition downrange. The range master came over, called the police. The police arrested him for having a machine gun. They took the gun apart and found the fragment of metal, which is clearly a misfigured chunk out of the bullet casing. But they said because his gun repeated multiple shots without him pulling the trigger for each indiviral shot, he still violated the law, and it was still a felony because he discharged a fully automatic machine gun. Yeah,
that's why I don't have one.
That's weird. I feel like there's some wording wiggle room there, because like.
Well, they don't think the case. They don't think the case is going to be
accuse
successful.
you of having a machine gun because your gun misfired too fast. I'm sorry. Where in the? My first thought is, where in the law does it describe how fast the gun can shoot?
But how do you prove that you didn't on purpose?
Yeah.
Why is it?
How do they prove that you did?
Take a piece of shell.
It wasn't an accident.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
you can't. How am I supposed to like protect myself from? Yeah. Like I hope they didn't get in big trouble for that, because like.
No, they're in court. So they're literally in court right now fighting like legal.
They should, because that's not. If my gun, like, okay, I could see being responsible for like if somebody got hurt or something like that, because you're responsible for like negligence or like mistakes. If my car rolls out into the street and smashes somebody's car, then it's my problem, right?
Yep.
Like. To then get charged with like, oh, I've illegally modified my car, essentially. Right. Because of that, like that's too much. That's silly. I hope that guy doesn't get in any trouble.
It's harder. Well, this is the thing. They
maybe some negligence, some like misdemeanor negligence thing for like not maintaining the thing or something.
But
like
here's
that.
the problem.
Like,
here's the problem.
The machine gun thing is fucking dumb.
No. Here's the problem though, that we were just talking about earlier with like the rich versus the normal, right? is like, if you're super rich, it's no big deal. You're used to being sued all the time or whatever because you're a corporate juggernaut. You have a legal team on retainer.
Dude,
it's
you're
like,
hunting humans.
Yeah, like exactly, right? You're hunting humans. You're eating that sea manatee
signed
for
up
lunch
for it,
and dinner.
You know,
cannot wait
Mr.
to get
Beast,
to that level.
Mr. Beast waiver, you know.
But here's the problem: is like that guy. Even if he wins his case, he's still out hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like an average guy. Right. He's gonna have to, for the rest of his life, even though he was innocent, he had to waste so much of his time, so much of his life that he couldn't work, that he couldn't do that because he had to fight a case so that the judge is like not guilty, but you don't get any of that back. It's all gone. It's all pissed away.
That's
and so every time the government does one of these lawsuits and goes after one of these people, it's like costing the taxpayer a shitload of money. It's costing that person a shitload of money. And half the cases, more than half, they don't even win. Like the state brings the case and then it ultimately gets dropped after they drag them through court for a long time.
But they're broke anyways.
Now, don't get me wrong. If they catch somebody who's, you know, blatantly breaking the law and, you know, like here in Washington, you can't 3D print firearms. They passed legislation said you can't do that. Really? I'll respect it. Yeah, I can't 3D print. I wanted to 3D print a gun just because I wanted to see what it was all about. Crazy. And I'm like, now I can't, because you definitely want to check the law and shit like that. And I double checked with my local police. I was like, hey, is this a King County only thing? And they're like, no, it's statewide. You cannot 3D print a gun.
What if David prints it for you and sends it to you in the mail?
That's illegal. That's
what is it?
That's called.
Would that be illegal?
That's called transferring a
firearm. Are we allowed to do that? Like, I wonder if we're
allowed. No. What if it's just the pieces? It's just the pieces. You need, all of the right bits and bobs. Like if it's just the bottom piece or whatever, like you need all the firing pin and whatnot.
As long as he doesn't send me the receiver, he can send me everything else.
And then you can get a receiver here. No problemo. Easy.
But the second that I put his parts, the receiver is the part that holds the trigger. Oh, so like the handle usually, you know, they
make some receiver. Specific piece that they can keep track of to stop you from building your own weapon.
Correct. It's the serialized part of the gun, which on a lot of guns, it's the lower receiver that's the serialized part of the gun.
Yeah, the part usually where like the magazine or clip goes into.
So like on an AR-15, which, you know, I just use that as reference because everybody knows what that gun is, sadly, today because of, you know, it's been so sensationalized.
And the part.
But yeah, it's the frame itself has the serialized number on it, the registered serial number. So considered the gun. So that without any parts on it, no trigger, no barrel, nothing. That is seen in the eyes of law as a firearm.
I thought I was being clever. My uncle got his like license to sell like parts, like gun parts and stuff. And it's like technically you can't, like you'd have to buy, so I was like looking into like black powder revolvers and stuff, like the old 1886 like, you know, Navy Colt kind of things.
I could totally see him with that. I could
right. That's the cool. But you to get so black powder, you don't have to register. You can just go into Cabela's, buy it right across the counter and walk out. No big deal. But if you get like smokeless, you know, modern rounds, the cylinder for it, you have to register and stuff because like now it's dangerous, I guess.
I didn't know that. Here in Washington, you still just buy ammo over the counter.
Well, the ammo, sure, but you need a different revolver piece to handle modern cartridges versus black powder.
Oh, I see. Like converting it to like, modern cartridges.
My uncle like is in Connecticut or something. I'm like, hey man, if I could I just buy these bits and pieces from you and you just ship them to me and stuff? And it's no, because like it's still like you were saying, you got to register some of these.
You have to look at the law because like you have to tell
them and stuff. Yeah, I was like, well, whatever.
But wait a second, like, couldn't you just have a CNC metal shop and just build the parts?
Yeah, they're called 80% lowers. People used to do it all the time, but those are illegal in Washington now too. So
the idea was illegal as you want. If you want to get an illegal weapon, then you're like, let's face it, if you're walking, well, no, I'm getting.
And honestly, what's to keep you from printing it anyway? It's like they got to catch you, right? Like,
no, that's it. It's illegal. They'd have to.
It's like an add-on. Right? It's not like they know add-on thing. Like they bust into your house and then they. You know,
it's a firmware part. Your firmware. If it mentions the word gun,
I can see that happening. Here's where it's the same way that like scanners will freak out if you put $1 in there because like they know that there's software. Yeah, there's software that reads what you're scanning and it goes, oh, we can't do that. Photoshop. If you try take a picture of like $1 bill and put it into Photoshop, it'll like, hey, what are you doing? You can't. You're not making.
I saw that. I did that as a test because somebody told me, and sure shit, it pops up and
really
says,
scanner. Yeah, even old scanners and stuff like. Yeah, you put $1 in there,
Canadian money,
and it'll come out.
Like, whatever.
It'll either won't do it flat out. It'll alter it somehow so that like you can't print it in color, let's say, or whatever. Or like a big warning that says, "Hey man, you're about to do something that we think is freaking super illegal. Like you can't be making counterfeit bills and stuff." It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. So our laws here are really weird when it comes to guns because of our whole history with the us breaking off from our brethren and forming our own country and everything.
Air guns. We've gone on to air guns a lot. Yeah.
No. So here, that's an interesting one though. You can buy an air gun that is fully automatic and puts out the same energy as a powdered fire weapon, and you can just buy it from Amazon and have it shipped to your house.
Could you imagine just loading somebody up with like 100 little brass BBs? You just oh god!
Dude, they make a 25 caliber air gun that shoots like 500 rounds a minute or something like that, which is pretty fairly high rate of fire for an air gun. Yeah. And so it's like 50 rounds a second, and it's like the same amount of joules, like the impact energy from the weight of the round on the target is similar to a 9mm. So like, which is what a cop would carry, like a service weapon that a cop would carry. And so you're like, here's an air gun that can do that, and you can buy it on Amazon, have it shipped right to your house, go in your backyard and shoot it and like break cinder blocks and shit with it. And if the cops are called and come to your house, they're just like, oh, okay, no, just making sure it's an air gun. You're good.
Well, why don't the cops use those then instead of actually shooting people? Why don't they just like shoot them with something that hurts like hell or could do some damage, but isn't going to automatically blow your brain?
Oh, they do. They have here we have shotguns. They have something called a beanbag round.
Well, the beanbag rounds, yeah. For riots and stuff.
But the problem is the beanbag rounds. Even if somebody is high on like PCP or a drug that cuts off their feeling, even shooting them with beanbag rounds and breaking their ribs and stuff will not slow them down. Like it's like you're basically you might as well just like figure out rubber balls at them.
Why can't we figure out a non-lethal? I want something that I want like the Invincibles. Where they have those little balls that go and like cover them up and stop them from foam. Like it'd be brilliant.
I like the net gun. Some of that. I like the shotgun net gun. Have you seen that?
Or the electric net gun.
So somebody invented a shotgun shell that what it is, it's a single Kevlar wire, right? Or string, I guess it'd be because it's a fabric. So a single Kevlar string, and on each end is just a tiny little weight, like itty bitty little like fishing weight that goes on each side, and it goes into the shotgun shell. And you load the shotgun shell so it's horizontal, like there's a little marking on the shell so that you load it in the right orientation. And when it fires, both ends shoot out like 6 feet in either direction. And when it hits the target, it does a bolo thing where it wraps them up super, super tight, and then it hangs up on itself. So they show a guy like running and they shoot him and he's like running and his arms like go to his side really quick and it like grabs him, wraps him up, and then he can't move. He's
like, there you go,
digging into his arms.
That's what we need.
And I was like, that's really freaking cool. Like that's
awesome.
Clever. That's super clever.
And then we capture them and we go like, why? And then we look at their brains and we figure out why they're doing this stuff, and then we can stop it as opposed to just I don't know.
Well, the way it's supposed to work.
4 o'clock. I gotta run.
No worries, man. You go ahead and get out of here.
It is marvelous to speak. You know what? I haven't spoken to you since 2023.
It's been a long time, man.
2024, babies.
New year.
Year of the tech talk.
This is the year of positivity, my friends.
Lovely to hang with you. Lovely. I'm sorry to leave you, but I must run.
No worries.
Thank you, everyone.
Let's keep this going on.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting with us.
Yeah, pleasure. As always. Are you kidding? Thank you. All right,
now, brother.
Later, folks. Cheers. I got to figure out how to stop now.
You'll
figure
that
long. I'll figure it out.
Here, I'll hide you so you can just lurk.
Just cut to me picking my nose as I look for him.
You can just lurk and peek in my blinds now. There you go, David.
All right, man.
Take it easy. So that bolo gun, the thing is this is the way it's supposed to work. Okay, if you're not in the United States or you're in the United States and you've never really looked into it, this is how it's supposed to work with law enforcement. If the person is running away from you, you're supposed to use non-lethal means of taking them down in every way possible, unless they're a threat to the public. Like if they're armed and actively shooting at other people, then you take them down by any means necessary. But if they're just, the way it's supposed to work though is if they're fleeing and they're not a threat, an immediate threat to the public, you're supposed to take the time and do due diligence to try to take them down in the most non-lethally way possible. However, that all changes when it becomes an offensive thing where the person is coming at them or trying to harm the officer. Then the officer goes for lethal. Like you're not going to risk a taser malfunctioning. You're not going to risk a bolo, not hitting right or whatever. You can't afford that when somebody's coming at you with like a knife or a gun or something like that. In those cases, they use lethal force. The problem is our police officers in the moment. Could you imagine being in that moment? Like shit's going to happen. Like you're taking these people that more than half of them aren't even qualified. They already have, a lot of these people have like really bad, like severe mental issues that don't even get looked into at all. Even when the officers themselves are calling themselves out and saying they need the mental support, they're not getting it. And then they go and do batshit crazy stuff, either because they're corrupt or because they panic.
Yeah.
And that's something that happened. And that's the thing that's always going to happen. I don't know how you prepare for that. Like, how do you prepare from where you're a cop, you've been a cop for like 5 years, you've done your job, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of like a heat style shootout. It's like, what do? Are you going to freeze up and die? Are you going to just empty magazine after magazine after magazine every direction, risking everybody around you just because you're scared shitless and you're trying to protect yourself? Like, there's going to be so many things that can happen in that moment. And that's why they have like the whole stupid qualified immunity thing where it's like, oh, a police officer, if you break the law, then you still can't be touched in these certain situations. If it's considered like
broad definition, right?
It's way too broad. So it's not like a lot of people like to think in the United States, just because what they see on TV, that it's like the cops are just shooting everybody. And the truth is, no, they want to go out of their way not to shoot people, because honestly, that is the odds of you shooting somebody and the amount of paperwork you have to do, how much leave you're going to be on, all the shit that you have to go through is a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Like, if your goal as a cop is to run around and just shoot and kill people, like you're going to be doing a lot of paperwork and spending a lot of time at a desk. And so that's not really the goal. There are bad apples, obviously, huge bad apples that infect the entire forces, and it really sucks and it's really unfortunate. And we got to weed those guys out, which, by the way, cameras are doing that, though. I got to give props to everybody having a camera, because there is so much shit that's getting caught on camera now from these dirty ass cops, and they're losing their jobs. They should be getting a lot more than that, but they are losing their jobs, which is good, because the more dirty cops you can get out of a police department, the better off the entire group is, because they don't have to protect the dirty ones. Because that's sadly what happens a lot of the time is, you get the guys that have been there for a long time. They stop giving a shit. They start doing things really sloppy and becoming the law, and they go Judge Dredd. And then the other new guys, they don't want to lose their job, right? So they just play along.
Yeah.
And that makes them just as complicit. But just so people know, you're not, police officers don't want to, on average, like, police officers' goal is not to just run around and kill people. They really want to try to stop people with non-lethal force if they can. A lot of police officers don't even get the kit to do it. Some police officers don't even have tasers. Some police officers don't even get made. Like, it blows my mind, because like LAPD, it's like they got like missile launchers and like entry vehicles and tanks, and it's like then you got some of these places that they can't even get a taser. It's like all they have is lethal force. So it's like if some dude comes after him with a fork, it's like the only thing they can reach for is their gun. And it's like, that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. So we gotta fix that shit. A lot of cops are ex-military. I mean, there's cops from all walks of life. Like, you'd be really surprised.
Honestly, I would think the ex-military guys would probably be the more, I mean, again, with certain
on average
caveats and stuff. You think they'd be the ones most like best trained for it and stuff, because like they're not gonna freak the fuck out if some weirdo is just like being scary, or they're literally trained from the start to like hold their shit while crazy stuff's going down.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're literally trained to be calm in the moment, but you have to screen for PTSD. That's the big problem that they're not doing, is they're not putting the mental health services forward. And then these guys come back from war and they're like, well, I still want to be useful, so they become a police officer. And then a shootout starts and they start having flashbacks and shit, right? And then bad stuff starts happening. And it's like, that's a really hard one to do, because it's like, listen, they're not mentally capable to be in that situation. Like, because you didn't screen for it, you didn't find it, right? And they didn't even know. Like, a lot of these guys, they don't even know, right? How do you know you have PTSD? Unless you go to like a psychologist and like talk it through and figure it out, right? Okay, I have really bad nightmares and flashbacks to something. Is that a form of PTSD? It could be. It also could be a nightmare that's only significant to that thing. You feel bad because of a thing that you had to do or whatever, but it stops there, right? But some people, like, a sound can trigger it, right? Like, just hearing a sound. I watched a guy have a PTSD episode, and it was the scariest shit in my life, because he had a gun pointed at me. And I was like, what is happening? Like, I was freaking the fuck out. Dude ended up being super duper cool in the end. Really, really nice old dude, but he flipped his shit because we were playing airsoft next to his property line, and he looks out the window and sees a bunch of guys in like camouflage with M16s and short machine guns and sniper rifles running around the woods. He flips out and gets his gun and comes down and draws down on us from cover and makes us put down all of our guns, put our hands in the air, comes over, is patting us down and shit. Like, it was a really scary situation. Like, this dude had us like a gun point, like with a real gun. And we found out that he was in, I think it was the Vietnam War. And he had told us that he had PTSD. And when he saw us outside of the windows, he thought like shit was cutting loose. Like he thought that there was like an infiltration and the government was coming to get him or something, like a foreign government was coming to get him. And And then we talked to his mom, who knew the neighbor the whole time and never told us once that there's like, PTSD dude next door armed to the teeth. But we talked to her later on and she's like, oh yeah, he whenever they have like block parties and stuff and he's invited and stuff, they talk to him and he always talks about how, he went to war and it's a really hard thing to deal with. And he doesn't like talking about like, the things that went down. But it's like, that was one of the scariest things that ever happened. By the way, we were also drawn down by police a couple of times too, which was equally scary. But when you're playing airsoft in the woods and like an old dude shows up in like plain clothes with like a 9mm Glock pointed at you, that you shit your pants. Like I was like, I immediately like put my gun down, put my hands up. Everybody's like calls the game. Everybody slowly comes over. He was like making everybody like, nobody approach me. He's like, do not approach fast. And the dude was like shaking. And I was like, oh my God. And I got a gun pointed at me. His finger was on the trigger too. So I was like, that was a really scary moment for me. But after everything blew over and we got him to calm down, the dude actually ended up being like a really nice guy. Like he was checking everything out. He'd never heard of airsoft before. He's like, oh wow, these are replica guns and you guys run around the woods. He's like, oh, this seems pretty cool. But yeah, that was a really, really scary moment that could have gone really bad. Because if he had to just started shooting and not asking questions, like we would have had no idea. It would have been just a total ambush. Like we couldn't have done anything. But yeah, when I saw the look in his eyes though, that was scary. Like that look in his eyes was like, I am confident this guy will shoot me. Like, this is not bullshit. Like I immediately put the gun down, had my hands in the air before he even said a word. I was already like, this guy isn't with us. I know that's a real gun. Like I can tell. Plus it didn't have an orange tip. No, but that was the other problem. None of our guns had orange tips either, which is technically illegal.
Right.
So after that, we sported orange tips because that's a dead giveaway that it's an airsoft gun. And had we had orange tips, he probably wouldn't have thought that we were invading. So our bad, and technically we were near his property line, but we weren't on his property. So he literally had to trespass onto private property to engage us, which wasn't necessarily cool, but I could understand if he thought his life was in danger. Right. And, but we'd had times where police were called and the police show up and draw guns on us. That's scary. Like I was literally, there was a property in Port Orchard, Washington, where there was a trailer that was like dilapidated. The windows were busted out with rocks. It was all rotted out and moldy and shit. It was pretty gross, but they were going to demolish it. And so it was a friend knew a guy who owned the property. So he gave us permission to go in and like shoot up the building and do like close quarter combat exercises and stuff where, terrorists are inside of the building and then we breach the building and come in and get the terrorists. We play scenarios like paintball kind of.
Yeah, sure.
It's very similar. And so we go out there and we're playing on this property and we hear whoop, 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 whoop. And everybody put down your weapons, hands in the air, slowly come out of the, and I'm like, I didn't know we had a bullhorn. I thought it was like one of the other team members, like, trying to make the scenario more realistic. Luckily, we were like, okay, things are a little weird. So we walk out. No shit, we walk down. There are 2 cop cars there. 2 cops in each car out with their guns pulled over the window, pointed at us. And we're coming out of the building. They made us all come out of the building, drop our guns, turn around, put our hands against the trailer, and they went by each one of us and frisked us and asked for identification. And then once we told them, we're like, no, it's airsoft. These are not real guns. They're like, shut the fuck up or whatever. They're all, huh?
No, just right. Like
they were jacked up. They were super jacked up. And so finally after that, they're like, okay, you're just playing airsoft. They're like, in the future, you guys have to call us. They're like, if you're playing anywhere in public view where anybody can come across you, which is anywhere, right? People can be hiking through the woods, right? So it's like, if you're playing anywhere, you need to notify the police so that if we get a bunch of calls, we know it's fake. But then I'm like, wait a second. So doesn't that mean a criminal can just call you and say, oh, we're playing airsoft near the bank or whatever? And then when everybody's calling, oh, the bank's getting robbed. They're like, oh no, it's just kids playing airsoft.
Yeah.
Like that's really stupid to me. Not? But they're like, yeah, you gotta call us.
He's just trying. That sounds like they're just trying to cover for their own embarrassment.
Yeah, well, we did from that point on. Anytime we played in Port Orchard, even if we played at an airsoft field, we would call them and let them know that we were in the area and we were playing. And if somebody calls, because I could see if you were just walking by, if you're like walking your dog and you weren't like knowledgeable of airsoft. I mean, they're replica guns that are 1-to-1, right? They're
and
all
you're
metal,
not hearing gunshots. You're just seeing a bunch of teenagers running around. Like,
and we also got masks on. Like, nobody's gonna wear like fucking a full-blown mask, like a paintball mask running around the woods trying to really shoot people. So but people would do it. People would call the cops all the time on us. Like we even had a lady. We were playing in a freaking shit. What was it like? what's like the boys club where all the boys like get together and like earn badges and merit badges and shit? What is that, Boy Scouts?
Boy Scouts.
Okay,
yeah.
So the Boy Scouts, we're at a Boy Scouts camp up in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, way out in the middle of nowhere, right? And there's nobody out there. We rent this whole place. We all pitch our money together. It was about I think 50 people we had out there. And we put all of our money together and we rent this place for an entire day so that we can go and have like these, in buildings, everything, going into buildings, out of buildings, around all the stuff. It was one of the coolest airsoft games we ever played in our life. But while we're playing, a lady comes up over the hill, and this is out in the middle of nowhere. Like, this lady had to seriously walk like 5 miles from the next nearest house to be anywhere even close to us. It was so far down this dirt road. And so this lady's walking her dog. We're sitting there in the middle, like playing. We're all screaming and everything. Oh, they're over there, throw a grenade, blah, 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 blah. We're screaming and everything. Somebody notices this lady's like booking ass through the woods, dragging her dog behind her. She was running so fast that her dog was literally just like bouncing on the leash behind her as she's just ripping her little dog through the woods. And so we immediately stop, hold. And we're like screaming at the lady as loud as we can. Hey, it's just a game. This isn't real. And because we didn't want her going and calling the cops, right?
Yeah.
And so she's booking it. She finally gasses out before she gets up to the top of the hill or whatever. And we're like, hey, we put down our guns. Everybody took their masks off. Hey, we're just playing a game. It's like paintball. There's nothing to worry about or whatever. And she was like so fucking freaked out. Like, she calmed down, but she wouldn't even come down and talk to us. She was like, she wanted to keep that distance, right? She was up on the hill. She's like, no, okay. We're like, you don't have to call the cops,
Yeah.
But we had already told the cops we were going to be up there playing that day, so they never showed up. Like, I'm sure she called the cops. I am 100% sure she went like right back to her house and called the cops. But that was like really scary because it's like some people just don't understand. They think like a real thing was going down, and there was like everybody was going to start shooting and throwing grenades and claymores and stuff. And it's like, no, use your rational brain. Like,
yeah, right. Like, come on.
Like, that's not. You got to slow down.
What are the odds? Like, does that make sense? Like, okay, if I hear like I know enough now, of course, to like recognize the difference between like a firecracker and a gunshot. But like most people, if they hear like bop bop bop, they're not going to immediately think gunshots,
right? And the loud ones we had were green gas, so it was like a propane pop. So it was like it was quieter than the best silenced weapon.
Yeah, it's like, come on. And so like it's I don't know, man. Some people like have like an unhinged sense of paranoia or something, like, or their fight or flight thing is just so skewed toward like fear or whatever.
I just think they haven't had the experience. I think it's one of those things where a lot of people, the only experience they have is from movies. So they think like silencers are like, and they just assume that like,
and the word itself is bad. They're suppressors, right?
Yeah,
and like,
it's not a silencer.
Whatever.
Doesn't silence shit. I fired a suppressed weapon. It's still rung my bell.
Like a 22 with a suppressor would be like, your next door neighbor is not going to hear that, but like, also, what are you doing with that? Like, you're not doing a lot of damage.
I fired a suppressed 22. This was quieter than my pellet rifle, like my break barrel pellet rifle. So
subsonic. Yeah, you can get subsonic rounds. That helps a lot too. But again, shorter range and whatnot. You're not getting guys 500 yards away.
But at the same time, we tried to understand. We tried to understand that like the public, some people aren't going to have experience. They're not going to understand. They are only going to know about guns from movies and stuff, and they're going to freak, right?
I like the line from Men in Black. Where he's trying to challenge him on like, how come you don't just tell people about the aliens? Like, people are smart. And he goes, no, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals.
Yep.
And I feel like sometimes individuals don't let go of the group think, right? That the fear part of being of the crowd, and they like apply it liberally to their entire individual experience. And it's just,
if you ever want to test this is kind of mean, but it also serves a really good point, is if you're ever in a big city like Seattle or San Francisco and there's a large group of people around, literally just yell. Don't say that. Just yell and book in a direction. Just like, it can be 20 feet. Doesn't have to be long. Just yell, make a loud noise, and run. You will watch that entire group all take multiple steps in the same direction as you just ran, without even questioning or observing anything. It's the fight or flight response. The second you see somebody yelling and running, your mind immediately tells you, like, no matter how cognizant of your situation, you assume that there is something bad. You don't take time to calculate out what's going on. You just run in the direction of that person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep running, you will notice that
people start following you.
Chunk of that group will still follow you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them will fall off and figure out what's going on. Like, oh, okay, that's stupid. But a lot of them, they don't have time to think. They don't have time to slow down. So they're just like, I gotta follow this guy. Otherwise, a bad thing's going to happen because he yelled and he ran. So he's obviously fearful and running from something.
There's got to be something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with, an experiment I did back in the day where, I just had my friends walk up to me and act like I was a big deal. This is like back when I was starting to do YouTube.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, a bunch of other people start crowding around and then people start asking for your autograph and selfies with you. And to prove it wasn't me, we even did it with my friend Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron doesn't even have a YouTube channel.
I've seen other people do that.
Yep. I got people to take pictures with him, signing autographs, everything. Got a group of people around him that outside of this like bar that was in downtown Seattle. Probably had 20, 30 people around us as a group, all taking pictures like, hey, what's your YouTube channel? What's your YouTube channel? And we would just give a name of a YouTube channel that we weren't even in.
That's awesome.
Right. And they would go to it and subscribe to it and be like, oh, dude, I can't believe we got a picture. And people would walk up and be like, oh, hey, and we'd ask them, hey, what's the best video I did? Oh, I don't remember. I like them all.
Right.
And it's like, okay, do you know what kind of content I make? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, no, I don't really remember, but I recognize your face. I recognize your YouTube. Every once in a while, you get a dude that was honest and he's like, no, I just saw a bunch of people crowding around you and I didn't want to miss out on an opportunity.
Yeah.
But that really feeds into that point that it's like the hive mind, right? It's like as an individual, you would look at something and analyze it objectively based on your own thing. But the fear of missing out or the fear of harm coming to you overrides that completely. And you just go with the group. So
just
that
a
means
bit ago.
Hold on. I want to say one more real point here. If you control, so this actually leads into a really good point. So this scales right up to social media size. If you control the majority of what the group sees, you can get that same reaction and steer them in any direction you want to by volume.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, what were you gonna say?
Oh, it was just me and my boss, we saw Sean Gunn we were taking like a shuttle from the car rental place or from the car rental place to the airport. And Sean Gunn was on this fucking shuttle bus with us. And at first I'm like I kind of noticed him, but I was like, nah, that guy probably just kind of looks like him, because really what's a guy like this going to be doing on a bus with like all the rest of these normal folk and stuff? And like, no, like it was 100%. It was 100% him getting dropped at LAX from like this enterprise rent-a-car place. But it's like, I guarantee there's only maybe like 10 or 12 of us on this little, shuttle bus, but like, I guarantee at least one or two other people must have noticed as well, but like nobody was saying anything. Nobody like, oh, hey, are you, blah, blah,
Yeah, because they don't see another person doing it, so they assume that he must not be it. But everybody's thinking the same thing. They're like, oh, he's not
only afterwards. And in this context, I'm like, I bet if any one of us had said like, hey, are you Sean Gunn? Like out loud, then everybody would have been like, oh yeah, I
thought it was you. I thought it was you.
If he's just sitting there, just got his bag like everybody else, and it's like, because then everybody's gonna be like, nah, that guy just totally looks like him. Like that's, and then later you're gonna convince yourself like, oh fuck yeah, that was totally him, wasn't it? That kind of stuff. I tricked my oldest. There was a gal at one of the resorts we were at. Swear to God, looked just like Lady Gaga. Not even joking, but like only from like this one angle, right? It was like just happened to be the way we were looking at her, and Sneaky took a little picture and sent it to my oldest, and was like, hey, oh man, hey, Lady Gaga's at the resort with us. Like, check this out. And she's, no way, how cool, wow, that's amazing, man. Yeah. And it was like, no, we're just goofing. It's not, but stuff like that. It's man. Or all those experiments with like people in authority and stuff. Like they'll do double blind things where like, okay, they bring in one person and they're like, okay, we're gonna, the doctor guy's gonna come in and he's gonna tell you what to do with the button or whatever. Just do what he says, and we're testing to see about if the puppy explodes or whatever after 7 buttons or whatever. And but then the guy in the lab coat and the clipboard is not even in on it. They've told the guy here, put this lab coat on, take this clipboard and go tell that guy to push the button until the puppy explodes. And like you can choose not, just do that. But it's because it's like this cascade of like people in authority positions.
Yeah, you feel out of place if you're questioning the larger group. Like
you get told to do all kinds of heinous shit. Yep. Just because, the guy told me to, I don't know, with not even threats. You're just, hey, do what the guy in the lab coat tells you to do. We're trying to test some stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds right. Yeah, man, you'll freaking explode the puppy or kill people. Like push a button until they die, kind of thing. And it's bonkers.
Like if you ever want to like get into a place that you have to be like a celebrity, you have to be a VIP to get into. All you have to do is bring somebody along with you that has a really nice camera rig. All you have a really nice camera rig, have them pointed at you, and literally just walk up to the place, narrating to the camera that you're like, oh, I'm invited to this place, and we're about to go inside and check it out, and just make sure that you're being loud enough that the staff at the front can overhear you. They won't even check the list; they'll just let you in every time. Every
or two people with a ladder can get into a lot of places.
That's true. Yeah, I watch a lot of the penetration testing guys, and it's crazy what they do. Yeah,
I can tell you, man. Like
one of the dudes even wears a badge that says fake electrician. It literally said, but it shows like an electrical signal. It says fake electrician and has a name like John Doe, and he still just walks in and they beep him in and let him walk by.
When I was driving a tow truck, I could have been stealing cars left and right.
100%. People come pulled up, and you've been like, "Yeah, I'm towing this. I'm repoing it."
Oh, you supposed to be towing that car? I go, "Yeah, man, I got paperwork." Tap 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 on the clipboard. Yeah,
show authority. Yeah. And immediately step down.
That's my friend's car. And just want to make sure. I go, "Yeah, that's cool, man. I got a job to do though, but thanks. Good looking out." Why aren't you calling your friend and asking them about whether or not their car's getting towed? Why are you talking to the guy who's stealing the car?
Dude, I just watched a video. This reminds me of a video I just watched on YouTube where a dude was at an airport. A dude was in an airport, and the people get out of the car and they're getting their luggage out of the back and they're like taking it up on the curb. And another guy just walks over and starts getting in the car, and the security guy walks over to him and goes, "Hey, can I help you?" Because the dude just kind of looked at a place, and he said, "Yeah, no, I'm just moving the car down to the end zone or whatever." And he just closes the door and drives off with the people's car, and they're like, "Where's it going?" And it's like, dude, the security officer actually had him like stopped and could have like stopped him right there in the moment, but he's like, "No, I'm just moving the car down there." Okay, no, cool, go ahead. Okay, you look like you're doing what you're doing.
That's the other half of the assuming benign intent, right?
Yeah, social engineering.
You hear firecrackers. You hear firecrackers or whatever, you're not immediately going to think gunshots because what are the odds? And then the security guy, he's not going to stop the person from driving the car away because what are the odds that somebody's going to be bold enough to just sit down in somebody's car and drive away? Or have you seen the social experiments where they take a group of people, they take a group of like 10 people, but like 8 of the people in the room are controlled by them. They're actors. Oh. And what they'll do is they'll ask questions that are really easy. Like what is that planet what is that planet like thing you see in the sky, the biggest body in the sky at night or whatever? You're like, "Oh, it's the moon." And the people are like, "The sun." And they're like, "Oh, you're right." And it's the wrong answer. And what they do is they show the answer. Everybody holds up their little sign. And as long as the rest of the group keeps getting it right and those 2 people keep getting it wrong, eventually those 2 people will start watching what the other group's doing and what they're grabbing and start doing the same thing, even though they know they're wrong. And it's so wild. And every once in a while, they get somebody that doesn't go along with it. Like, you guys are all batshit crazy. But most people in the experiment will align themselves with the greater group because they feel stupid. Yeah. Because they'll be like, "Oh, what is it? Okay, well, I'm picking a number between 1 and 3. What is it?" And then the guy will be like 2, but the rest of the people will be like 3. You guys got it right. It's 3. It's 3. And it's like, no, that's obviously wrong. And then they're like, "Oh no, better luck next time," or whatever. And you're like, "Oh fuck, I'm getting it wrong." So then the next time, because you can see everybody what they're picking up, and they make it obvious. They make it, you're picking up like a sign that has like 4 options, so they can see which one they're picking up, so that they can grab the same one and hold it up. And then you start noticing that they delay. They wait and see what everybody else is doing, and then they pick up their sign because they want to be right along with the rest of the group. And then you're like, but every question they're asking is something that, like, even if you asked like a second grader, they would be able to figure out no problem. None of these questions were hard. None of them were a trick question. Nothing. It was obvious answers. Like one of them was literally, if you look up at the night sky, what is that big glowing planet like thing in the sky at night or whatever? And it's like, what else could it be than the moon? Like, literally. Right. And the answer was the sun, which didn't make sense because it literally said at night. Right. Like, you wouldn't see the sun at night. Jeez. Unless you're in like Alaska or some weird shit like that where you see the moon and the sun at the same time. But yeah, it was like that was how easy the questions were, and like within 3 questions they aligned with the group every time. It was just wild. Wow. So yeah, it's just social engineering. So if you scale that up and you can make everybody say on social media on a site, if you can make everybody see the same thing and not see the truth, only see the falsehood, not see the truth, enough people will be lazy enough to latch onto the falsehood and retweet it and spread it that it'll give it credibility. Yep. Like, for instance, and be honest, like, I do the same thing. If you see somebody you trust retweet something, it gives it a lot more credibility than just seeing it randomly. Yeah, for sure. And so,
But what happens is you don't realize that this person that you trust also trusted another person.
Yep.
And that person trusted another person. And then it just so happens that somewhere along that chain of 100 people, somebody just was like, oh, okay, that's cooler. I want to believe that, and just retweeted it, right? Without doing due diligence. And that starts a cascade effect. And you can do the same thing online with social media, like with stocks, social engineering stocks, right? Is if you can create a large enough group, like they even did this, right? With the Reddit group back in the day, or the Wall Street or whatever.
Yeah. The GameStop thing.
Yeah, the GameStop thing. If you can get a large enough group of people to spread information and coordinate misinformation, you can get the rest of the people outside of that group to commit an action. So what you want to do is make everybody else believe that you're doing the same thing that they're going to do now because they want to be successful like you. But what you're really doing is lying, and you're doing the opposite. And then what you do is you end up starting this cascading thing where everybody thinks they're smart and they've got insider information and they're trading, but what they're actually doing is tanking it so you can be the one that benefits. And so, it's echo chambers, exactly, right? Everybody will start aligning with the group. Not everybody, but a good majority, right? And if you don't have the time to invest in looking into something or investigating something, you're going to defer to somebody else to make that decision for you.
Yeah.
And we all do it. We all do it.
This something I've noticed as I was growing up. I was smart guy and stuff, usually like the smart-ish guy in the group and stuff. And I learned that people will just believe the things that I said. And that made me really fearful because, like, man, what if I get it wrong?
Same with me. You're a YouTuber. You're really smart.
I don't want people to just take my word for it. I'm constantly telling, like, even my kids, like, look, this is what I think to be true. Like,
just because I know it doesn't mean
what my brain is saying is true. But like, I always recommend that you investigate further. Don't just take my word for it. Like, go
even
look.
The smartest
and
people I know have been wrong. Even the smartest people I know that I would bet my life on them have been wrong before. So it's like you should always do your due diligence.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, Adam said MS32 update. The Cree LEDs are rated at 12 volt, use 29 watts each. Oh my God. Each one of those little LEDs can pull almost 30 watts. That's crazy. The battery's putting out 16.9 volts at 1300 watts. Damn, pointing at the ceiling.
Blanks out the TV. Can't see the TV. Pointing it at the ceiling, it's so bright. Can't see the TV.
That's crazy, man.
Well, it's brighter than the sun.
Yeah.
So apparently, from what we've learned earlier in the stream.
Well, like a dumbass, I looked into mine just because I was curious. I was like,
dude,
oh God,
that thing would blind you with your eyes closed.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It was bad. It was super bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
man.
You know what's crazy?
This is a weird pet peeve thingy. Total tangent, but this is a pet peeve thing. So right in front of my house, there's a space that between my driveway and my neighbor's driveway that's big enough for 2 cars. It's deliberately built that way. It's big enough for 2 cars.
Yep.
I just watched this woman pull up in front, and she's like 2/3 of the way on the side of the house that she's going to be going into right now. Like, she should pull up another 3 feet so that another car could fit up behind her. And I'm like, dag nabbit. When it's dry enough and stuff, I think it might be too cold for me to do this right now because it's like 19 fucking degrees. Yeah. I have some bright yellow, like reflective safety paint, spray paint. I'm gonna go out there and spray lines and like, this is one space, and then a little T, and then this is the other space. Because they will, I guarantee, once I've done that, it won't ever happen again. They're gonna park inside the lines. I guarantee, because it's social conditioning. You can't help yourself. You see 2 lines, you're gonna put your car in between the 2 lines.
Yes, subliminally, as long as you know that the lines weren't created by somebody being sarcastic and you think that they're official, you'll do it.
Yeah,
people do. Have you seen the people that put up a sign on the street? You can buy these signs that you can put in your yard that say private residential parking. Yeah, and people put it in their front yard, even though they can't own the street. You can park anywhere you want on the street.
Open parking. They're fine to do that, but it's a butthead thing to do.
But that's what's funny is like people will put that sign in the yard, even though it means absolutely nothing, and people will not take that spot. Like all other spots will be taken up, that spot will stay free because somebody doesn't want to get a ticket, and they don't realize. And because the sign is on your property, the police don't tell you to take it down.
My sign. I can do what I want.
Your sign. Do whatever you want on your property. And so people will like listen to it and not park there because it's like under penalty of fine. As long as you don't put like RCW that doesn't exist or something on there.
So I don't actually. I have a sign. It's a road closed looking type sign, and I've always wanted to use it to like, I don't know, block off part of my road here for like for summertime, like a block party or something, to make people go around or something.
Yeah.
just like the strip in front of my house there's like a slight corner right near my place, because I wouldn't want to block off people from getting to their houses or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But there's like a little alleyway to get it to people right
You
across
need
the
a
street
sign that
from
says
me,
except for residents or whatever, where it says
Yeah,
like,
right.
you can't pass except if you live here.
Text me if you need to get to your house. Just I thought that'd be kind of cool, because like most of the time you can just go around the other way.
Bust you for that one though.
Not out here, man. Not out here. Like
Wow.
it'd have to be Pierce County Sheriff, and for something like that, for somebody like, oh, they're blocking it's not a major thoroughfare.
Yeah.
It's just the neighborhood road. So I don't think anybody
what
just come yell at me.
Is solicitors are getting ballsy as shit, man. Because I have signs up everywhere on my properties like, dude, you're on video.
Dude,
I'm gonna fuck you up if you're soliciting anything. And they still will get the balls to come up and ring the doorbell and like stick a thing in the door and run away.
These guys, some solar people that I'm getting real irritated with. I've seen some other people.
I know exactly
irritated with them too.
I know exactly who you are. I think you bought a system from them or something. I know exactly who you're talking about.
They keep hassling me. Well, where is it? I keep getting these text messages.
Yeah, let me guess. Did you go to like a web page and ask for like a free quote just for shits and giggles?
Dude, like a year and a half ago.
You're on their list for life. They will send you fucking messages
and
to your house.
They're like, oh, we talked to you at such and such a time last year, and I'm like, yeah, and then dude, I run the numbers. It's gonna take me like 30 years to break even on it. Like, you guys, it's crazy. Oh, well, it's a lot cheaper, and there's tax credits and stuff, and we'd love to come out and take 15 minutes to talk to you about a new report and blah blah blah. No, yep. Dude, like, just stop.
Yeah. Solar doesn't really make sense here unless you're literally trying to do like the off-grid thing, or like, it just, the cost is not effective.
No, if they had come at me with like a little turbine, like a windmill thing set up on the top of the house, then I might be a little bit more interested.
Yeah, because it's like, I think what they quoted me, they're like, oh, it's going to cost. This is the thing they do too, is they tell you, oh, it'll be subsidized and you'll get this much back a month and blah blah, and it only costs like $10,000. It's like, no, once you actually do the math yourself, it's like $20,000 to $30,000.
And PSE isn't buying the electricity back like they used to.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that for that like $20,000 or $30,000 system, you're not even getting fucking battery banks. That's just all the solar shit and the inverters to tie it into your house. And they're like, oh, you can sell power back to the network. Turns out some people can't.
Nope. No, yeah, the PSE around here stopped that program. They only had like so many slots or whatever, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they stopped doing that.
They still tell everybody you can do that. Like, you'll install the system and pay for it, and then realize you can't sell the power back to the grid. And you're like, oh shit, well, that's stupid.
Well, then I'm gonna sell it to my neighbors.
Yeah,
is that what I'm gonna fucking do? Is
what you do?
Set up a bunch of marine cell batteries, and everybody's in series or something, and we all just drink off of the same bucket of power bank.
You know what you do is, instead of buying a solar system, what you do is go fucking trade your car in and get an EV that can power your house, and then your EV becomes your battery bank.
Yeah,
and I think that's the coolest shit ever. Like, I love that they did that with they did it with the Cybertruck, they did it with the Ford F-150, they did it with, I think Rivian does it now.
That's cool.
Where basically you plug it into charge on the house and it becomes a UPS for the house. So like, if power goes out, it'll just switch the feed.
Yeah, you can like click a switch on the car and it becomes the output.
I don't even think you have to click a switch.
Oh, nice.
Automatic. Because the Ford F-150 said that if your power goes out in your house, it will automatically reverse the flow back into your panel. Like, it has an automatic switch that just does it. And then when the power comes back up on the grid, it automatically switches back. And it's supposed to be like, I think it's an uninterruptible thing. I think they have capacitors or something that make that an uninterruptible process. Because they claim that you can go on and off the network just by having your car physically plugged in and charging. You don't have to do anything else. So I don't know how the Cybertruck one works. I know the Cybertruck does it too, but I'd imagine it's a similar system. So Dave Webster said, I doubt it. Illegal. Why would it be illegal?
Well, no, later on. We're able to rate power costs, buy a battery, tool conversion from natural if you're in the wind.
Or else you fry the lineman. No, you don't. Why would you fry the lineman? You're literally switching off of the grid. There's no physical connection between you and the grid anymore.
Maybe he was talking about my idea of the
turbine
sharing with the marine cell batteries and stuff.
Oh, okay. He was probably responding.
That makes sense. Yeah, that was total goofing. There's no you'd have to set that up properly or something. Like, there's no way to make that work easily.
Okay, so Adam said smart EV transfer switches are not yet available in the USA. You know what? I don't understand why they don't do it, because we already do it with generators. Like, my neighbor has a generator that's uninterrupted. Like, if the power goes out on the grid, his generator starts, it runs off battery for I think 30 seconds,
But
and
he's saying
just has enough
EVs
battery.
for
I'm saying
EVs, right?
EV would do the same thing though. Like if you had an EV, it'd use the exact same switch.
They just
right?
probably don't have them built into the cars quite yet.
So you would need a switch that shuts off the mains. Well, no, that's what it does. That's what a Gen-Tran switch does.
Yeah.
So that's physically what so my neighbor has a cool setup. I wish I had his setup, and it sucks because I only paid like $1,000 less and he got so much more. He has an 11 kilowatt Generac, I think, generator that's connected to, he's got just enough battery. It's like literally like a little battery box that they installed that just supports the house, I think the 11 kilowatts for 30 seconds. And what it does is it allows the generator to start up, and then it seamlessly switches to the generator. And then when the power comes back up on the grid, it has to be on, I think, for 5 minutes. And if the power is on for 5 minutes continuously, then it automatically switches back to the grid without any interruption in power. And it's really cool because it doesn't work like a UPS where it's like constantly using the batteries. The way it works is like when the grid goes down, it's only using that little itty bitty battery box or whatever to do the sustain thing for the switchover, just to fill in that gap. And I think it powers the mechanism too, like the mechanism that like tells the switch to physically flip over and start the generator and everything. I think it's all powered by that little box. You need to set up your own private transformer station and run cables on state property. You power have to come through your inverter. Will be soon. You can't have a UPS like that. No, my neighbor does. So you can't. I mean,
yeah,
Dave, I understand if you understand the laws where you're at, but I'm just saying, like, this is a legally installed and certified system.
Yeah,
and hospitals use them too. So
my buddy's got a auto switcher generator thing too. Like he's still got to go turn. Like I think his will actually kick on.
Mine I have to do manually. Like mine is a manual one because I didn't spring for the fancy one.
Yeah,
but my neighbor's is all automated. He doesn't have to touch a damn thing. It just he has power continuously.
Everybody's behind. Dave saying chat slow and all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's okay.
So I'm like, why don't they just? That's why I'm surprised that the car doesn't just do that in the United States. Maybe they have to get some certification or whatever.
I'm sure,
but it would make sense because it's no different than a Powerwall. Like if you get a Tesla Powerwall, you plugging in your EV and having the reverse flow power come back is the exact same as having the Powerwall.
Yeah.
So, and you're literally charging the Powerwall off the grid too, just like you would charge your car off the grid, right? You're just reversing the flow back into the house. That's it. So, let's see here. They make Generac ones that down here in Florida is super common. Yeah, I think it was just chat was slow.
Yeah.
He said, like I say, it's backflow to the grid. Yeah, no. So the only time that you backflow to the grid is if you're doing like a ghetto solution where you're plugging like a male-to-male plug back into your outlet, which we did growing up, by the way, and I feel really bad about it because I'm like, did we kill anybody? But we also had like a really puny little 115 watt generator that just ran the refrigerator. But no, a lot of people will do, what do they call it, the suicide plug or whatever, the death plug, where it's like you just create a plug that has two male outlet or male plugs, and you plug it into the generator. You can plug it into any outlet in your house as long as it's under the amp ratage of that breaker. And what it does is it feeds power back to the box and then distributes it through that bank of the box. But it also, unless you go physically turn off the transformer going back to mains, which I think we did, it'll go right out to the grid, and you're basically powering your neighbors and shit too. So, no, I remember. No, that's why we had to do that. No, we had to turn off the mains because if we didn't, there was so much current draw off the mains from like the neighbors and shit still being plugged in and go into their power box and just kill the generator and lock up the generator. But if you didn't turn that off, yeah, you could electrocute somebody who was working on the line. But also people that electricians that work on the line, I'm not saying like they should have to do this, but it is practice for them to wear their gloves and use the AC sniffer and everything. Like they're super safe. Like you don't want to ever assume. I've heard from electricians you don't ever want to assume a wire is dead.
That's right.
Like
that's how you die.
Because you don't know, right? I mean, fucking think you get struck by lightning while you're working on it a mile away, and fucking fries you. So it's like just don't even mess with it. But no, I think that would be really freaking cool to have the car. And I thought it did. I thought in their demo they said it did that. Let's see here.
I know the F-150 does. That's in the commercial. They show that.
Yeah, they literally say that it just okay. So Ford says the fully charged F-150 Lightning with extended range battery can power your entire house for up to 3 days. Still, if you're careful with your power consumption. Okay, so how does it work? So how? Okay, so yes,
probably honestly, it's probably the exact same way as the generators would. You gotta flip the switch, plug the thing in, and then it works, or something like that.
Yep. Let's see here. Okay, not only does the Lightning include a 2.4 kilowatt system with 8 outlets, but Oh, here it says this one's specifically talking about the Powerwall. Here we go. It's like having 7 to 9 Tesla Powerwalls installed in your garage. In addition, Ford has come up with a way to turn that massive truck battery into a home battery. The Charge Station Pro, when paired with the home integration system sold separately by a partner called Rooftop Solar Supplier,
the integration system,
for $3,895, can not only charge the truck, but also draw power back from the truck through the same charging cable to the house. Ford says a fully charged Lightning with extended range battery pack can run your entire house for 3 days. If you're careful with your power consumption, they estimate you could get up to 11 days out of it.
Like 2,000 kilowatt hours or something.
Yeah. So it is an extra charge. It doesn't just come with the thing. You have to have a special 2-way charger thing.
Yeah.
But I still think that'd be really freaking cool.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, because
especially if you're smart, like they're saying, like go to your circuit breaker and click off a bunch of shit and just leave your refrigerator and furnace going or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it'd be like with the AC going and furnace and stuff. Yeah, they're saying 3 days if you're pulling like a full household power through it.
Yeah.
But they're saying you get up to 11 days if you were just running like the minimals, like keep your refrigerator going and
most of the time 3 days is enough. Like
I
imagine, I have a feeling that most power outages don't last much longer than that, unless it's like a disaster. Like I think New York had a really bad one that was like 11 days, something like that, when it was wicked. They had to like almost like a winter hurricane kind of thing.
I wanted to say the longest we've ever been without power that I can remember, like since we moved here like 23 years ago, I think was 7 days. We had a 7-day outage during a massive winter storm.
I think we're thinking of probably the exact same moment, because I think it was about the same too. It was around Christmas, or right between Christmas and New Year's.
Gas, like there was no gas to be found. Generators were like going for like $3,000.
A buddy of mine crashed with me for a few days because like it snowed wicked. I mean, he only lived 2.5 miles from me. We could have walked, no problem. But yeah, he crashed with me for a few days because it was like 1.5 feet of snow, like over the weekend or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was bad because I remember we had back then I didn't have a generator. That's the event that made me buy a generator. So before that, I didn't have a generator. So what we had to do is during that winter storm, we actually drove like 100 miles to my parents' house in like the craziest fucking snow conditions. Like I can't even believe we made it. And we did that so that we could get a generator. I was borrowing a generator from my dad. He had this little Honda 1,500 watt like generator you can just pick up and carry around. The coolest thing, it was quiet too. Like, these things are awesome. Harbor Freight sells one for like, I think it's like $100 or whatever. If you can get one of those things, they're awesome. But it was just enough power, and it sipped the gas too. That thing, like seriously, it held like half a gallon, and it went for like 12 hours.
Yeah, man, that's the thing, because they just go up to peak. They go up to their peak efficiency and just sit there. That's why diesel generators are so efficient. They're just
I have a really efficient gas generator though. I have a Honda generator that throttles. It has an inverter on it and a capacitor pack, so it can throttle up and down. So it's only drinking as much gas it needs to generate the power for the load.
That's the way to go.
And really fancy, and it's super quiet too. But all my neighbors like went and bought like huge 11 kilowatt V-twin powered Harley Davidson engine generators. And I got my little like quiet one over here doing its thing. But mine's an inverter generator, so I can like plug in UPSs and they don't bark. Like if you have a generator that creates a square wave, usually UPSs get mad. Like certain electronics, when you plug them in, they won't charge or they won't even work.
It's like dirty power,
right? Yeah, that little 1,500 watt generator I had, man, that thing fucking wouldn't power anything that wasn't like old analog circuits.
Yeah,
but what was great about it is during that snowstorm, we had like a 5-gallon thing of gas, a single 5-gallon thing of gas, and we ran that thing 24/7 for the whole week.
Nice,
that one 5-gallon thing, and all it powered is we had a light bulb in the living room. That light up the living room like an LED light bulb, or no, it was a CFL, and then all we used the power for, because it was only 1,500 watts. That was its peak output. Like that was really pushing it.
That's like 2 of my computer.
Yeah, so in half of that was used just for the igniter and the fan and the furnace. So we ran our furnace, we ran our refrigerator, and a light, and that was it for like 7 days. But it was nice because like we, even though we were out of power and stuff, it's like we had light, we had heat. Right. And I think what we do is we unplug the refrigerator when we use the microwave.
Yeah.
Because the microwave would require like the whole thing to work. So if we were cooking something in the microwave, we'd unplug everything else and just use the microwave.
Nice.
I think our microwave pulled like 1,200 watts, but man, you'd hear that generator glug, glug, glug. You'd almost be dying. But I can't believe that. I can't believe how quiet it was. Like
that's cool. Yeah.
Like super duper quiet. And so, yeah, look them up there. That's like a Honda I mean, they're literally just look like a box. They're just like a little box with a handle on the top, and they hold like a half gallon of gas internally. They're just awesome. Keller said a Honda 2000 is 12 hours per gallon on eco. Yeah, that's about what mine gets. I have an EU 6500 IS, and I think it's either oh no, you said 12 hours per gallon. Never mind. Mine burns way shitloads more than that. No, I want to say my generator at 6500 watts burns I think it's 5 gallons every 14 hours, which is still considered pretty damn good. Like it's 6500 watts. But if I run it on eco mode, actually no, I've run it over 24 hours on eco mode before. Where I literally just left it running for an entire day and came out the next day and there was still a little gas in the tank. So but that's when you're just all I was running was the furnace fan, which only runs when it kicks on for a little while and then it heats the house and then it turns off. And a light and a TV when we were watching TV. So but now I just say screw it. Now I because we're never without power for more than like 3 or 4 days. So I just, make sure I have enough gas to run it for 3 or 4 days flat out, and then we can just run whatever the hell we want. But the nice thing is all of our neighbors have generators now. Like after that snowstorm, everybody panicked and got generators because like our neighbors were like struggling that 7 days. Like they couldn't get out and get food. We were like sharing food with them and shit because they could not get out. And because we could go down to the store and they didn't have a vehicle to go down there. We went and did some shopping for them and took them down there. And like when we had the generator, we had a little Champion generator because we upgraded from the little one when I gave it back to my dad, and I bought a 3,500 watt Champion generator, which was a ripoff of Honda. And that thing was great. It was loud as shit, but that was great for a couple of years. But then I upgraded to the Honda because I wanted something that could run pretty much the whole house. I also wanted to do a tri-fuel conversion on it. That costs like
yikes.
Shit.
It's got to be a bit.
It was for some reason, I don't know why, because it looks like it's the same conversion for every generator. But for some reason, the kit for mine is like $250, whereas a kit for like the same non-inverter generator is way cheaper for some reason. I don't know if because it has the throttle eco mode or whatever, it needs extra shit on it, but it's like $250 for this kit. But once you install the kit on it, it can run propane. It can run natural gas, so be plumbed into the house and just run right off natural gas for as long as you got natural gas. And it can still run on gasoline. So the walk-in gasoline. So that way it's like if you have to move somewhere, like say I wanted to load the generator in the vehicle and take it off site, I can do that. It's got wheels and a wheelbarrow handle. I mean, it weighs a shitload. You need like to get in the vehicle. But I mean, it's a very heavy generator. It's not light. But you could move it around to different places if you need to power something off site or whatever. You can move it, which is nice to have that functionality. But then you just bring it back to the house, hook the quick connect onto your natural gas line, and you're good to go. And the other thing is when you burn natural gas, you don't have to change the oil nearly as often. When you're burning gasoline,
that's nice.
I mean, you're supposed to change they claim you're supposed to change the oil after every like 72 hours of continuous use or something. I've changed the oil precisely 0 times in like fucking 5 years of use. I know I'm bad. I did the run in and drained it after the run in. So it's not like I'm running it with like the run in oil or anything.
Yeah. But
I
need to do that with my car.
Yeah, you're supposed to change out the oil in them like every like 72 hours of continuous use or something because of the carbon buildup. But I never did that. But apparently with natural gas, you don't have to do that. Like with the natural gas, there's no deposits that build up or anything. So you really only have to change the oil after the viscosity breaks down so much.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice.
So if you're running like a synthetic or whatever, you could probably just run the thing on its original oil for life. Let's see here. The Honda 2000 is at 12 hour per gallon on eco 32. Oh, you have a 32 kilowatt of batteries as well. Oh, wow. Do you have a Powerwall, Adam, or do you just have like 32K of like external batteries?
Just a bunch of marine cell batteries. I bet just like a whole bookcase just full of batteries.
I know he has tons of the eco infrastructure, like
a bunch of Duracells.
Eco has these really giant batteries that they use on like their rider.
Yes.
He's got a ton of those.
I got one of those.
He also has the sweet inverter thing.
I'm waiting.
Put 6 batteries on it, and it becomes like a high powered inverter.
I totally want to buy the Ego. They have a little motorcycle. They have a little motorcycle that will run off the lawn. Yeah. They run off the lawnmower battery. Yep. And I'm like, dude, I have got 2. I'm like, I got 2 batteries. I can go like 65 miles distance or something on this thing. But it's like, I think it's around $2,000. I don't know. I signed up for the wait list to see.
Yeah, Adam sent me a link to it, and I looked at it because I was like, "Oh, Xander liked this," and then I saw how fast it went, and I was like, "Nope, no way in hell I'd put him on." I'm
stoked. I kind of want one really bad.
Yeah, it's cool. Doesn't it carry like an extra battery on board too? So you can do a hot swap and get back or whatever, so you don't ever go too far.
Yep.
See, I like it when they do that because the problem is batteries don't drain uniformly. So like you get to 50% and then you try to drive back and you lose your power a third of the way back because the power draw, if it's based on voltage, it's not a good way to measure the power.
I just want a go-kart though. I don't really want a motorcycle. Like as cool as they are, 2 wheels and all, but like I want a go-kart. I want a little low-slung 4-wheel drive thing I can just tear ass around the neighborhood on. Because like these bikes, they don't do it for me, man. They're not cool. I don't like that.
My bike days are over because of my back. Like for my back, it'd have to be like
part of it too, right? Like, nah.
Dude, did you see the do you ever watch those guys with a Grind Hard Plumbing? Have you ever watched those guys on YouTube that do like the Barbie 4-wheelers, but then upgrade them with like crazy engines and stuff? They'll take like a look them up, Grind Hard Plumbing. They take like Barbie like power wheels, like kids power wheels and shit, and then they build like, you know, a Suzuki Hayabusa powered 4x4 chassis and stick it on there. And so they make all these like little toy cars, like stupid fast and stupid capable.
Oh, that sounds cool.
These guys they just built a bike recently that's crazy. It's like the
oh my god. Oh, I have seen these. I didn't recognize the name. I've seen like this giant wheeled motorcycle thing that I've seen that.
These guys, they're so nice, and they're just, I'd love to meet these guys. These guys are absolutely amazing.
This is very cool. Yeah,
but I love it because they'll take like, you know, the Malibu Barbie 4x4 or whatever, and then build like 100 horsepower, you know, quad runner underneath it, chassis underneath it. They built a 20,000 watt shifter cart. Like, you know, they took one of those shifter cart chassis, they put a 20,000 watt electric motor and battery pack on it. It's like this company builds this 20,000 watts. When they give it the gas, it just balloons the rear tires. Like, have you ever seen like a dragster, how the tires like stretch out because they're spinning so hard? They punch the gas on this thing on pavement and it goes up like an inch because it like balloons out the tires. And it's so fast. Like, it's like I'm like, dude, that thing's gonna kill you. And what they do is they put dirt tires on it and they race it in the dirt and snow. So it's like, imagine a shifter cart with like knobby tires on it with 20,000 watts. I don't know what the horsepower equivalent of 20,000 watts is, but I'm thinking like my mid-drive bike that I have that'll do 23 miles an hour with me on it on flat ground, 23 miles an hour, it's 1,500 watts. So imagine 20,000 watts. Like if 1,500 watts can move like, you know, almost 400-pound Jerry like 23 miles an hour on flat ground, 20,000 watts. Just, I mean,
wow, that's so crazy. Cool.
17 horsepower? No, it's got to be more than that.
I mean, a lot of that comes down to gearing, though. Like, you don't need a whole lot of horses to move somebody.
Yeah, horsepower is a bad measure with electric. I forgot.
Yeah, man, it's like see, people are saying it's all torque. Yeah. Like, you can get those things spinning hardcore if you gear it right. Like, you don't need much to move. It's like that
diesel dragster. They have a diesel dragster that only revs to like 2,500 RPM. And it only makes like 300 horsepower, but it makes like 2,000 foot-pounds of torque. So they just run it through this crazy gearbox, and it still does like, you know, 8-second quarter mile or whatever. So 20,000. Let's see, 20,000 divided by 768. I don't get that measurement. So yeah, no. But that's the thing is like it's all torque, right? So and that thing's never going to get grip. Like, you're never going to get full grip.
Watching these guys
going to smoke the tires.
Drift in this go-kart hardcore.
Dude, isn't that sick?
Yeah.
Like it is
crazy.
So stupid fast. It looks like it's going to snap their damn necks when they take off in it. I think that's their fastest vehicle that they've made to date. They haven't done a top speed on it yet. But they're like, yeah, that thing, like, it whips your neck when it grips up and goes. It's crazy. But I haven't seen anybody else build one that had more power than that, except for maybe like, and this is a big maybe, somebody did a Suzuki Hayabusa cart that did like, I think 160 or 170 miles an hour in the quarter mile. And it would have been able to go faster, but it was just fishtailing the whole way. Because they could never get traction. But so I'd imagine that's probably faster than the electric one, but I still bet the electric one pulls harder off the line.
Wow.
They reckon it's the fastest off the line. Well, yeah, I mean, in a cart like that, like how fast, like shifter carts, you're never exceeding like 60 miles an hour, really.
Dude,
like on the little tracks that they run those shifter carts on, I don't think they're ever really going much faster than like 60. I know they do have the lay down carts that do like 90 on the oval tracks and stuff, but I don't think on a shifter cart you wouldn't want to go much faster than that. Oh yeah, Tom Scott in the 0 to 60 in 1 second in the BMW cart, that was crazy. It was like it was like 0 to 60 in 1 second, and then like back to 0 again, almost as fast.
Oh,
like
wow.
He said it absolutely blew his mind. Like he did not know that you could move that fast.
Yikes.
Let's see here. Oh, there are loads that are more powerful. F1 kart series.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Well, you're talking like Formula One, like the full size Formula One cars, right?
No. I imagine there's like an F1
kart. Let me see. What does an F1 kart look like? Let me see here. Google wants to know my location.
Formula One style go-karting is coming to Seattle. The upcoming Formula karting event in Seattle takes place. Oh, it's going to be later this year. Formula One style go-karting.
Ooh, I want to see this.
Go-karts used in F1 racing aren't your average cars. They're designed for speed and maneuverability with powerful engines and aerodynamic features that allow them to reach high speeds and take tight turns with precision. So yeah, there's like a whole division of karting that is F1.
Okay, damn. Formula One race karts are capable of speeds up to 140 miles an hour.
That's tight.
The fastest electric go-kart in the world is the Dymark C5, which does 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds. That's not true. BMW actually did that.
Dymark C5. Well, maybe commercially available.
So what do these things look like? I want to see what this thing looks like.
Okay, here's the Blast. I want pictures, my guy.
So I want to see what an F1. What is an
the
F1?
The EM1 C5. Oh, that's a motorcycle. The EF2. That's also a motorcycle. So the Blast go-kart.
I'm just trying to find an image of one.
Yeah, same. And it's like, call us. It says our technology is just at the early stage. We plan to roll out other cool products.
Oh, here I found a picture one. Okay. Oh man, like professional drivers drive these things. Damn. Okay, so I found a picture. I think this is it. And they're gas powered, right? These are gas powered with like a radiator and everything. They basically just look like a shifter cart. Like nothing about them look like remarkably. Actually, this Lotus one kind of looks like an F1 car. It's got like a front end. I mean, it does. It just, to me, I don't know. To me, it just looks like a shifter cart. Like, are they just shifter carts with bigger displacement engines, like 500 or something? I mean, if it's doing 140 miles an hour, it's got some decent power. Like, it's got it, right? Let's hear. F1 is slow. My Tesla's faster to 100 miles per hour. Well, that's a Tesla. We're talking about go-karts, Adam. Of course your Tesla is going to be faster. Think is just massive. In terms of top speed, F1 karts aren't that fast. Their best acceleration is 60 to 140 miles per hour. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, is they need like with those tiny little tires, you don't have that much of a contact patch. So it's really hard to put the power down. Although I will say, looking at these F1 cars, they do have some pretty wide tires on the back end. Like I've driven some shifter carts where the front tires and the rear tires are the same tires. And these look like they got like little baldy double wide tires in the back.
Wow.
Oh, whoa. Max Verstappen raced in the 2013 go-kart racing kart championship, F1 kart championship. So wow. So like real F1 drivers, it looked like they came up doing this. God, that's a tiny little motor though. Like I wouldn't think that would hit 140 miles an hour, but I mean, I guess if these F1 drivers are cutting their teeth on this shit, it must be fast. In terms of top speed F1 karts, I already read that one. Hold on. Net guy said why Monaco Grand Prix is so slow. I was at 1996, 1999 for Monaco Grand Prix. Dude, that would be so cool to race that.
Yeah.
I would love to just race a real car on that personally. That would be freaking amazing. That'd be a dream. Yeah, I think electrics probably at this point, electrics are future. Like I think gas cars are just going to become a hobby. And something, there's always going to be people that love them. Like I always love the sound of a gas car, and I love how how it feels, the vibration, the smells. Like there's just something about it that electric will never touch. But looking at electric technology, especially battery technology, and how far it's come, it's just a matter of time before we have electric cars that are doing 1,000 miles on a charge, and every car has 1,000 freaking horsepower, and but you can dial it back to anything. So it's like if you have your kid or whatever, and you can dial it back to like 150 horsepower or whatever, and put enable parental controls on it so that they can't go anywhere near a bar or a strip club. That guy said formula has gotten worse over the years, and not just because of the new safety rules. What I don't understand is like Formula One was cool because like back in the day, they used to be able to just put unlimited power. Like some of these Formula One cars were like 1,000 plus brake horsepower, like just insane amounts of power, huge displacement V12s and V10s and all. And now they're like every year, it seems like they get smaller and smaller displacement. Like what is it now? Like a 1.6 liter, like the same size engine that you'd have in like that Toyota
like in my
Tercel I was
car.
talking about. Yeah, seriously. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still getting like 600-700 horsepower out of these things, but I don't understand it. They don't sound the same. Like I miss the Formula One cars, like the old what was it? Not Mercedes. Was it the Lotus? That had the crazy screaming V12 in it or whatever, that like one of the Formula One cars just sounded like insane. Like it was so much better than everybody else's. And now you can't have that because everybody has to run basically the same engines. I think, what is it, like 2 engine manufacturers, and both of them have to build the engine to the same specs basically, so they produce the same power or the same everything. Oh, it was costing too much money and only a few teams could take part. Is that really the reason they changed it? Oh, I would have thought it was for like eco or safety or some bullshit.
Whatever.
They also used to let them change tires a whole bunch too, like more tires, unlimited fuel stops. Like, I mean, because you couldn't run an entire race on a tank of gas. Now they don't let them refuel. So they have to run an entire race on a tank of gas, which probably also is the reason why it's a smaller displacement engine for efficiency. So they don't do fueling anymore. You only get so many sets of tires, I guess, for a race, as I understand it. And back in the day, you used to be able to just run as many tires as you wanted. So you just fry an entire set in practice and then just throw a fresh set on and just burn them off. So yeah, they've made it. I guess there's more strategy to it now, but I don't know. I liked it back when it was just batshit crazy and like one car would be like 1,000 fucking horsepower dominating the field.
Yeah.
I miss the old crazy cars too, like the ones that had like 2 wheels in the front or 2 wheels in the back, or like the car that had the giant fan that sucked it down to the surface or whatever, that Niki Lauda helped create or whatever to cheat the rules. I miss that shit. Like I want to see more of that. Actually, it's true. The deaths was probably a big reason too. A lot of people were probably, when you crash 1,000 horsepower Formula One car with all that weight and everything behind you, probably don't walk away from that too much. Although I will say, I can't think of too many automotive sports that are safer than Formula One. Have you seen the wrecks those guys get into?
Oh yeah. The thing's just basically a rolling safety egg. Yeah,
it's fucking nuts, dude. Like I watched this race. I guess it's a really famous crash that happened. This is a long time ago. Safety's even gotten better. Dude literally slams into a rail at 140 miles an hour. The whole car completely shatters into itty bits, and just his little safety cell compartment is jammed physically into the barrier.
Wow.
And engulfed in flames. And you're like, that dude's dead. You're like, there's no way that dude's dead. Like you watch the video and you're like, there's no way he survives. For like 10 seconds, he's in this enormous fire. And then you see some wiggling. And then you see a guy just like jump out and start walking away.
Wow.
And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Cool.
Like, and he just got minor burns on his hands, but his body was perfectly fine. His face,
them suits are good then.
Like, dude,
that's amazing. Well, yeah, because they're all gussied up. They got the they got like the sock with the head thing. They can only like this, and then the helmet, and then the whole fire suit thing is like down to the wrists and whatnot. So.
Oh, Adam, if you sent that to me in 2022, I forgot about it because I just watched it again like a week ago with Xander, and I thought that was the first time I'd seen it.
I do have to go though. It's
no worries, man. No, I understand.
Got some chores and stuff to take care of. I got to get back on the eBay game. Try and get something going this year for reals this time.
Yeah, I gotta start selling shit too. So I need to sell the shit that I don't use so that I can fix the shit that I do.
That's it.
So rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak.
Sorta.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out and being awesome. Love you guys. Woo! See ya. Bye.
Take it easy, man.
Bye. Don't go too long, Cherry.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm exhausted. I only slept
go take a nap.
I will.
Bye, everybody.
Peace out, brother. Oh man, that was fun. Group B rally was the GOAT. Yeah, I miss Group B. Group B was awesome, dude. Group B was the GOAT. My favorite car of like all time too is a car I can't fit in. I tried to sit in it. I couldn't even get through the damn doorway and couldn't even fit between the bars. And that's the Ford RS 200. It's literally a car that was like built to be driven by a guy who's like 5 foot tall with itty bitty little feet. Ken Block had one that he built out, I think, to like 700 plus horsepower or something. God, I'd love to experience that. Steve, the owner of Dirtfish, he has the Evo. He has the Evolution version of the car, which I think they only made 50 of. And that's the one that's got 600 horsepower. I can't even imagine. What would that feel like? 600 horsepower in a car that weighs, I want to say it's like 2,300 pounds. If that, 2,300 pounds. I don't know. How much does a Ford RS 200 weigh? I've never even looked it up. Ford, it's a tubular space frame, so it should be okay. RS 200 weight. How much does it weigh? Yeah, 2,600 pounds. Okay, so about like an old 80s Honda Civic. So imagine driving something like that with 600 horsepower in like a true lock like a truly locked 4-wheel drive differential where like all 4 tires are turning at the same speed. I heard it's like super leggy though. Like everybody that's ever driven one says that the turbo leg is like nightmarish. Like you literally and it loses revs really fast. So you basically have to just keep the thing like banging off the rev limiter to get that 600 horsepower. But gosh, amazing. Oh, it was only 2-wheel drive? Oh, I thought it was 4-wheel drive. Is it really? It's only Ford RS 200. Is it rear-wheel drive? Mid-engine? No, all-wheel drive. Yeah, Ford RS 200 is a mid-engine all-wheel drive sports car. No, you're thinking of the Lotus. Yeah. Oh, your mate had an MR2, a 600 horsepower, was scary 2-wheel drive. Oh yeah, no. I also had a friend who had a Gen 2 Mark II MR2. I don't know how much horsepower it had exactly, but we like literally beat 1,000 cc Yamaha R1 Superbike. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I'd love to drive an RS 200, but I've heard that they're one of those don't meet your hero cars where it's like they're really finicky, really hard to drive. Like you'd have to be. I mean, literally, the reason why Group B got canceled is because of this car. So because of the wreck that it was involved in. But apparently, if you knew how to drive the car and you were good at it, you could. Oh shit! Ken Block's was 920 horsepower. Wow. I did not know that. I thought it was like 700. So Ken Block built like a damn near 1,000 horsepower RS 200 and drove it up Pikes Peak. That is crazy. That is crazy. And a big fire there. Yep, that's the one. If you guys go to the link Kevlar Condom just posted, that's the race that I was talking about where dude like slams into the wall like I think it's like 120 or 140 miles an hour and he just walks away. Like he's literally on fire. If you watch that video, the dude is literally like you can see his arm moving and he's inside of a giant ball of fire for like a decent amount of time. So yeah, I'm shocked at how safe that sport has gotten. That's loud as fuck. My car friend would have come hearing that. Ken Block. No, Dev. No, I'm fully aware of all Ken Block's cars. I am a big Ken Block fan. I was so sad when he died. But yeah, no, but still his 1,600 horsepower car, the Unicorn. That car was something special. Like that was a one-off purpose-built Gymkhana car. The RS 2000 or the RS 200 is technically a production vehicle. Like, I mean, his 900 and some odd horsepower one was heavily modified, but technically a production vehicle. And then the Huna truck. Not a lot of people talk about the Huna truck because it didn't have like the crazy V8. They ran a V6 in it. And so it didn't get that much press, but man, the Huna truck was impressive. Like I love the Huna truck. I think it's freaking amazing. I think it's every bit as cool as the Unicorn. The sad thing, though, is we never got to really see the Huna pig that much because Ken Block was still like, fielding the car and working on it before he died. And so we haven't seen a ton of it. I'd imagine his daughter's going to drive it if she hasn't already. Ken Block's daughter, Pike Peak EV car. You know that one? No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen her Pikes Peak EV car. I think the last thing that I saw her working on was driving the Unicorn. When she was racing people, when she was like racing other YouTubers and stuff, in place of her dad. I'm sure she's gonna do a good job though. She's just as fearless as he was. So she's gonna definitely kick ass, and I can't wait to see her in a Gymkhana. Like I can't wait to see her like the next Gymkhana that you see will be her. I know Travis Pastrana I think was in the last one. Didn't Travis Pastrana do the last Gymkhana? I think he was still alive. Was Ken Block still alive when Travis Pastrana did the Gymkhana, or did he do that because Ken Block passed away to keep it going? I can't honestly remember, but it was a really good video. The one where he takes the family truckster and does the full Gymkhana video in the bespoke 80s Subaru with all the active aero stuff on it. It's really neat. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. Oh, damn. Is that a cross cart? An electric cross cart? At the beginning of that video?
Has been described after his death in a snowmobiling accident. A lover of extreme sports. Just some of the ways Ken Block has been described after his death in a snowmobiling accident in
I still can't believe he died in a snowmobiling accident. All the dangerous shit that guy did over the years. And he basically died from a snowmobile landing on top of him. Oh man. That sucks. That really sucks. That's how it works though. Like seriously, like look at Colin McRae, right? Colin McRae, most fearless WRC driver ever, been in massive, huge wrecks that you couldn't even fucking fathom, and survived it and just went right back, right? How does he die? A fucking helicopter accident. Like he literally crashes his helicopter. It's like the guy that did so much dangerous shit in a rally car and he died in his helicopter. It's such a sad story. And then it's like Ken Block. It's like everything that he's known for, you know, he did rally, he did everything. Ken Block like did a little bit of everything. And he dies on a snowmobile. You know, it's just like it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. Tony, a WRX is your dream gas car? What, like an STI or like specifically like a WRX, like 2 liter or 2.5 liter? I mean, they have very similar driving mechanics. I've driven a WRX. It's the STI and the WRX handle very, very similarly. It's just the STI gives you a little bit more grip and a little bit more power stock. And that sixth gear. That sixth gear is nice. At least the closed ratio gearbox, which is what I have. The last year they did it in 2005. And then it was either 2006 or 2007, they switched to the longer gear ratios for fuel economy. But it took a lot of bottom end out of the car. That's one of the things I really like about the car is even though it only has, I say only, back in the day, that was what it was known for. But like, you know, it only has 330 horsepower and 380 foot-pounds of torque. But because of those that really low gear for first and second, you know, it can really put it to the ground. It's a lot of fun. I love turbo cars though. There's just something fun about driving turbo cars. I mean, the electric cars are always going to just beat the shit out of the gas cars. Like there's just no way for gas to keep up with the electric technology. And the electric cars are always going to be, you know, easier to drive. The computing power is going to always give you the most grip in the corners. They're going to be the safest. I mean, but gas cars will always be an experience. Like the one thing that I would really miss going to an EV is shifting. Like manual car, but even gas cars, it's like how many manual cars are still made today? Like where you have to use a clutch and a shifter. It's like, it's a super rare thing. It's like, hell, even like if you want to go buy like a hyper car, it's like the very few that sell like a manual version. The manual version costs infinitely more than the non-manual versions, which are much more expensive to produce. And it's just because they don't perform. You're not going to get the performance because, you know, you're losing power while the clutch is in and you can only shift so fast, you know, to move the forks between the gears. And you don't have a dual clutch maintaining power while you're shifting to the next one. So it's like there's a lot of downsides to it from a performance perspective. But for a pure just fun in driving perspective, like being able to select your gears and working your hands and doing all the controls and everything, it just, I don't know, it adds something to the driving experience that's missing in everything else. It's like that is just something that will always be unique, where it's like you don't have to go as fast as humanly possible. It's like funner to go slower. Adam said e-tron advantage in the car is 100% from only having one gear. I know, right? Like zero, and plus like lower complexity too. Like even though it's an electric car, it's like the drivetrain is infinitely less complex when you don't have to have all these dual clutches and, you know, and wearable surfaces and stuff that are just getting thrashed on. It's like you have an electric motor with like, you know, a brushless electric motor that's translating torque like directly through like clean lubricants that aren't getting contaminated by shit. It's just awesome. It's like you can't compete with electric. It's insane. Although the weight is still a problem. I'd imagine that e-tron weighs quite a bit more than its gas counterparts to carry enough battery to be able to make it between charges. So what do they do, Adam? Do they physically switch cars at each station? Or do they actually stop long enough to charge it back up again? Or do they have like a second car and they just like swap them back and forth at each stage? Because I wondered about that. I was thinking about that because I also noticed they had electric motorcycles too, and I'm like, I know an electric motorcycle isn't going to have very much range, especially digging in the sand in the dunes. So there's got to be some way to be able to give them, like, swap the battery really quick or give them another bike. Tony said the first car I ever drove was a manual. I will say this as a musician, I easily hear when it's time to shift. It's a good ability. Oh yeah, I shift completely by sound. I don't ever look at the RPM gauge. I can tell you exactly what the RPMs are just from the sound. Hydrogen fuel cell could be the answer. Hydrogen's just, I don't know, man. So you either store hydrogen, you have to store hydrogen either as a liquid and use it as an electrolyte, which then you just basically have an electric car, or you burn the hydrogen, and then you have still the downsides of the gas, of gas powered cars of old. So, but you did say fuel cell, so you're talking about specifically converting the hydrogen to water and extracting the electricity that way, which would be lighter than a battery pack. And you're losing the physical weight as you're expelling the water, just like a gas powered car. So the car would get lighter over time. But the other thing is, even though the car would get lighter over time and then could pick up some lost performance, whereas an electric car is always carrying around its dead battery with it, I would also argue, though, that the electric car isn't going to change its driving mechanics. So like your weight distribution is always going to be the same in an electric car. In a gas-powered car, that's not true. There's a lot of gas-powered cars, whereas the fuel starts to it gets empty, the driving mechanics of the car on the edge change. And you can also get things like a tank slapper, where if you get a half tank of fuel and you're not running an internal racing bladder, the fuel can slam against the side of the tank, and that can upset the car. So like if you're riding right on the edge of 95% of your traction in a corner, and you slosh all that fuel to the outside and you hit it, it can upset the suspension on the car and you could spin it. So, and that can also happen too, like where you go back and forth. Like, if you've seen people before, they come out of a corner and then they go like this, and they go like this, and go like this. If they have a lot of fuel in the tank and it's not like a racing fuel cell that's pinning the fuel down or keeping the fuel really low center of gravity, it'll slap around and it's really, really hard to get the car settled again. I mean, at normal speeds, not so much, but like at high speeds, definitely. 45 kilowatt and a turbo 2-cycle that makes 8 kilowatt. Oh, I didn't know the e-tron had a generator on board. Oh, that's cool. So that way they can carry a lighter weight battery. Okay, that's pretty damn cool. I didn't know that. So the e-tron, okay. Actually, that makes sense, because I was watching a video of the e-tron the other night and I was like, it sounds like a gas car, but I thought that was another car behind it or something. Okay, well, that explains it, because they're literally running a generator. But then I heard another section where I couldn't hear it. Does it turn on and off? Like, do they only turn on the generator like when they need it, or because I did hear one where I could just hear the electric motor. Hydrogen can be solid. We just don't know how to make it. It's like fusion, except 50 years away. We don't know how to make it. What do you mean we don't know how to make hydrogen? Like, you just put electrodes in water with an electrolyte and you get hydrogen. Or do you mean like using it for something like cold fusion or something like that? Unless it's made with excess renewables, that's why they do in Scottish Isles. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. You're just saying the cost of extracting it. So the cost of extracting hydrogen is high, and that is true. Same thing with alcohol, though. Like alcohol would be a fantastic fuel if you didn't have to generate so much heat to extract it. Man, I sure wish I was feeling better lately, guys. I don't know if it shows on camera, but boy, I feel like shit. I felt like shit for the last 2 weeks. I've been fighting like a cold or something too. Been having to take Mucinex like every fucking day. Starting to get old. So if I don't seem like I'm all there and I seem like a little off than what you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, that's why. I've just been struggling with that. Plus, I don't want to go into deep details, but I'm not even gonna say it. I don't want to say it because I'm just gonna get too damn emotional. But yeah, some bad news. The BMW 750 IH burned hydrogen. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, there was the one guy. There's that one guy who built the hydrogen powered Corvette, and I mean, the dude's otherwise batshit crazy. Like, he's like a weird like conspiracy theorist and everything, but he's also like a competent engineer. and he created his own chemical compound. It's a known chemical compound, but it's not one you can buy because I guess it's on like the nuclear weapons ban list or something. But apparently there's this material that you can make, like if you know how to do it, and he built a reactor to make this material that absorbs hydrogen, and then as you heat it up, it lets off gaseous hydrogen, but it holds the gaseous hydrogen. It's zero pressure inside of these like little granules. And so he filled up these tanks with these granules, and then he uses a solar array to do the electrolysis to extract the hydrogen, and then he feeds it into the car under low pressure. These granules absorb that hydrogen, so you don't have to store it under like 4,000 psi or higher. And then you just have heaters wrapped around the tanks that heat the tanks, and then as it heats, the granules let go of the hydrogen. And it's really cool. Like I don't really understand why they haven't figured out how to use that technology in like a mainstream car yet, because I think that'd be really cool to have like and it actually burns the hydrogen. Like it's literally just a gas engine, and they heat up the tanks. It only ever releases enough hydrogen that the engine needs to run, so there's no explosion risk. When the hydrogen's stored inside of the granules, it's not flammable. So like you can literally like light the material on fire and it doesn't like explode or burn, or I don't even think it burns. I think you have to actually like you heat it up, it releases the hydrogen, then that hydrogen can burn in combination with oxygen. But the fuel itself, like if you just heat it up below an ignition point, it won't explode. Condensed hydrogen is what is a quasi-metallic crystal, supposedly theoretically highest level rocket fuel. Yeah, this isn't like what they call it? Metallic hydrogen. Calcium lithium powder can do about 400 to 1 in hydrogen storage at 30 psi. Yeah, I know it was low pressure. I remember it was low pressure because he was using like scuba tanks or something. And he said the pressure was like negligible, and then he just wrapped heater blankets around it. It was like a really simple system. And he said that the way it worked is you basically turned on the heaters. The heaters would heat up the tanks to a certain temperature, and then they would start off-gassing the hydrogen. And then the engine would burn the hydrogen at the same rate that it was off-gassing. Like he would balance the heat, so it was only giving him as much hydrogen as he needed. It was relatively low pressure, so if the tanks got punctured or something, it would just be a small burn-off of the hydrogen, and then nothing. There'd be no big boom. No, scuba, you're right. Scuba can go up to 4,000 psi, but I'm just saying he was using it at low pressure. He said that the tanks, he didn't have to use any crazy amount of pressure. He was just using them because it was convenient. Let me see if I can find it. It's let's see here, hydrogen Corvette. And he claims it, runs on water because he basically uses a solar reactor to extract the hydrogen and run the pump and everything. Yeah, Bob Lazar. That's who it is. Bob Lazar hydrogen car. Bob Lazar. And I guess a lot of people have really looked into it, and it's the real deal.
Welcome back.
And it does make sense, and it all works out. It's like there's no like hidden tricks or anything going on. It is exactly what it's supposed to be. But just also keep in mind though, the guy is a batshit crazy conspiracy theorist. So it's like he is a good engineer. He created a really cool thing, but he is batshit crazy. So just know that like he's a huge UFO conspiracy theorist guy. Woohoo. But his hydrogen car is like the real deal. Like I watched a couple little documentaries on YouTube about it, and if you look up the science, like he talks about the material that's in it. If you look it up, that material does store hydrogen. It does meet the specifications he's talking about. His reactor that he built that converts the water into hydrogen or whatever, it's like very straightforward. He explains exactly how it works. It works exactly like you'd expect it to. Like there's no magic around it, like other than the material that's storing the hydrogen. That's the only thing about the car that makes it special. I mean, but that is the special thing. And he created a reactor that makes that material because you can't buy it because it's on this like nuclear, like you can't buy it because it can be used in nuclear weapons. That's like one of its primary uses. But apparently you're allowed to legally make it. And so he created a reactor to create the material. So it's like, why hasn't the automotive industry done this in any way? Because think about it, like you could sell a car just like an electric car, but instead of having a charging station on your house that's plugged into your electrical grid, you would have water and electricity coming into the reactor. It would be generating and compressing the hydrogen at 30 psi or whatever into the tanks into your vehicle, and it'd be just like you're charging your car. and the hydrogen would burn completely clean, right? You're just going to get water vapor out of the tailpipe. No explosion risks, no crazy pressures. You're not having to like, use like 4,000 PSI like you would with, a hydrogen fueling station. I don't know. I guess I don't really understand. I mean, is that material really that scary? Like, effects of electrolytes and temperature on high range discharge behavior of NMNi5 based hydrogen storage alloys. Oh, so there's more than one alloy that can store hydrogen in a solid state. So why the hell are so Adam, like give me the few word pitch here. Like why is this not a thing? Like people have actually demonstrated this technology works, and they've demonstrated that you can create a car that runs and functions with it. So like, why aren't we seeing this shit all over the place? Is it literally just because of the rarity of the material or the cost of the material makes it like prohibitive or something? Like, I guess I just don't understand. Because I would love it. I would love to have a car. Oh, fuck, 40 times the price of gold? Wait, so you're saying the shit that guy manufactured for his Corvette or whatever is like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in material that he created to make that car real? Fuck. Well, yeah, I mean, that would kill it right out of the gate, right? Not sure you could store much hydrogen. If I remember in the documentary, he said that with just the 2 tanks that he had in it in the original car, it could go 60 miles. So, which I mean is decent, right? 4 tanks, that would get you what, 120? Give her minus. Yeah, just I love the way that it charged the car though. It's like all you need is electricity, water, and an electrolyte, right? Which I think the electrolyte he was using was like something you just buy off the shelf, right? Like salt or something. I know some electrolytes are better than others, and the thing is, you don't have to release the hydrogen super fast, because you're compressing it and putting it under 30 psi and letting it absorb into the granules overnight. So it's not like you need to create a huge volume on demand. So it's not like you have to have like an onboard generator on the car that's generating the hydrogen as you need it. It's like you can generate the hydrogen over 8 or 12 hours and then compress it into the tanks, let it absorb, and then go drive your car the next day. Just look up Bob Lazar. So there's a couple different documentaries. Just look up Bob Lazar. So Bob Lazar, and ignore all the UFO shit. He has quite a few UFO videos. But yeah, there's a couple different documentaries. People have interviewed him. There's a lot of car channels that he's actually let come out and drive the car and like look the car over and make sure that there was like no tricks or no like magical things. He published all the technology. Nothing's hidden. Like he tells you exactly what the compound he uses. And I think the only thing he doesn't tell you is how he created it. I think that's the only thing he doesn't tell you is how he created the material that stores the hydrogen. But he does tell you what the material is, and it's a real material that exists that has the properties he's explaining. 60-mile car. My first EV in the 2000s were 60 miles. No, I'm just saying it's workable. Like you can buy what is it, like a Nissan Leaf or whatever. When those first came out, I think they only did like 60 or 80 miles. So if you just needed a car, just like cruise around town or whatever, 60 miles would be fine. But you double the tanks, you got 120, and these tanks aren't that big, so you could probably put like 5 or 6 tanks on there. Because scuba tanks aren't all that big. They're not all that heavy either. Although I don't know how heavy the material is that's storing the hydrogen. Wait, Loki said, sorry, bro. I was in a discussion with a payment company about how to break the law and make it impossible to change a simple pay date when there is no proof that the customer refuses to pay the bills or any other reason why it should be impossible. My brain might just be fried, but I think I missed what you were talking about earlier on that. Sorry, bro. I was in a discussion with the payment company. Yeah, my brain is fried, dude. About how to break the law and make it impossible to change a simple pay. I don't understand. You have seen the air powered Japanese K cars. Yeah. No, I've seen those, and I've seen a couple custom air cars that they've built here in the US too. Like, I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, an engine just works on expanding gas. So it's like, if you can store enough pressure, the only thing that scares me about that is like, how much pressure are those cars storing? I mean, that you're to get enough air to actually drive a car like a reasonable difference. I mean, are they having to store shit at like 12,000 PSI or something? Like, is there a way that you could do like create liquid oxygen and then just store it as a liquid and then let it return to its gaseous state or whatever? Like, I don't know. I'd be, scuba. So really only 4,000 PSI and you can get enough volume to drive a car a decent distance. See, I like the idea of that because you're literally just charging the car with compressed air. Like, I think that's cool. Like, it's like you take your car home, you plug it into the scuba compressor, it blows up your car. Not blow up your car, but you know what I mean. And then you go drive it. I think that's cool. I think that'd be really, really cool. Oh, okay, Loki. I see what you're saying. You're saying, okay, so this was you in the scenario. Okay, so payment company refused to change the pay date on your bill and doubled your payment by default, and you ask them to change it, but no. Okay, that would be frustrating. That sucks. It's called abuse the customer and gain an illegal income. Yeah, that's Microsoft's done that to me before. Microsoft actually double charged me for Xbox Live once, and I called them on it, and they said, "Oh, well, you know, you'll just have an extra year of Xbox Live." And I was like, "No, you guys double charged me, refund it. Sorry, we don't have a mechanism to refund Xbox Live. We're sorry that you're upset, but hey, look on the bright side, you got a whole nother year of Xbox Live." I was so pissed. Yeah, companies just get away with it because they know the average customer isn't going to go and, you know, spend thousands of dollars on a lawsuit just to recoup, you know, $60 or whatever. So they take advantage of that across the broad spectrum of people and get away with it. I know I'm going through a similar thing right now with Massage Envy, that place, because I can't get massage anymore because I'm too fucked up, and every time I go get a massage, it actually injures me more than it helps. So I can't take advantage of it. Yet I have like $10,000 of massages that have been paid for and on my file over the last 10 years, and I can't get any of it refunded. But then I also can't transfer it. I also can't get massages. It's a fucked up situation. And I don't want to just like walk away and cancel it and walk away from $10,000 of something that it's been paid for over so many years. But then at the same time, if I don't close the account, then they'll keep charging me every 6 months because they require the account to be refrozen, which causes another month of payments. And then you can refreeze after that. It's a really fucking stupid thing, and I hate it. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but I'm kind of hurting for money or heading in that direction. It's a little freaking me out a little bit. I'll be fine though. I'll be fine. A ladybug of an air car. Oh, zero torque. Oh my god, that's cute. My wife would drive that totally. Tata Motors. Oh yeah, that's that Chinese company. They built this thing. Okay, powered by compressed air, is one of the most environmentally friendly machines. It doesn't cost a fortune to purchase fuel. Compressed air, it's only a fraction of the cost of conventional gasoline engines. Yeah, but what they don't tell you is you have to use quite a bit of energy to compress the air. Like, compressing air is not the most efficient thing in the world. Oh, it's Indian. That's right. Tata. They're the people that make the rickshaws. That's right. Okay. Sorry, my bad. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. 10K seems like enough to get a lawyer involved. Oh no, I already have a lawyer involved. It's just things are moving kind of slow. I love Scotch. Thank you for the $2. They got MS alumni yet? No, I keep forgetting to do that, dude. I need to do that for the cheaper Xbox Game Pass thing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to set a reminder to do that tomorrow. Create a reminder tomorrow, 3 p.m. Sign up for Xbox alumni program if you're still eligible. All right, cool. That'll remind me because I keep forgetting. Oh, Bradley, you're looking for remote AI devs? It may come down to that, honestly, at this point. Well, no, that's the Loki. That's just it. Is they know you won't hire a lawyer to change a pay date, and that's why they're doing it to you. Companies do this shit all the time. It's like, because the thing is, like, if they can do that to thousands of people and make a ton of money, but each person, it's a small enough sum that they won't go after them legally unless they all know each other and they all talk to each other and they join in a class action lawsuit against them. It's like zero risk to the company and they don't give a shit. So they're just going to take advantage of you. I do want to thank, sorry if I missed some of the super chats today. We had a lot of technical issues in the beginning. Sorry, the stream didn't go anywhere where we were supposed to today with the topics and everything. Everything fell off, starting with the technical problems, but it was still fun to hang out. And I always look forward to this, like, every single week. It's like one of the few times that I can actually wake up and like fight through the pain just to hang out with my bros, you know, and you guys. It's a lot of fun. I love Scotch. Thank you for that $2 super chat. And also the $5 super chat. He said, got old large UPS from Microsoft Surplus 2000s eras. It powers 2 rooms of my house plus kitchen and furnace. Oh, that's awesome. I actually like the old UPSs, like the old school UPC, I think it is, UPC UPSs. The ones that are just like the solid, just super solid metal box. I love those things. I got 2 of them. I need to replace the batteries in them because they're in the garage right now with dead batteries. But I really love those old ones. They're so awesome. Oh yeah, local police won't do anything. Yeah, no. Local police don't do anything that's financial with businesses or anything like that. Yeah, the local police don't do anything. The only time local police will do anything is if there's like literally a crime with another person that's within their same jurisdiction, and there's some kind of harm done, or you're a business that has suffered some kind of a loss or theft or something. Then they'll come and, you know, do a report. But yeah, police aren't nearly as useful as people think they are. Hence why I take care of myself, my own security. Adam said, good night. Gonna charge both the MS32s. They finally charge over USB-C. Oh, that's awesome. We'll drive you one out after the roads thaw out. Oh, dude, I look forward to playing with it, dude. Seriously. Oh my God, that's gonna be fun. I can't even imagine though. Like the first flashlight already like just blows my mind. I don't know how you double that. Like I don't even know what physically looking like 2 times that light looks like. That's gonna be wild. Can't wait to set something on fire with it though. Yeah, police have no responsibility to do anything. The whole protect and serve thing, they removed it from the cars because it never meant anything. There's nothing behind it. Like people, we grew up being told, oh, a police officer's job is to protect and serve. And it's like, no, it's neither. But police are basically just private security hired for a city. You know, they only do what the representatives that control them tell them to do. They have no reason to help you. Like, as a matter of fact, most police officers, when you call them, they'll try to put you into a bad situation rather than help you because, you know, they got to meet some kind of damn quota or something. Not saying all of them, but I'm just saying I've had that before where I've called the cops and the cops have actually created a worse situation by showing up than me not calling the cops at all when a crime occurred. And that experiencing that multiple times in my life, it's bullshit. It's seriously, the only time you call police is if it's something that's like you need a record of it for something legal, or if your life is in danger. It's like, you know, sure, give them a call. You know, it'd be nice if they do show up, but don't rely on it. Definitely don't rely on it, because by the time they show up, shit's already going to be too late. Let's see here. Dave Webster, thank you for that $5 super chat earlier, bro. He said, hit the like button. Ox told me to tell you, or else there'd be trouble. I missed that one earlier. Joe Taji, thank you for the $20 earlier, bro. I appreciate everything you do, Joe. Valiant Brand, thank you for the $3.69, keeping it 69. And Wolf's Den, thank you for $2. Said we need to fund Cherry's new streaming rig upgrade. Actually, my new streaming rig upgrade is going to happen courtesy of a friend of mine who's going to hook me up with a motherboard and a CPU. I got to buy some RAM. I got to get some DDR5, but then I should have a 13900K, which hopefully will unbottleneck this 4090, which is pretty heavily bottlenecked in a lot of applications, mainly like gaming. The CPU is really, really bottlenecking it. Because I don't think this card was ever meant to go in a system with a CPU this old. So, but for the AI stuff, the 4090 is killing it. We're definitely going to do some AI stuff on stream this upcoming week over on Twitch. I want to introduce you guys to LM Studio, and we'll get some screen captures so you guys see what's going on, and we'll get some stable diffusion up and running on it, and you guys can see how fast it is. It's crazy fast. It's really efficient at discharging its heat. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. What's the CPU? Oh, you mean the one I have right now? Let's see here. The current CPU I have in this system is I always forget. It's an i9 7940X. So i9 7940X. So 3.1 gigahertz single core performance. And I think the 3990K is like 5.1 gigahertz or something. It's almost twice the speed. It's crazy for single threaded performance, which is what I need. Hey, Illuminate, thank you for the $5. Said it's great chatting with you, Barnacules. Wish I could spare more funds. Oh, brother, don't even worry about it. Said you're a good dude. Don't forget it. I try not to, man. I got a lot of people that, you know, enjoy me at my best, and I want to get back to there again. I really do miss it. Hey, Loki, I wish you the best of luck. The GoFundMe stuff usually doesn't work out too well these days because everybody's abused the ever living hell out of it. But I wish you luck, brother. Lord knows my time will probably come where I have to fucking Hail Mary that shit too, but I hope it doesn't. But I do wish you luck. A lot of people, you know, I probably see 5 or 6 people a day creating a GoFundMe and asking to boost it. And it's like, people are just so used to them now though, that they usually don't do anything unless you're somebody that has a lot of exposure. The only GoFundMe that has ever been successful that I've really shared is my friend who died, because people really felt bad because, you know, somebody so close to me died. And that's a problem. Is like everybody, whenever somebody uses something that they genuinely need and they genuinely need help, then you have a bunch of people that just use it to like abuse it and lie and try to get a free computer and try to get free shit. And then all those people that abuse it just bury the people that really need it. And it fucking sucks, man. It's a shitty deal. Hey, Eric Lacasa. He said, hey, Jerry, have you messed with AI Studio like with RVC or AI audio like RVC? No, I've played with Pseudo AI. Is that what it's called? Where it creates music and lyrics and everything, but I've never done anything with RVC. Can you send me a link over on Twitter and tag me? I'll go check it out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, honesty sadly is rarely rewarded these days, Loki. But hey, I wish you luck, man. I'm gonna be experiencing a lot of what you're experiencing here in the years to come, and I'm not looking forward to it, brother. But you know what? At the end of the day, all you can do is what you can do, and you do what you got to do to survive. That's the one thing. I will never begrudge people doing what they need to do to survive. Yeah, exactly. Illuminate. Exactly. You give people a chance to abuse something and it'll get abused. No, it's like one thing that you really do. We were talking about this earlier too, with like the YouTube stuff and everything. It's like, as soon as somebody learns that the algorithm likes something, then instead of just doing the things that the algorithm likes, that would also like, they just find a way to game it in the simplest possible way to give it the most exposure with the least amount of work. And I guess it's just human. Capitalism just feeds that system like a motherfucker, though. It's not about who does the best job at treating their employees right and creating a good product and giving good customer service. It's about what company can do the absolute least and abuse the people under them the most to keep the lion's share. That's just how life works, sadly. Tech question for fun. What do you think of the new plans about MS about stuffing AI all over the place? Dude, everybody's doing it. Like Microsoft, of course, was like first in line because of the relationship with OpenAI, so they got a little bit of a head start and they're trying to hold on to it, but everybody's doing it. Amazon, fucking X or Twitter, Facebook, Google, Apple, like every single company that I can think of is diving into the AI bucket, and just everything's AI this and AI that. And it's so funny because it's like back in the day when they used to put E on the beginning of everything or I on the beginning of everything, because like iPhone was popular, so there was I this and I that. Now they're doing the same thing with AI. It's like shit that isn't even AI, that just would have been called an algorithm before, is now being referred to as AI. It's like everything's AI. So it's hard to tell. It's like, unless they specifically say like GPT or LLM or something, like it's like they could be saying AI literally for the same algorithm they were using 10 years ago. It just, people know that AI sells now, so they just call everything AI because there's no specific definition that they have to abide by. They can just call it whatever they want. Again, abusing the system, right? What's the difference between capitalism and crony capitalism? I've heard others mention a difference. Not sure if I could touch on it or not. I mean, so capitalism is, so if capitalism would work better if everybody's goal was to try to not just enrich themselves, but to enrich others. So if in capitalism you were rewarded for the work that you did, and then you rewarded others equally for the work that they did, it would be a good system. It would work. And there are some situations where that does work. But the problem is everybody quickly discovers that if they can undercut and abuse their workforce to pay them less to create the same product, even if it's a lesser quality, most people will buy their product because it's cheaper. And then that person buys the product because it's cheaper, which pushes out the good company that's making a better product and treating their customers right. But then that means that more people have to work for companies that pay them less, which means they have less expendable income, which means now they have to buy cheaper things. And to buy those cheaper things, they have to have a dodgier company that's willing to pay their workforce even less to create it. And it just becomes this big circular thing where the person at the top of the company keeps making more money, but everybody below that point keeps making less. And it creates a huge gap. Huge gap. And it's just sad. But that's the problem is everybody, well, I won't say everybody, because I don't feel like I fit into this category at all. I've never done the whole Raid Shadow Legends thing and lie to people for big sums of money and stuff. That's not my thing. And it never has been, never will be, hopefully. But when you live in a world where a person can undercut you and can take your business away by doing the wrong things, like literally by like abusing their employees, using inferior materials, anything it takes to get down to the bottom dollar so that they can price out their competition that's not willing to treat the humans that way, right? When you have companies that are like, wait a second, AI is cheaper than a human, and they have no problem getting rid of the human just because the AI is more efficient because it makes them more money. It's like, where does humanity end up at that point? You no longer have a middle class. You just have the rich and the poor. Because you know, if nobody's willing to pay, then you just have the people that can only afford cheap shit, and then you have the people that abuse their labor force to create the cheap shit, and they're the only ones that make any money. And it just doesn't work. And I'm not an economist or anything. I'm not. I mean, don't take like my math is weak. My math foo is weak. But I consider it common sense, just looking around us, that the companies that create the cheapest possible products seem to be the ones that treat their workforces the worst in their class of what they do, always seem to be the ones that prosper the most. And 9 out of 10 times it's a Chinese company over a domestic company. Because how do you compete with that? You can't compete with that labor. It's like literally a Chinese company could have a margin that's 50 times larger than what you do making the product in America and paying wages and healthcare and all that stuff. But we just don't care because it's like, it's not here, right? So the average human looks at it the same, and they're like, oh, well, that product's so much cheaper, I'm going to buy that product. And then nobody wants to build that product domestically, because why would they, when they can just go make it in China way cheaper and keep a lot more money? And if you try to do it the right way, if you build the product domestically and you charge more for it and use better materials and you pay your employees really well so they love their job and do a great job and protect you and create good customer support and everything, if you go through all that effort, only a very small group of people can actually afford to buy your product. Everybody else still has to buy the cheap one because they're being abused by those same companies that aren't paying enough to buy the good thing. So they have to buy the shitty thing because they're working for the person that pays them a shitty wage. And it's this fucking circle, you know? It's just a circle. Hey, Sam, thank you, man. So thanks for all the video watching for the last 10 years now to help my bad DSL. I'm using the same TP-Link load balancer. Dude, that's awesome. I actually just found mine in the attic a couple of days ago. I don't know where the power supply is for it, but yeah, I found it, the old TP-Link load balancing router. Dude, yeah, if you live out in the middle of nowhere and all you have is DSL or dial-up or whatever, having that load balancing router is a pretty cool thing. It really is. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm feeling pretty cruddy today. I've been feeling bad this whole last 2 weeks. I missed a whole week of streaming on Twitch. Like that killed me. That absolutely killed me. And I can't do that again this week. This week I have to get earlier streams, and I got to stream longer. So I got to figure something out. I got to go see the doctor too at some point. I'm kind of dreading that though. Last time I've seen them a couple times, they haven't had great news. So, but 2024, I'm going to try to be more positive. Today wasn't a great example of that, but I'm going to try to be more positive. I'm going to try to focus on the good things. I'm going to try not to look too far down the road, because then I start getting scared and it starts freaking me out. But I'm just going to do my thing. And hopefully we can get back into a rhythm, and some fun things will happen, and life will start unfolding again. So, because I don't even want to focus on what the alternative is. All right, you guys have been awesome. I love your faces. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you for even just like hanging out with me on a Saturday and just, giving me somebody to ramble to. Just having somebody to listen to you is a hugely therapeutic thing I will never ever take for granted. $800 flashlight from China. Each Cree is $9. It's $280 each. 751 milliamps. Samsung is $32 times X is $264. So it's at cost mostly. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, China is basically free labor. It's like, how do you compete with that? Like you don't. That's the answer. You don't. Illuminate. I got a lot of people in my corner. I've got the greatest friends on earth. I don't think even the worst case scenario, my family will be okay. Like I know that in my heart. I've got good people around me, and I will take good money or good people over money any day of the week. Any day of the week. You started journaling and it was hugely therapeutic. I used to journal a lot back in the day. Oh, Korea's in the US? I didn't know that. Cree LEDs are manufactured here in the US, or do they invent them here but manufacture them in China? Because that seems to be what everybody likes to do these days when it comes to electronics. It's like, oh, we designed them here, but then we shipped them over to China because they're so much cheaper to build over there. Parachuting a trampoline. Oh, all in the US. Oh, so I guess there is some hope for us yet. Because I know Cree LEDs sell like hotcakes. So if China hasn't figured out a way to completely rip that market off yet, then Cree's doing something right. But that's the problem, is like, even if we create something domestically, eventually China just figures out how to 1-to-1 knock it off and build it for like 1/10 of the price. And then everybody's like, oh, I'll never buy that ripoff, because, look at bamboo printers, man. Bamboo printers are a great example, right? Here you have a Chinese company create a printer that is almost certainly using all fucking open source projects behind a closed source thing. Somebody breaches it for third-party firmware. They immediately go into like damage control mode and try to shut it down. Luckily, they couldn't, though, so people are still going to be able to mod it. So, take it, Bamboo. But everybody will still buy it. It's for the performance. It's the cheapest, highest performance, most capable 3D printer that you can really buy, arguably, right now. And so people fucking buy it. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Because people will buy what's cheap, and you can't really be mad at them for it either, because it's like when money's tight, you kind of have to be careful about how you spend it, right? So it's like, if you can get something from China that's a quarter of the cost, that gives you roughly the same experience within give or take 50% or whatever, that's worth it to you if money's tight, right? But if you get to the point where it's like everybody has to be tight with their money because they're not getting paid enough from their job for doing their job, or they're being replaced by AI, and that gap keeps growing, well, then more people become dependent on buying cheap stuff that can only be made for that price in China and not domestically. And then you just keep feeding that big machine, right? And then the gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So UF offshoring loads, that's what tariffs are for. Yeah, we haven't used tariffs very successfully here in the United States. And the truth is, we really can't, because if you tariff too many things coming out of China, then that means that domestic people are going to have to pay more to their employees to create it domestically, and not as many people will be able to afford it. So you're going to have a gap, at least, where that's going to ruin a bunch of companies too. So it's like, I don't know. Oh, Joel, did Joel release a video today? I haven't seen it yet. Here, let's see. Maybe I'll go downstairs and watch that before I take a nap. Here, let me see. It was his brand new video today. Let's see here. Oh, he did a video for Sanjay. Is that it, or is this? Wait, is this the video? Let me see here. Oh no, that's a month ago. That was a month because I thought I'd already seen that one. Okay, what's the video he released today? Oh, you saw a preview. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, no, so I haven't seen, he hasn't released a new video yet. One day ago, he did the Prusa XL review, but I don't think he's released the video you're talking about. Sorry, there's a bunch of lag on this stream, so I'm probably replying to something that's like completely doesn't even make any sense. Do you think World War III is about to start? Well, in many ways, I think it's already going. Wars aren't like they used to be. Like I mean, they have components of what they used to be. Like when you're talking about, like third worlds fighting each other to death, and the shit that's going on between like Russia and Ukraine and everything. But honestly, a lot of it's Cold War. A lot of it's controlling public opinion, manipulating politics, the stuff that happens behind the scenes. I think that shit's been going on for a while now. I think the social engineering is that's going on right now is a lot of what World War III is all about. It's going to be largely a Cold War. It's going to have hot spots, but it's largely going to be a Cold War, in my opinion. The bamboo. Oh, yeah, the bamboo hack. Yeah, no, he hasn't launched that video yet. I think he just did the preview, but I can't wait to see it. I've been waiting for it. I'm sitting here refreshing. As soon as it comes out, I'm going to watch it because I want to.
How often?
Because he got to meet with the actual guys. I saw the picture that he posted on X where he got to meet the two developers that created X1 Plus, the team that hacked the bamboo. Oh God, I was so jealous. I was like, I want to meet those guys so bad. Hey Joe, thank you for the $5, man. I appreciate it, brother. He said, I told my mom the other day if people with ADHD figured out how to freeze time, everyone's doomed because they get so much done. Dude, I wish my ADHD was helping me more than it was harming me these days. I've actually been almost out of Adderall for a while now, so I've only been taking one about every 3 or 4 days. That hasn't been helping things either, but because I got to go do a follow-up with my doctor before he can refill my scripts, and I haven't been feeling like going to the doctor, but I need to. I'm just scared. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I'm drifting off hard. I need to go and get some rest. I love your guys' faces so much. I will see you on hopefully tomorrow. I'm feeling good enough to work on the printer because my neighbor said he'll help me with the Voron. That project is drug on for far too long. That thing should have been done a long time ago. I'm hoping we get that done though, because I want to start just like 3D printing a bunch of stuff and just time lapsing it, and then start out with like some simple videos like I used to do with the time lapsing of the 3D printer and talking about it and stuff, and just work my way back up to video editing on YouTube. So many people are like fleeing YouTube, but that's a good sign because usually I run towards fire. So like if everybody else is fleeing or everybody else knows something that I don't know, I usually jump in and pick up the scraps. So we'll see what happens. It'll be fun either way. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on Monday over on Twitch. I'm going to shoot for around like 3 or 4 p.m. an earlier stream. And because I want to try to get back to like the core hours where a lot of the audience can join us again instead of these like weird like 11 p.m. or midnight streams I've been doing lately. But yeah, being off Adderall does suck. Like, yeah, not having it every day does suck. But it's also a good thing too, because the more you come off it after a while, it does bring back the efficacy when you go back on it. So it's like it's nice to have a rest from everything. Luckily I don't have withdrawal from it. Like I get tired, but I already have chronic fatigue, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't get like some people get like bad headaches and sick from it and feel gross. I've never had a problem with that. All right, guys. Adam, it's good to see you, brother. It's always good to see you. Let me know when you got some time to hang out when the weather gets better. I'd love to either come to your place. You can come to my place. Both of our houses are the same fucking state, bro. So let's hang out wherever. But I need to spend some time with my bro. It's been way too long, dude. Way too long. All right. And for the rest of you guys, I'll see you on Monday. Peace out. And I'll probably see you over on Twitter too. Oh, Tuesday or Thursday? Perfect. Your people contact my people, aka SMS message between us. All right, guys, take it easy.